This is a crazy world with a 1 to 100 male to female ratio, where men have become a national treasure. Some women are willing to spend 3 years in prison just to touch a man's hand. Some women save their entire lives just to become a man's concubine. There are even families willing to give away their entire enterprise as dowry. I have been reborn as the crown prince of the Dragon Kingdom, a status that makes me the ultimate prize. My father demands I marry immediately to secure our family's powerful bloodline. He presents a catalog of elite beauties like a menu at a high-end restaurant. Each woman is a goddess, yet they are all desperate to serve me, the kingdom's most protected national treasure. Suddenly, a system chime resonates in my mind, granting me a starter pack. I gain divine physical strength, a genius intellect, and superhuman speed. The stage is set for an absolutely legendary life. I playfully suggest claiming them all, but my father gently shuts down the idea. He warns me to prioritize my health, insisting that I must choose only one bride for now. My eyes fall upon Song Wannian, a breathtakingly mature beauty. She is a teacher at the university I will soon attend. Her elegance in a silk kupao makes my choice incredibly easy. My father wastes no time, immediately calling the Song family to finalize our union. The efficiency of the arrangement is startling, turning my life into a whirlwind of power, status, and new opportunity. Meanwhile, my adopted sister, Li Yue, tries to confess her hidden feelings. She begs to be my concubine, but my father harshly rejects her advances, fearing the public scrutiny and potential family scandal. Elsewhere, Song Wannian sits stunned in her office after receiving the life-altering call. She knows countless women desire this position, yet she has been chosen. Her heart hammers against her chest in disbelief. Overwhelmed with joy, she clings to her phone, barely able to breathe. She stares at my photo, her face flushing as she vows to dedicate her entire existence to ensuring my happiness tonight. She stares at the stolen photograph of me, her cheeks flushed with a deep, crimson hue. She dreams of our future, envisioning a life filled with pure, unadulterated domestic bliss. Wannian hangs up the phone, still trembling from the sheer adrenaline of the moment. She bites her lower lip, whispering a solemn vow to dedicate her entire life to my happiness. She rushes to call her mother, whose joyous sobs fill the line. Her mother celebrates, realizing her daughter is becoming a royal consort, a status that elevates their entire family's social standing. Her mother urgently reminds her to be generous and wise. She must not be jealous of other women, but instead, actively help me expand the family tree to ensure our glorious legacy. Song Wannian hangs up and immediately requests leave from work. She speeds home, determined to prepare herself, choosing her most alluring outfit and bathing until her skin is perfectly, fragrantly clean. She also plans to retrieve the Song family's jade thumb ring, a sacred heirloom. Handing it to me signifies more than just marriage. It is the total surrender of their entire business empire. Meanwhile, back at the manor, I kill time scrolling through social media. This world's version of the internet is a surreal nightmare, dominated by desperate women obsessed with finding a rare man. The comment sections are pure chaos, filled with women losing their minds over virtual idols. They beg for any shred of male attention, completely terrified of the harsh laws protecting our kind. I open my private messages and am immediately bombarded with thousands of lewd requests. The sheer boldness of these women is staggering, far more aggressive than anything I ever witnessed back home. I throw my phone aside in disgust. If I reported these harassers, they would all be thrown into jail for 15 days. The level of obsession here is honestly quite exhausting. My butler, Sun Xiao, enters the room. She informs me that the university president is calling. She then kneels at my feet, her soft hands massaging my legs with surprising, practiced skill. The president's voice is shaking with excitement on the other end of the line. She confirms my identity, clearly terrified and thrilled to be speaking to the legendary heir, Lin Wang. She explains that the university has established a special committee just for me. The sheer absurdity of this privilege is staggering. They are treating my enrollment like a major state event. The president reports that they have constructed a 1,000-square-meter villa by the lake. It is designed to ensure my complete comfort, proving that my status here is truly beyond any earthly measure. She adds that they have been coordinating with my butler for over a year to prepare for this day. Every detail of my campus life has been meticulously planned to satisfy my needs. They learned of my love for Sichuan cuisine, so they hired 5 top-tier masters to live in the cafeteria. These chefs serve only me, ensuring every meal is a decadent, spicy masterpiece. Of course, they also hired 2 master chefs for each of the other 8 major culinary traditions. This ensures that no matter what I crave, my palate is always satisfied with perfection. My class has been temporarily named the Gaze class. Every student is a hand-picked beauty from across the nation, chosen for their stunning looks, towering intelligence, and impeccable, elite family backgrounds. Their sole purpose is to assist me in my studies and tend to my every need. Furthermore, due to overwhelming student demand, they have officially established an exclusive adoration club on campus. The club members have one mission: to volunteer at my villa. They are there to handle cleaning, chores, and every aspect of my daily life, ensuring I live in complete, pampered luxury. The president rambled on, leaving me dizzy with delight. I am attending university not just as a student, but as an absolute king, with private chefs and an army of dedicated servants. As the silence stretched, the president nervously asked if I was satisfied. I snapped back to reality. quickly assuring her that I was more than pleased with these truly extravagant arrangements. The president breathed a sigh of relief and hung up. I sank into my sofa, lost in fantasies of my university life. This isn't just school, it is living on a private paradise island. Sun Xiaoxiao took my phone, still massaging my legs. She gently rested my feet against her soft, ample chest, her voice dripping with a sultry, intoxicating charm that threatened to pull me under. She whispered that my presence is the highest honor for their university. She revealed that 8 top-tier schools nearly went to war, fighting desperately just to secure my enrollment for this coming year. My father ultimately chose the university for a specific reason. I asked why, and Sun Xiaoxiao smiled seductively, revealing the truth. The school is filled with the most beautiful women in existence. She leaned in close, her breath warm against my skin. My father didn't send me there for textbooks. He sent me to ensure the continuation of our bloodline, as male births are rare. Sun Xiaoxiao hinted that the alumni chat groups are in total chaos. Women across the campus are competing fiercely, desperate to catch my eye and earn the favor of the Lin family heir. She whispered a warning: enjoy the girls at school, but never give them official titles easily. Getting into the Lin family, she reminded me, is a privilege that is not given away lightly. Her hand began to drift upward, her palm burning against my skin. The tension was electric, an overwhelming heat radiating through the fabric of my clothes, making my pulse race with anticipation. Suddenly, a knock at the door shattered the moment. A young maid entered, respectfully announcing that Miss Song had arrived. Sun Xiaoxiao instantly switched back to her professional, cold-hearted butler persona. She stood up, her face a mask of efficiency, and dismissed the maid with a crisp command. Only then did she return to my side to meticulously adjust my collar and tie my shoes. She offered a honeyed, sugary smile, signaling that it was time to head downstairs. I walked out, entering the grand living room, my gaze immediately locking onto the figure waiting on the sofa. Song Wanyan sat there, dressed in a pristine white qiupao that clung to her curves like a second skin. She looked like a living painting, effortlessly elegant and radiating a natural, graceful beauty. The high slit of her dress revealed glimpses of her porcelain white legs, a sight that ignited a fierce hunger within me. She was far more breathtaking in person than in any photograph. Her peach blossom eyes shimmered with deep emotion, and her delicate, crimson lips seemed to invite a lingering kiss. She embodied a gentle, high-born sophistication that made her stand out from everyone else. My father, Lin Jiming, walked down with me. Seeing us, Song Wanyan immediately stood up, bowing with flawless etiquette to greet my father. Her manners were impeccable, leaving nothing to be desired. My father beamed with unrestrained joy, patting her shoulder warmly. He seemed absolutely delighted with the union he had orchestrated, clearly seeing the perfect beginning of our family's next grand, powerful chapter. My father showered her with praise, remarking on how radiant she looked. He then turned the conversation toward me, his eyes twinkling as he asked for my honest opinion of Wanyan. My gaze never once drifted from her form. Though my heart pounded against my ribs like a trapped bird, I maintained my princely composure, merely nodding and agreeing she was quite beautiful. That single, simple sentence sent a surge of pure joy through her. She beamed inwardly, thinking of how I, my royal self, had just complimented her. She vowed to cherish me forever. Satisfied with my reaction, father suggested she meet the other ladies of the house and undergo the final physical inspection. Wanyan nodded obediently, handing me a box of handmade pastries. I was baffled. Glancing at my father, he only offered a mysterious, knowing smile. He gestured for Sun Xiaoxiao to explain the nature of this mysterious, intimate inspection to me. Sun Xiaoxiao leaned close, her breath warm against my ear. She explained that it required total nudity to check for any flaws, ensuring the future mistress of our house was absolutely perfect. I frowned, finding the process tedious and overly formal. Xiao Xiao gently reminded me that such strict standards were reserved only for a first wife. Lovers or concubines face fewer hurdles. Inside the private chamber, Wanyan stood completely exposed. Her skin glowed like polished ivory under the bright lights, yet she felt incredibly vulnerable before the 6 matriarchs of the Lin family. The head matriarch, Xiang Rongrong, watched with a sharp, emotionless gaze. She sat perfectly composed, her voice cool, as she commanded Wanyan to perform a dance to showcase her physical grace. Though shy, Wanyan agreed. The thought of becoming my wife burned brighter than her embarrassment. She took a deep breath, shed her hesitation, and began to move with liquid, serpentine grace. Her body twisted into a captivating figure 8, showcasing every curve of her stunning shaped frame. Her movements were hypnotic, each sway of her body designed to enthrall and perfectly impress the observers. She finished in a delicate kneeling position, arms crossed over her chest. Beads of sweat glistened on her skin, and her eyes held a seductive, alluring power that left the mothers speechless. The matriarchs exchanged satisfied glances, silently agreeing on her perfection. Xiang Rongrong rose to help her dress, buttoning her qiupao with a maternal, albeit stern, touch that signaled her formal approval. They lectured her on the duties of a first wife, to be magnanimous, to manage the harem, and to never spark petty jealousy. She promised dutifully to be a pillar of stability. The second mother reminded her of my youth, hinting that she would need to be the one to take initiative. Wanyan blushed deeply, her heart racing as she pledged to care for me. With the inspection complete, they sent her to the second floor for the final bed trial. Her pulse drummed in her ears. The very words made her head spin with intoxicating anticipation. She knocked on my door, her hands trembling. When I gave her permission to enter, she stepped inside, her movements hesitant yet filled with an overwhelming, almost desperate longing for this union. I sat at my desk, turning to face her as she entered. She sat opposite me, placing a silk-wrapped box on the table, her eyes filled with a mix of submissive, hopeful adoration. She gazed up at me, her face a masterpiece of beauty that defied logic. Softly, she whispered, asking for permission to call me by my name, her sweet, destined, royal husband. Her eyes held an intoxicating, soulful depth that caused my own heart to race wildly, skipping beats I didn't know I had. I was momentarily stunned, my throat tightening as I invited her to speak freely. Song Wanyan's voice was as soft and sweet as spun sugar. She pushed a luxurious embroidered box toward me, explaining it contained the Song family's heirloom jade ring, presented by her father. My mind reeled a signet ring. Did they expect me to manage their entire corporate mess? I was a free-spirited prince. I had absolutely no desire to govern a family empire, no matter how prestigious. I hesitated, asking if this meant they wanted me to take over their company. Wanyan shook her head frantically, her face flushing a deep, embarrassed crimson as she rushed to correct my misunderstanding. It wasn't about management, she clarified. This ring was a symbol of total fealty, a promise that I held supreme, untouchable authority within their household. It was a gesture of absolute devotion. She then produced a delicate bracelet, whispering that it held a strand of her own hair, a protective amulet she had crafted herself. Her genuine, earnest gaze made my resolve melt instantly. This woman was impossibly perfect, refined in every single way. I reached out, accepted the bracelet, and thanked her with deep sincerity, truly touched by the effort she had poured into this gift. Seeing me accept the bracelet, Wanyan seemed to make a daring decision. She rose gracefully and walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows, drawing the heavy curtains tight to plunge the room into shadows. I watched, confused, as she turned her back to me. Her slender fingers moved with sultry, hypnotic intent, undoing the buttons of her quipao. Skin as white as snow emerged as the silk slid away. My eyes widened. I asked what she was doing, and she lowered her head in pure shyness. Her voice was a mere whisper. She explained that her future mothers had set a prerequisite. To officially register our marriage, we had to complete a bed trial. My satisfaction was the final key required before we could legally become man and wife. The sheer luck of this situation. I stood up from my desk instantly. Before I could process my good fortune, Wanyan had folded her gown and turned back to me, moving with the timid grace of a tame kitten. She pressed her hot, supple body against mine, her breath warm against my neck. Her voice was a siren's call, begging to serve me. My patience evaporated. I didn't hold back. I gripped her waist, effortlessly lifting her with one hand. She gasped, shocked by my raw, surging strength. My system-enhanced physique made light work of her weight. I felt like a titan. I laid her gently onto the bed. She looked at me with deep, liquid adoration. I whispered that I wouldn't be holding back, and she breathed a soft, trembling yes in response. An hour later, thanks to my divine stamina, Wanyan was a puddle of pure exhaustion and bliss. Her flushed face rested against my chest, her eyes shimmering with newfound, absolute worship. She had never experienced power like this. I had far surpassed any fantasies she had ever harbored. She clung to me, whispering praise, clearly enchanted by the overwhelming reality of our union. I brushed a stray lock of hair from her forehead, flashing a wicked grin, and whispered that I had only used half of my strength. Her eyes lit up like glittering, dancing stars. She hugged me tighter, overwhelmed by the miracle of being chosen as my wife. Then, with desperate, hopeful eyes, she asked if I was finally ready to go and register our marriage. I couldn't resist teasing her, playfully claiming that I wasn't sure. The reaction was instantaneous. She bolted upright, her eyes filling with tears as panic consumed her, her voice trembling in fear. She knelt helplessly on the bed, distraught, begging to know what she had done wrong, terrified that my rejection meant the end of the beautiful, dreamlike future she had just started to envision. She kept her head down, her body trembling uncontrollably as she stammered, terrified that I found her unattractive. In her panic, she pathetically offered to be a concubine if being a wife was denied. I kept silent, merely smiling as I slowly began to dress. Seeing my cold demeanor, she spiraled into despair, sobbing uncontrollably, convinced that our marriage dream had just been crushed into dust. I reached out and summoned my butler, Sun Xiao Xiao, who entered with professional poise to ask for my instructions. Song Wanyan quickly wiped her tears, forcing herself back into a dignified state. I waved a hand, ordering Xiao Xiao to prepare the car. I was taking Wanyan to register our marriage. That single sentence acted like ice-cold water, followed instantly by a surge of heat. Wanyan's dull eyes ignited, snapping toward me in utter disbelief. I told her we were going to register right now, proving that my previous silence had just been a cruel, playful test. Xiao Xiao smiled, revealing she had expected this all along. She reported that my father had already arranged for officials from the Civil Affairs Bureau to come directly to the manor house today. I nodded, grabbed Wanyan's hand, and told her it was time. She gripped my hand back with every ounce of her strength, terrified that if she let go, I might change my mind. We reached the grand lobby, where two professional women in crisp business suits waited. Seeing me, they froze, visibly swallowing hard. A man of my youth, status, and physique was pure adrenaline. Had they not been on official duty, they likely would have pounced. One of them suppressed her internal flutter, offering her sweetest, most professional smile to confirm we were indeed the couple. I nodded, thanking them for the trouble. The other official immediately produced the registration documents, pointing to the signature line, urging me to sign only when I was truly ready to commit. I picked up the pen without a second of hesitation and signed my name. Then they turned their attention to Song Wanyan, preparing the final, crucial step for the bride-to-be. They explained that to protect the husband's happiness, the National Male Welfare Act required the woman to pass a standardized marriage aptitude test. They handed her a thick, 10-page document. I frowned, baffled by this absurd requirement, but the officials explained it was mandatory for guaranteeing my future domestic bliss. I sighed, sat on the sofa, and told Wanyan to proceed. Wanyan picked up the pen, gazing at me with intense focus. She whispered, "Husband, don't worry, I will pass this test," her dedication evident in the way she stared at the paper. The exam was bizarre. Question 1 asked how to handle my old, worn-out shoes, whether to discard them, keep them, mock my frugality, or ignore them entirely. The options were incredibly strange. Question 2 involved caring for me during a fever. It listed physical cooling methods, medication protocols, and even asked if she should let me suffer to experience the fever myself. The final section was an essay titled, "How I Will Pamper My Husband to the Heavens," requiring at least 800 words. The abstract nature of these questions was truly beyond belief. However, Wanyan treated it as entirely normal, writing with frantic, focused speed. As a top university professor, this was easy for her. She filled every line of the essay with pure devotion. She handed the completed papers back. The staff scanned the objective questions instantly, while the two of them graded her essay together. The pass mark was 90 out of 150. This was a strict process, with every grade stored in a national system for auditing. Wanyan's score was incredibly high. She passed the 90-point threshold before the essay points were even added. The officials nodded with professional respect, turning to her with a smile. "Congratulations, Miss Song, you have passed the examination." Wanyan beamed, glancing lovingly at me, her heart finally fully at peace. The official instructed her to begin her solemn oath. Song Wanyan's eyes shimmered with pure, ecstatic delight as she took the document, placed her right hand over her heart, and faced me. "I, Song Wanyan, solemnly swear," she began, her voice steady and melodious. "From this moment on, my loyalty is yours alone. I will serve, cherish, and be faithful to my husband forever. I will bear your name and honor your house. Should I ever incur my husband's disgust, I volunteer to leave with nothing, gifting all my personal assets to him unconditionally." She finished the oath with unwavering sincerity, pressing her signature onto the legal document. The officials nodded in approval, then asked if we had a photograph for our official record. Since we had only met today, no such photo existed. The staff quickly produced a camera, instructing us to stand close together. Wanyan eagerly stepped forward, clutching my arm with intense possessiveness. The shutter clicked, instantly ejecting a photo that the specialized camera automatically formatted with a red background. The officials glanced at the result, clearly envious of our striking, perfect appearance. They affixed the photo to our documents and applied the official steel seal. When they handed them back, I noticed the titles were not marriage certificates, but wife certificates. Each of us received a copy. I raised an eyebrow, and the official explained, "Young Master Lin, yours is for remembrance and as a backup for Miss Song to prove her marital status. As for you, once we enter your information into the system, you can manage your wives and concubines through the Love Without Worry app," they added, clarifying the societal structure. I nodded in realization. In this world, the wife certificate was a powerful professional asset. Women holding one were often prioritized for promotions, as it signaled stability and character. The officials departed, leaving Wanyan still basking in the glow of her new status. She immediately snapped photos of her certificate, clutching it to her chest as if it were gold. Returning to the parlor, she took a cup of tea from a maid, blowing on it with delicate care until it was the perfect temperature before offering it to me. "Husband, drink." As I sipped, she hovered over me, taking the cup back the moment I was finished. She then gently broached the subject of my enrollment at the elite Daijing University tomorrow. "Husband," she began, her eyes sparking with an idea, "why not come home with me tonight? I teach at the university and know the campus well. I can guide you tomorrow." I liked the proposal, but hesitated about my father's plans. Sun Xiao Xiao, ever the perceptive butler, chimed in. "Master instructed that you should spend time with Miss Song to get acquainted." She added that my other sisters had wanted to come and celebrate my choice, but father had forbidden it, insisting I have this quiet time to bond with my first wife. I had to admire my father's foresight. He truly thought of everything. With his blessing, I agreed. Wanyan beamed, taking my hand and leading me toward the parking lot to her Rolls-Royce. The maids loaded my luggage into the trunk. As I entered the car, Wanyan shielded my head with her hand, a small, tender gesture that made her feel even more like a devoted partner. Wanyan lived in a multi-million-dollar Riverview luxury flat. It was meant to be her dowry, but the Song family knew that such a gift was woefully inadequate for the heir of the Lin house. "Before we head home," she whispered, her voice melting my resolve, "let me take you to the Chi Feng shopping center. I want to buy you some daily essentials with my own hands." "Very well," I agreed. She instructed the driver, and we were soon off. Chi Feng was a temple of luxury, housing international brands where a single shopping trip could easily cost a fortune. We parked in her reserved spot in the underground garage. Following us were two black Mercedes filled with professional, sunglass-wearing bodyguards, a security detail Sun Xiao had insisted on for my absolute protection. Though this world is skewed heavily toward women, my security team consists of tall, muscular, and intimidating men. I stepped out of the car, flanked by these professionals who maintained a disciplined, discreet perimeter to protect my privacy while remaining ready for any immediate threat. A high-level manager at Chief Feng, recognizing Song Wannian's prominent status as the daughter of the Song family, scurried out to greet us. She looked at me, and I could practically feel her gaze intensifying. She was in her 30s, past the prime of her youth, and clearly struggling with the scarcity of men. Her desperation was palpable. She worked herself to the bone to attract a partner, yet remained alone. "Congratulations on securing a husband, Miss Song," she chirped, though her voice took on a needy, forced edge as she stared at me. Wannian sensed the manager's intent and gripped my hand tighter. "Let's go," Wannian urged, guiding me into the elevator. Inside, the manager stopped recommending brands and instead began to leer at me with predatory hunger, her tongue darting across her lips in a subconscious, lewd habit. "Manager, you keep staring at me," I said, cutting straight to the point. "Is there something on my face?" Flustered, she stammered that I was simply too handsome, a specimen of perfection she had never seen before. Wannian, acting as my shield, stepped in front of me, her posture regal and sharp. "Is this how you treat distinguished guests, or are you simply trying to harass my husband?" The manager panicked, realizing the danger of offending a woman of Wannian's stature. She grabbed Wannian's arm, tears brimming in her eyes, begging for forgiveness and blaming her desperate, long-standing loneliness for the lapse in decorum. Seeing her pathetic state, Wannian's annoyance softened into pity. "Enough," she said coldly, dismissing the manager. "We will browse alone." As the elevator chimed, the manager retreated, terrified and apologetic. "Are you uncomfortable?" Wannian asked, her gaze searching my face for any sign of anger. "If you are, we can leave and go to another mall entirely." "It's fine," I replied calmly. Her behavior was a nuisance, not a threat. Even if she had tried something more forward, my physical conditioning would have allowed me to neutralize the situation without breaking a sweat. As we walked, the effect I had on the female shoppers was immediate. Heads turned, eyes lingered, and a few bolder women even threw seductive winks my way. I frowned, annoyed by the constant, desperate attention. Wannian went into full defensive mode. Her gentle, peach blossom eyes hardened into cold, sharp daggers. She radiated the aura of a high-born heiress, glaring down anyone who dared to linger too long on me. Her intimidation tactics worked. The hungry gazes faded as we reached an upscale men's undergarment store. Entry here was strictly regulated. Women could only enter if accompanied by a man, to prevent the rampant theft and harassment seen in less protected shops. Inside, the tension vanished. Wannian softened, her demeanor shifting back to that of a poised, gentle lady. "Pick whatever you like, husband," I said, though I honestly didn't care about the fabric as long as it fit. She took the lead, inspecting every detail with professional-level scrutiny. She checked the material, the breathability, and the comfort factor, wanting only the best for my skin. Just as she was holding a pair of silk boxers to the light, the shop's door swung open, and a new group of customers entered, abruptly interrupting our peaceful shopping moment. A burly, coarse-looking woman with frizzy hair strutted in, dragging a frail, submissive man behind her. "Boss, bring out your finest goods. I need to buy something for my little husband." Her voice was grating and ragged. Song Wannian's expression soured instantly. She whispered, "Husband, let's go to another shop." I nodded in agreement, but as we turned to leave, the large woman blocked our path, hands on her hips. Her eyes raked over me with predatory hunger. "Where did you find such a handsome man?" she demanded. Wannian tried to push past her, but the woman's massive frame stood firm as a stone wall. She flashed a lewd, distorted smile. "Handsome, want to spend the night with me? If you agree to register our marriage, I'll give you 10 million right now." 10 million was nothing to me. The store clerk tried to intervene. "Ma'am, this behavior violates the male welfare ordinance. Please step aside." The woman didn't hesitate. She shoved the clerk, sending her crashing several meters into a display cabinet. "Who do you think you are? Don't tell me what to do." She reached out to grab me, her hands clawing toward my clothes. Wannian gasped, but I shoved her behind me and stepped forward. "I'll handle this," I said, my voice low and authoritative. Wannian's heart fluttered. She felt incredibly safe. I braced my muscles, ready to shatter that massive arm, but my bodyguards moved faster. They kicked open the door and slammed her to the floor in seconds. The frail man she brought scurried over, shouting, "What are you doing? Let my wife go." She just laughed, still staring at me. "Handsome, you're so masculine. I love you. Can I get your social media?" My bodyguards ignored her, immediately calling the Male Welfare Commission. Within minutes, a woman in a sharp, light blue shirt arrived. She possessed a striking, oval face and piercing phoenix eyes. She flashed her badge, Tong Yi, Executive Captain of the Male Welfare Commission. Her team of senior officers followed closely behind her. My bodyguard pointed at the woman on the floor. "Hello, this individual attempted to harass our young master. We need an investigation." Tong Yi began taking notes, her eyes finally landing on me. "Which gentleman was the target of this harassment?" I raised a hand and gave her a small, effortless smile. Tong Yi's eyes widened slightly, her composure visibly flickering for a brief, breathless moment. I detailed how she blocked our path, demanded marriage, and assaulted the clerk. Tong Yi turned to the aggressor. Do you have any defense against these allegations? The woman smirked. A beautiful man is worth pursuing. I just wanted a husband. What did I do wrong? Tong Yi's gaze turned icy. Handcuff her. She then requested the store's security footage. A crowd had gathered, whispering and gossiping. Look at him, one woman murmured. I've never seen a man that beautiful. I'm losing my mind. Tong Yi ignored them and turned her attention back to me. Sir, for your safety, I must escort you for the remainder of your shopping trip. It's protocol to prevent further harassment. Wanian nodded in agreement. That would be appreciated, thank you. Tong Yi offered a faint, elegant smile that was almost as captivating as Wanian's. She was clearly no ordinary officer to hold such a high rank at 21. With her escort, the predators finally backed off. We reached the pajamas section. Wanian held up a charcoal gray, striped set against my chest. Husband, what do you think of this one? I nodded. It looks good. She smiled. Go try it on. I took the clothes into the dressing room. Wanian stayed outside to browse for more, but then her phone rang. It was the university calling. She had to step away to take the urgent call. When I stepped out, Wanian was gone. Where's my wife? I asked, looking at Tong Yi. The captain looked at me, her eyes darting away in a sudden, uncharacteristic shyness. She nervously fingered her uniform, stammering, Your wife? She had to step away to take a call. I checked my reflection in the mirror, then turned to her. What do you think of these pajamas? Tong Yi blinked, surprised by the question. She looked me up and down, her pulse quickening as she noted how the fabric accentuated my broad shoulders and tall, athletic frame. They look very good. I took a seat on the leather bench, waiting as time drifted by. Seeing Tong Yi's endearing shyness, I decided to break the silence and learn more about this intriguing officer. May I ask you a question? I inquired softly. She nodded, her eyes wide with anticipation. Of course, she whispered. I didn't hesitate. How old are you exactly? I asked her. She looked surprised by the directness but answered honestly, I am 22. I felt a flicker of genuine admiration. Rising to an executive captain's rank so young required immense skill. Her earlier icy, professional demeanor had completely evaporated. In my presence, she was simply a woman captivated, her heart racing as she sought ways to bridge the gap between us. After a moment, she summoned the courage to speak again. Sir, if you don't mind me asking, what is your name? I smiled, reminding her that she had already recorded it. Oh, right, she chuckled, her face deepening to a lovely shade of crimson. I completely forgot. Please forgive me. I just chuckled, enjoying the rare sight of her losing her composure. She finally took the leap and asked for my WeChat. When I teased her by saying, never mind then, she became distressed, fearing she had ruined her one chance with me. She remembered her father's advice. In this world, men are treasures, and women must be bold to secure their happiness. She looked up, her gaze steady, reaffirming her request to connect. I still want your WeChat, she insisted, her voice trembling slightly. Her oval face was flushed, and her ponytail swayed behind her. She was undeniably beautiful, and her spirit impressed me. I pulled out my phone to display the QR code. She grew so excited that she fumbled, opening her camera instead of the scanner, causing me to laugh at her mistake. You're opening the camera, not the scanner, I remarked, amused by her clumsy charm. She pouted, retorting that she was usually quite brilliant, just not when she was around me today. After successfully connecting, she took a photo of me with her flash on. I'm using this as my background, she declared, her eyes sparkling with joy. She was completely, adorably smitten. As we laughed, Song Wanian returned, her phone tucked away. She immediately sensed the tension between us, but maintained her grace, offering a soft, apologetic smile for her brief, sudden absence. She examined my pajamas, noting the loose fit, and decided to have them custom-made for me instead. I nodded, turning to the fitting room to change back into my regular attire. Left alone, the two women stood in silence. Wanian turned to Tong Yi, her expression unreadable. She spoke with a gentle, disarming warmth that took the young captain by total surprise. Sister, why don't we exchange WeChat accounts? She asked calmly. Tong Yi was baffled, yet she couldn't help but admire Wanian's maturity, beauty, and the aura of serene, high-born confidence. Wanian smiled, reading Tong Yi's thoughts perfectly. I can see you love my husband. He is extraordinary, and I want to ensure that no one who truly cares for him remains unfulfilled. Tong Yi was stunned. In a world where women fought tooth and nail for men, Wanian's generosity was unheard of. It felt revolutionary, a radical kindness that completely dismantled her initial defenses. Wanian laughed softly. We might be sisters one day. They exchanged contact details as I emerged from the changing room, unaware that my inner circle had just become a little larger. I emerged to find them laughing and chatting like old friends. You two seem to have found plenty of common ground, I remarked, a bit surprised by their quick rapport. Wanian wrapped her arm around Tong Yi's shoulder. Yes, dear husband, she and I are quite compatible. It was a subtle, generous signal that she welcomed Tong Yi into my circle. I didn't dwell on the subtext. If we're done shopping, let's head home. I'm exhausted. Wanian immediately released Tong Yi, clinging to my arm with a sweet, devoted smile. Of course, husband. We bid Tong Yi farewell and departed. Upon arriving at Wanian's 17th-floor luxury flat, she looked nervous. It's a bit small, husband. Please forgive me. I will work to buy bigger. To me, the apartment was far from small. Having lived in a cramped rental before my rebirth, this spacious, Riverview home felt like a palace. I truly didn't mind the size at all. "Go rest, husband," she whispered, calling for her maid to prepare dinner. She led me to the master bedroom, tenderly removing my shoes and tucking me in. I fell asleep instantly. During those 3 hours, Wanyan's phone buzzed incessantly. Her father, Song Guang, was ecstatic about the marriage, calling repeatedly to offer advice on how to keep me happy and satisfied. When I finally stirred at 7 p.m., the air was thick with the scent of a gourmet feast. Wanyan, looking ethereal in a golden silk robe, was waiting to massage my temples. "Are you awake, husband? Dinner is served." She insisted on dressing me in slippers herself, despite my protests. Her devotion was relentless, an act of service she performed with pure, sincere joy. After a decadent dinner and a relaxing foot soak, we returned to the bedroom. Under the soft, dim light, Wanyan traced patterns across my abs, her touch fueling an intense, lingering passion. With my system-granted physique, I was tireless. We engaged in a fierce, intimate battle that stretched until midnight, leaving her breathless, flushed, and utterly devoted to the strength I displayed tonight. "I love you so much," she murmured, her head resting on my chest. I grinned. That was only half my power. She gasped in shock, eyes wide, before drifting into a peaceful sleep. Morning arrived with another meticulously prepared breakfast. Soon after, we climbed into the Rolls-Royce and headed toward Dijing University. The campus was merely a 15-minute drive away. A 10-meter-tall white marble archway towered over the entrance, etched with golden characters, Dijing University. As the car rolled through the gates, the security team immediately signaled our arrival. Inside, President Zhang Miaoying and a line of school leaders stood waiting in the plaza. "Mr. Lin has arrived," she announced. "Everyone, prepare to welcome him with our absolute, utmost enthusiasm." I peered through the tinted window, impressed. The campus was stunning, lined with ancient, towering sycamore trees. It felt less like an academic institution and more like a beautifully curated, elite sanctuary. The sycamore leaves shimmered with a unique, late-summer charm, but what caught my eye were the banners hanging above, boldly declaring, "Welcome, young Master Lin Wang, to our university." I chuckled to myself. I had never seen such a gaudy, singular display of privilege before. While other freshmen had arrived yesterday, I was given a one-day grace period. Clusters of female students lined the path, their gazes locking onto our car. Every one of them was a scholar, the absolute elite of the nation, and they were breathtakingly beautiful. We pulled into the plaza, where President Zhang Miaowing and her entire cabinet waited. Behind them, members of the Adoration Club in provocative outfits danced, punctuating the air with celebratory fireworks. It was all too much. I felt slightly awkward as I stepped out, but my wife, Song Wanyan, leaned in close to introduce the school's high-ranking leadership to me. President Zhang grabbed my hands with intense fervor. "Young Master Lin, we are honored by your arrival." I shook hands with the staff, finally meeting a girl near my own age. "I'm Su Lingyun," she said with a bright smile, president of the Adoration Club. She was elegant and intellectual, wearing gold-rimmed glasses that highlighted her sharp, yet refined, facial features. Wanyan kissed my cheek, whispering that she had to attend a lecture. She left, and President Zhang eagerly offered a tour of my residence, but I gently declined the offer. "President, you all have work to do. Do not waste your valuable time on me." Zhang insisted it wasn't a waste, but I stood my ground, citing my preference for privacy. "I will be fine with Su Lingyun," I decided. The president bowed to my wishes, promising to remain available via WeChat, and finally retreated with her entourage of eager administrators. The moment they left, the dance squad swarmed me, desperate for autographs and photos. The crowd grew thick, spilling out from the bushes as if they had been hiding there waiting. The crushing weight of the crowd stole my breath. Su Lingyun instantly took command, shouting, "Any further harassment will be reported to the Male Welfare Commission for immediate arrest." The crowd quieted, though their hungry eyes remained fixed on me. They were mesmerized by my physique and charm, unable to fathom how such a perfect man could actually exist here. "If you want to get close to Lin Wang," Lingyun scolded, "you should have joined the Adoration Club. Now, step back. I am taking him to his villa immediately." She used her club members to form a human barricade, successfully carving a path through the sea of women. We finally reached the shade of the trees where her scooter waited. "The campus is vast," she explained, patting the rear seat. "We would be walking forever. Please, take this helmet." I smiled, accepting it, and hopped onto the back of the seat. As she accelerated, the sudden force of the scooter caused me to lurch forward. I collided firmly against her back, and I felt her body flinch at the unexpected, intimate contact. "If you don't mind," she suggested, her voice barely a whisper, "you could hold my waist. It would help you stay balanced." I hesitated, marveling at the boldness of the women in this world. I didn't hold back. I wrapped my arms around her slender frame, my palms settling firmly against her abdomen. I could feel her rhythmic breathing slowing, her heart hammering against my touch. She was visibly shaken, her ears turning a deep, burning red. It was her first time being held so intimately by a man, and she seemed desperate for the moment to stretch on forever. As we rode, the campus buzzed with gossip. Passers-by stared, murmuring about the legendary new student, the mysterious heir whose family status was the stuff of legends. Lingyun paid them no mind. She grew distracted, slowing the scooter to a crawl, savoring the proximity. Is your scooter out of power? I teased. Caught in her reverie, she flushed and quickly adjusted her grip on the throttle. I hopped off, signaling that I would take the lead. I needed to get to my residence before nightfall. Once behind the wheel, I surged forward, reclaiming our lost time with ease. Lingyun clutched my waist instantly, her fingers digging in. Through my tank top, she could trace the hard, defined ridges of my muscles. Are these abs? She gasped, unable to stop herself. I scolded her gently. Keep your eyes on the road, senior. She apologized, though her hands remained firmly locked onto me, trembling slightly as she explored the firm reality of my athletic physique. We soon arrived at the villa by Ming Lake. Originally a corridor, the school had demolished it to build a luxurious sanctuary, complete with a private dock, just to satisfy my arrival requirements. The villa was smaller than the Lin estate, but perfect for a student. As I parked, I noticed Lingyun's face was glowing like a ripe tomato. Are you feeling quite all right? I asked. She took a ragged breath to steady herself before leading me through the iron gates. Two young women were waiting in the garden, twins meticulously tending to the flowers with gardening shears. These were the Kai sisters, Jingmin and Jingshuan. They were high-ranking members of the Adoration Club, a reward status that allowed them the exclusive privilege of serving at my personal residence. The sisters rushed over, eager to leave an impression. One wore a yellow apron with a sunlit smile, while the other donned purple, her expression more reserved and contemplative. Jingmin, the older twin, pointed proudly at a shrub she had sculpted into a perfect heart shape. Do you like my work, little brother Lin? She asked, her eyes searching for approval. It's excellent, I complimented, though her sister scoffed, claiming the garden would wither without her watering. They began a playful, bickering dance, all while refusing to let go of my hands. Can you two please let go? I asked, feeling a bit overwhelmed. Jingman ignored me, squeezing my fingers playfully. Jingshuan doubled down, clutching my hand with both of hers, refusing to budge. I was genuinely stunned by their boldness. Su Lingyan cleared her throat and stepped between us, gesturing firmly. Release him at once. Do you want to lose your villa privileges? At the mention of losing access, the twins finally pulled away, though they lingered close. President, Jingmin pouted. When can we eat and sleep here with him? I resisted a wince. Eating was one thing, but sleeping here was pushing boundaries. Lingyun dragged me away before I had to answer. We passed through the iron gates into a sleek, modern living room. Unlike the traditional elegance of the Lin Manor, this space was vibrant and youthful. Several young women were busy cleaning, one dusting the sofa, another scrubbing the dining table, and others tackling the upstairs bedrooms. Are they all Adoration Club members? I asked. Lingyun nodded, explaining that these women had earned their spot through hard work and club credits. I was fascinated. How do you earn these credits? Activity participation or donations, she explained casually. 100 yuan gets you 1 credit. I blinked. 5,000 yuan just for the privilege of cleaning my house. That sounded like an insane markup, but the world of the wealthy was clearly built on different logic. She continued, detailing a tiered system that left me speechless. Cleaning was a starter job, but roles like bedwarmer or dining companion required even higher credit scores. I listened with a growing, bemused smile. The level of pampering here was absolutely beyond my wildest dreams. After we finished discussing the system, she gave me a tour. First was a quiet study, then a high-end gaming room featuring custom-built PCs, hand-picked controllers, and professional-grade ambient lighting. The school had spared no expense, spending tens of thousands just to ensure my entertainment. Finally, we reached the second floor. It felt remarkably serene, lined with 10 separate guest rooms. In case you decide to have guests stay the night, Lingyu noted, her expression perfectly serious. She led me to the master suite. The massive bed looked incredibly inviting, positioned directly against floor-to-ceiling windows that offered a breathtaking, panoramic view of the sparkling Ming Lake. A girl in a sailor outfit skipped over. President, the meal is ready, she announced, beaming at me. I followed them downstairs, feeling like the absolute master of this private, luxurious domain. Along the way, the sailor-suited girl Chunlin grabbed my arm. Please remember my name, she begged, pressing a hand-woven crystal bracelet into my palm. I prayed for your safety while making it. I accepted the gift with a warm smile, touched by her genuine sweetness. In the dining room, 5-star Sichuan chefs stood ready. The table was laden with authentic, spicy delicacies. I sat down and noticed the girls remained standing. Sit, I ordered. You've all worked hard, eat with me. They glowed at my kindness. The twins immediately seized the seats right next to me, effectively blocking anyone else from getting too close. Ling Yun playfully tried to scold them, insisting that a girl named Donger was the official dining companion for the day. Oh, let her sit across from him, the twins countered, refusing to budge from my side. The room filled with cheerful, playful energy as they vied for my attention, clearly relishing the chance to dine in my presence. The girls continued to bicker over the seating arrangement. Chunlin, pouting, challenged Su Lingyan's authority, arguing that their hard-earned credits entitled them to the best spots near me. Lingyan sighed, her patience wearing thin. She singled out Jiang Dong, who had remained silent and modest throughout the commotion, and issued an ultimatum: move or be permanently blacklisted. The twins reluctantly yielded. Chai Jingshuan grumbled but finally shifted, allowing Jiang Dong to sit beside me. She was dressed simply, in an oversized vest and pants that felt almost like a school uniform. As Jiangdong sat, she kept her head low, her posture perfectly composed. She remained timid, her eyes fixed on her lap, giving me only a subtle glimpse of her presence. The ladies watched me intently, waiting for the first move. I chuckled, broke the ice with a piece of pork, and told everyone to eat. They immediately began piling my bowl high. Every girl competed to feed me first. The twins were particularly aggressive, slipping in cheeky gestures under the table that made me stiffen, while Lingyun desperately tried to maintain order. Jiang Dong finally reached out, lifting a piece of pork to my lips. As she looked up to feed me, I was struck motionless. Her face was a masterpiece of delicate, ethereal beauty. She possessed soft phoenix eyes with a small, alluring tear mole, and her skin was porcelain perfect. In my estimation, she easily surpassed every other girl in the room in both grace and looks. I took the bite, praising the flavor, which earned me a pout from Chunlin. "You're just being polite," she teased, though I insisted that every dish was wonderful. Under the table, Jingshuan's bare toes brushed against my calf. I flinched, but Jiang Dong, sensing the tension, dropped her chopsticks and expertly nudged Jingshuan's foot away while retrieving them. Lunch was an unforgettable, chaotic affair. After eating, I sat in the living room and chatted with Wanian. She was busy at school, but checked in on my impressions of the villa. "It's great," I typed. She asked about the students, playfully mentioning that I could bring home more sisters if I wished. Her generosity was as vast as her devotion to me. I marveled at my father's choice. Wanian was not only a perfect partner but possessed the rare, high-level maturity required to manage a household without letting petty jealousy ruin her happiness. As I sat back, lost in thought, a soft voice reached me from the floor. "Please, sir, could you step on my back? I need to polish this section of the floor." I looked down, startled. It was Jiang Dong crawling on the ground, polishing the wood with a humble, almost reverent dedication that made me pause in my tracks. Jiang Dong crawled toward my feet, humbly offering her back as a stepping stool so she could reach the floor she was polishing. I couldn't bear it. I reached down to pull her up, but my hand caught her brassiere strap instead. With a sharp snap, the clasp gave way. She gasped, blushing from head to toe, and spun around, struggling to refasten it behind her back. Her hands trembled with nerves, so I stepped in and deftly clicked the strap back into place. "Thank you," she whispered, her eyes softening as she bowed her head. I snatched the towel from her hand. "This is too much work. Don't do it." Fearing she was being dismissed, her eyes welled with tears. "I'm not tired," she insisted, desperate to stay. I told her she only needed to tidy the living room, not scrub the floors. She bit her lip, whispering, "If I don't have work, I'll have to leave." Realizing her fear, I offered her a task: accompany me to my class at the science experimental building. She grabbed my sleeve in delight, whispering, "I will." Su Lingyun, watching from the balcony, looked disappointed when I declined her offer to join, but she let us go. As we reached the yard, the Kai twins caught sight of us. Chai Jingshuan immediately hooked her arm through mine, her body pressing against me. "I want to go too. Can I?" I looked at Jiang Dong, who gave a timid nod, and agreed. We hopped on a Chai Jingman's scooter. I took the lead, with Jingshuan clinging to my back and Jiang Dong squeezed onto the front, though the tight space made her chest press provocatively against my arms. We drove for 15 minutes across the massive campus. Upon arriving at the science building, a mob of female students immediately swarmed us, begging for autographs, signatures on their undergarments, or even to move into my villa. Jingshuan and Jiang Dong tried to hold them back, but they were quickly overwhelmed. I finally stepped in, flexing my muscles to command attention. The girls only shrieked louder, mesmerized by my physique. Just as I was about to be buried in the crowd, a familiar, sharp voice cut through the noise. "Who is harassing this student? Do you want to be arrested by the commission?" The crowd scattered instantly. It was Tong Yi, the executive captain, her uniform crisp and her expression unyielding. "Tong Yi, why are you here?" I asked, genuinely surprised. She stepped closer, flashing a playful smile. "My superiors assigned me to your personal security detail," she whispered. "I actually had to beg my father to grant me this opportunity." I was struck by how much effort she had invested just to be near me. She turned to the lingering girls, waving her handcuffs. "Move along. If you want to befriend him, use proper channels, or I'll be forced to take you all in." The girls grumbled, but they knew better than to test an officer, and reluctantly retreated. The crowd dispersed, grumbling about the blatant favoritism. Tong Yi remained, her gaze lingering on me with predatory intensity. She paced around, examining Jingshuan and Jiang Dong with a sharp, judgmental eye. Jingshuan pouted, protesting the scrutiny. "Why are you staring? I know Lin Wang well, so don't even think about arresting me." Tong Yi simply laughed, ignoring the girl's defensive and heated outburst. I pulled Jiang Dong safely behind me. "You're my bodyguard, Captain. Focus on your duties and stop intimidating my friends," I stated firmly, my voice cutting through the tension of the hallway. Tong Yi flared up, her hands on her hips. "Bodyguard? I am an executive captain." She bristled, her pride wounded, but I simply turned and walked toward the science building with a smirk. "Official protection is just a polite term for a bodyguard," I called back over my shoulder. She stood frozen, stunned by the logic, before stomping her feet and rushing to follow me. We entered the building, moving quietly through hallways filled with student achievements. The atmosphere shifted as we neared the lecture hall, where 20 girls waited, whispering excitedly about the rare male. The room fell into a heavy, suffocating silence the moment I stepped inside. They stared like sunflowers tracking the sun, their gazes hungry and desperate to be near the only man. I chose the second to last row, pulling Jiang Dong and Jing Xuan close. The students swarmed, fighting for every available seat near me, their desperation escalating with every passing, tense, and silent moment. "I want to sit on your neck," a voice shrieked. Tong Yi surged to her feet, hand on her cuffs, ready to arrest the culprit for harassment. The classroom went deathly quiet. The students regained their courage and began thrusting their WeChat codes at me. I sighed, resigned, and spent the next few minutes adding every single one of them to my contacts. Suddenly, the counselor, Wei Qin, strode in. Clad in a sleek black qipao, she exuded a mature, sophisticated aura that immediately commanded the room's attention. She was clearly a hand-picked elite. "Welcome to the Lin Wang class," she announced. We all knew the grueling vetting process, photos, family history, and personal traits required to secure a seat in this prestigious, resource-heavy, and exclusive group. "We are here to introduce ourselves and distribute uniforms," she explained. She pointed to a striking student in the front row, a girl standing nearly 6 feet tall with flowing, dark hair. "I am Xie Yin He, hailing from Handong Province," the tall girl announced. One by one, the elite students presented themselves until Wei Qin finally called my name to the stage. "Lin Wang," I stated simply. The room erupted into frantic, thunderous applause. I offered to serve as a tour guide for anyone wishing to explore the local city, sparking an immediate, chaotic frenzy. "I'll pay for your time," one girl shouted. Another suggested a trip to the Great Wall, followed by an overnight hotel stay. The intensity of their desire was almost suffocating and quite overwhelming. Counselor Wei Qin finally regained control, assigning students to fetch military training uniforms. She then motioned for me to follow her out, asking if I was settling into university life comfortably. "Aside from your studies," she whispered, leaning in, "you have a duty to the Lin family legacy. You must utilize this time to ensure the continuation of your unique bloodline." I flushed, embarrassed by her directness. She laughed, nudging me gently. "Do not be shy, boy. Do not waste your prime years buried in work like I did, missing my chance." She noticed a tear in my collar, a souvenir from some overeager fan's rough handling. "Take it off," she insisted, taking me to the bathroom so she could mend the damaged garment. She swapped it for a fresh uniform top, urging me to change. Once I emerged, she took the torn shirt, her face glowing with an inexplicable, lingering excitement as she held it. Back in the classroom, the girls grilled me on why I had changed outfits. I shrugged off the incident as a minor mishap, and we were finally dismissed for the day, heading out. The corridor was a gauntlet of invitations. "Eat with me," "Watch a movie." Tong Yi, ever the guardian, stood nearby, her presence the only thing preventing the crowd from physically dragging me away. "Your classmates are aggressively proactive," Tong Yi noted. I smirked, glancing at her. "Coming from the woman who asked for my WeChat at first sight. That's rich coming from you, Captain." She turned bright red, protesting that our situation was different. I teased her until we reached the villa. Su Lingyun was there, waiting to head to her own afternoon lectures. "The others have returned to their duties," Lingyun said, gesturing for the twins to follow her. Jing Xuan stubbornly refused to let go of my arm, desperate to linger in my company. "You have classes, Jing Xuan," I reminded her gently. "Go to them. You are welcome to return to my home whenever you please." Her eyes lit up at the generous invitation. She eventually released me, though she clearly felt she had already made significant progress. Even as she left, she couldn't help but harbor one last, secret hope for the day. Her boldness wavered just once. "Lin Wang, before I go, may I kiss you?" The request stunned everyone present. Chai Jingshuan rushed to justify it, calling it a blessing between close friends. I didn't buy the excuse for a second, but seeing her desperate longing gaze, I played along. "Fine, go ahead." Su Lingyun felt a sharp, stinging pang of jealousy. Why was Jingshuan getting ahead of her? She felt a rare, uncomfortable twitch of agitation. Jingshuan ignored them all, looping her arms around my neck and planting a firm, passionate lipstick mark on my right cheek. She stepped back, beaming at her masterpiece. When I reached up to wipe it away, she stopped me. "Don't. That is my mark." She turned and skipped out the door, her mission accomplished. Jiang Dong stood quietly to the side, her hands clasped. Unlike Su Lingyun's burning jealousy, she just offered a small, knowing smile. She never expected to possess me. Proximity was enough. Su Lingyun couldn't stand being outdone. She stormed up to me, tore off her gold-rimmed glasses, and stared daggers into my eyes. Then, without a word, she wrapped her arms around me. She pressed her lips to the same spot Jing Xuan had kissed, applying firm, deliberate pressure. It felt less like a greeting and more like a territorial declaration meant to bury Jing Xuan's trace. "What do you think you're doing?" Tong Yi, the officer, bristled, hand hovering over her cuffs. I laughed it off. "It's fine, Tong Yi. I'll take the loss. Let it be." She reluctantly backed down. "I'll be back, Lin Wang," Su Lingyun whispered before following the others out. Now, only Jiang Dong and Tong Yi remained. I looked at Jiang Dong, who was shrinking away. "Wait," I called, catching her arm. She froze like a frightened bird. I pointed to my cheek. They both kissed me as a blessing. "What about you?" Her heart hammered against her ribs. She was terrified but yearning. After a hesitant pause, she leaned in, pecked my cheek with the speed of a sparrow, and sprinted away in a panic. She paused at the door, her hands wringing nervously. May I bring you homemade cookies later? I smiled broadly. Anytime. She fled, her heart clearly threatening to leap from her chest. Silence reclaimed the villa. I picked up an orange and began to peel it. Tong Yi stood before me, her lips drained of color, her eyes fixed on me with intense, nervous focus. Do you want a piece? I asked, offering half. She shook her head. Lin Wang, I want to kiss you too. I blinked, amused. They had a goodbye excuse. What's yours? She clenched her fists, her chest heaving as she finally confessed, I love you. I want to be your wife. I froze. We had only added each other on WeChat yesterday. The rapid pace of this world's courtship was dizzying. She knelt before me, trembling, as she laid out her offer. A family courtyard in the city center, millions in cash, and a luxury vehicle. Tong Yi trembled, her voice laced with raw vulnerability as she pleaded for a chance. She did not dare to dream of being my wife, but she desperately desired the concubine's status. She pressed my palm against her racing heart, desperate to prove her sincerity. Her eyes, sharp yet undeniably feminine, locked onto mine with a fierce determination I could not ignore or deny. Though she lacked the perfection of my other companions, her beauty was striking. Facing such genuine affection, I felt the urge to grant her request, provided she accepted a lesser role. I will give you a chance, I stated calmly, but you shall only be a concubine. She clung to my hand, overcome with joy, as this status officially integrated her into my life. I opened the mandatory registration app to formalize our bond. She recited her identification details with fervor, her past as a young genius at the academy now becoming part of my legacy. The system demanded a rigorous aptitude test before the binding could finalize. Tong Yi dove into the questions with intense focus, determined to pass and prove her worth as my loyal companion. While she labored over the exam, my phone buzzed with endless messages. I ignored the trivial advances of my classmates and pinned my wife's chat to the top of my priority list. Wanian asked if I was sleeping at the villa, and I invited her to join us. She responded with pure, unconditional support, immediately setting out to plan our dinner for the evening. Tong Yi finally finished, flashing an 88% score with tears of pure relief. She was now officially mine, her status transformed from an unattached woman to a bound concubine. Do not stare at the screen so long, I teased, reclining on the sofa. You are mine now, and that is all that matters. She blushed deeply, her heart skipping a blissful beat. She offered to call her father to transfer her dowry immediately, but I dismissed the idea. Wealth was irrelevant, the system's binding contract ensured her loyalty far more effectively than money. I need to know you will treat me well, I said, testing her resolve. If you fail me, I can dissolve this bond at any time, leaving you with heavy legal consequences. I will be good to you, she cried, terrified at the thought of losing her place by my side. I leaned back, a mischievous glint in my eye, testing her devotion further. If you will do anything, then build me a lithography machine, I joked. She struck my chest with a playful blushing fist. Is this considered domestic abuse, my dear master? Tong Yi's hands didn't stop their rhythmic massage. She lingered on my chest, her gaze darting toward my face with growing boldness. Her cheeks flushed a deep, intoxicating shade of crimson. Why are you blushing? I asked, genuinely curious about the sudden shift. She didn't answer. Instead, she shed her uniform jacket, revealing a tight black tank top, and straddled me. You worried I wouldn't treat you well, she whispered, her lips hovering inches from mine. I'll show you right now. She kissed me, a searing, desperate claim of my attention. I flipped her over, pinning her to the sofa. Is this how you treat your husband? You're jeopardizing my physical health. She laughed, breathless. We're legally bound. This is only natural. An hour later, upstairs in my bedroom, Tong Yi peeked out from the white sheets, tracing patterns on my chest. She was exhausted, overwhelmed by a strength she hadn't anticipated. My phone rang. It was Wanian. Husband, dinner is booked. I'm heading to your villa now. Tong Yi heard the name and began dressing, her movements frantic as she calculated the social implications. Why the rush? I teased. It's barely 5. You don't have to hide under the covers. She stiffened. I'm not afraid of Sister Song, she insisted, though her eyes betrayed her anxiety. She sat before me, hands trembling as she fastened my shirt buttons. Why so formal? I asked. Are you going to dinner with us? She looked up, hopeful. Am I allowed? Stop playing the victim, I commanded. If you want me to be gentle, show me some affection. I leaned in close. Call me something sweet, husband or brother would suffice. She bit her lip, stubbornly refusing to yield despite her clear desire. I like Lin Wang just fine. She was an adorable, stubborn firebrand, but I knew she was just too shy. The doorbell chimed, interrupting our banter. I headed downstairs, opening the gate to find Wanian. She wore a sleek black dress, exuding an air of poised, effortless grace and elegance. Husband, she cried, rushing into my arms. I embraced her, noting how beautifully she complemented the villa. She admired the heart-shaped shrubbery, impressed by the care the students had shown. The students did it, I explained. We turned toward the entrance just as the armored door swung open, revealing Tong Yi, now back in her uniform, looking flustered and flushed. Sister Song, Tong Yi murmured, eyes dropping. She then looked at me. Brother Lin. Wanian didn't seem surprised. She took Tong Yi's hands with a warm, welcoming, and sincere smile. We met yesterday, didn't we? Wanian asked. Tong Yi nodded. I'm his concubine now. Wanian laughed, clearly pleased. The faster I grew my household, the safer her own position became. Wanian reached into her jewelry box and slipped a priceless white jade bracelet onto Tong Yi's wrist. Tong Yi was stunned by the sudden, extravagant display of generosity and genuine sisterhood. Tong Yi hesitated, but the bracelet's elegance was undeniable. Wanian pushed it onto her wrist, the white jade perfectly complementing her skin. The tension between them dissolved, replaced by a blossoming sisterhood. "The night is drawing short," Wanian remarked. "Let's depart for dinner." The driver, Liu, awaited us. I took the back left seat, leaving the front for Tong Yi, who insisted on the passenger side. Wanian sat beside me, amused by our playful maneuvering. "If we fight over seats now, we'll be arguing for hours later," I teased. They laughed, their bond already seemingly stronger than my own status. The restaurant was refined, fitting for Wanian's high-born background. We ate until satisfied. Afterward, the two women wandered the walking street, their laughter signaling they had become the closest of friends. "We want to shop, husband. Will you join us?" Wanian asked. I declined, citing my early military training the next day. They kissed my cheeks and departed, leaving me to head home alone. The street felt strange without Tong Yi's presence. I reached my villa, where a familiar figure stood under the streetlights. Jiang Dong waited, clutching a metal box, her face glowing in the dark. "Jiang Dong, why are you here?" I asked. She flinched at the soft address, offering the box. "I brought cookies." I didn't take the box. Instead, I grabbed her arm. "Come inside." She panicked, fearing it was too late. "I just wanted to drop them off," I insisted, dragging her into the warm villa and onto the sofa. "Have you eaten?" I asked sternly. She shook her head, then nodded, causing her stomach to let out a loud, traitorous growl. She had spent all afternoon perfecting those cookies, entirely neglecting her own hunger for my sake. I moved to drag her toward the cafeteria, but she resisted, pointing at the cookies. "They'll lose their warmth," she whispered. I relented, sitting beside her to open the box. The scent of nuts and chocolate filled the room. The texture was buttery and perfect, melting instantly on my tongue. "This is delicious," I said, catching her shy, hopeful smile. "I'll bake more tomorrow," she replied, her face lighting up with a rare, quiet joy. Her only wish was to provide, and in that simple moment, the world felt perfectly at peace. I ate 2 more cookies, genuinely impressed. The balance of flavors was impeccable, crisp yet melting, a perfect creation that made it impossible to stop. Still, I set the box aside. I wanted to take Jiang Dong out for a proper dinner, and I planned to save the rest for Wanian and Tong Yi to sample. I stood up and held out my hand. "Come on," I urged. She hesitated, hesitant to burden me with her presence. "I can go eat by myself," she whispered, her eyes flickering with a mix of longing and humility. "You don't want to go with me?" I teased. That was all it took. She shook her head rapidly, her face softening. I led her out into the cool, tranquil evening air. We walked hand in hand, the silence punctuated only by the chirping of crickets. I felt a rare sense of peace. I had no idea where the cafeteria was, so I followed her lead. The campus was massive. We wandered past historic buildings and the grand library, our fingers interlaced. Even though she didn't initiate the touch, she didn't pull away. She was mine for now. We arrived at the new arts cafeteria. As we approached the door, the manager, a middle-aged woman, hurried over. "Young Master Lin, everything here is free for you, of course." Her loud announcement drew every eye in the room. The other students looked eager but kept their distance, terrified of the strict disciplinary warnings they had received earlier that day. "What do you want to eat?" I asked Jiang Dong. "Just some steamed buns and cabbage," she murmured. Her family circumstances were modest, and she had always lived a frugal life. I shook my head firmly. "You baked for me. You aren't eating cabbage." I turned to the manager. "Bring us your specialty dishes. We don't need to stand in line." We sat down, and soon, a local student named Wu Dong approached. He was a hefty guy, weighing over 200 pounds, clearly eager to curry favor with someone of my status. He introduced himself humbly, offering his assistance as a senior student. We exchanged WeChat contacts briefly before he departed, respectful enough not to intrude on our meal or overwhelm me. The chef brought out 4 exquisite dishes and a soup. I insisted Jiang Dong eat, and after she finished a modest bowl, I walked her back toward the path to her dormitory. Before she left, she pulled me close, her heart hammering. "Don't forget the cookies," she whispered. Then, she stood on her tiptoes and kissed my cheek, her courage finally surfacing. "If you don't mind," she murmured, her face burning with intensity, "I am yours." She didn't seek a title. She simply wanted to return the kindness I had shown her today. I understood her heart perfectly. She had long admired me from afar, held back only by the crushing weight of our social disparity. Now, the barrier had finally, blissfully, crumbled. "Return with me to the villa," I suggested. Jiang Dong agreed with a speed that genuinely surprised me. Her fragile beauty and bird-like sensitivity made her a rare, intoxicating prize for any man. We returned to the master bedroom and flicked on the lights. Before I could process the shift, she knelt, reaching for my belt with a directness that defied her timid exterior. "Wait, not so fast," I laughed, pulling her up. Her waist was impossibly slender, an A4 frame of perfection, and as I pulled her close, her presence left me breathless. "Relax," I whispered, leaning down. I searched her eyes and saw a profound, waiting stillness. She had never kissed a man before, but as I moved, she instinctively leaned into me. A dizzying electricity surged through her. She clutched my shoulders, pulling me deeper into the embrace. I swept her onto the bed, lost in the intense, feverish pace of the night. Hours blurred into the late evening. As the clock struck 10, Jiangdong flushed a deep, vibrant red, scrambling to gather her clothes. I have to return to the dorms. I caught her hand, pinning her to the sheets. Stay, why run back now? She trembled, terrified of overstaying her welcome or soiling my home with her humble presence. Have some self-confidence, I urged, holding her gaze. You are worth far more than you realize. I made the offer then, bind yourself to me, become my concubine. She gasped, her heart fluttering. She had adored me from afar, but the chasm between our stations had made such a dream feel impossible. Concubinage was a prestigious, secure status. However, she felt unworthy even of that, settling instead for the role of a lover. This bond was one-sided, a promise of devotion that wouldn't appear on my official registry. I agreed to her request. She scrambled through the qualification tests, her hands shaking as she finalized the bond. The moment it clicked, she clutched her phone like a precious, life-saving relic. A sudden chime echoed through the villa, the doorbell. I rose, Jiangdong trailing behind me like a shadow. I opened the gate to find Wanyan and Tong Yi arm in arm, shopping bags in hand. It's past 10, I feigned irritation. Wanyan apologized instantly, but Tong Yi scoffed, pointing to the bags overflowing with high-end designer menswear, shoes, and luxury accessories they had bought for me. Forgive them, I muttered, letting them in. As I moved, Jiangdong was revealed standing behind me. Wanyan's eyes widened, though her smile remained perfectly, elegantly warm. Who is this? Wanyan asked. I introduced her, noting that she had just bound herself as my lover. Tong Yi, now broadened by Wanyan's massive gurju, immediately bristled on Jiangdong's behalf. Why only a lover? Tong Yi demanded, grabbing Jiangdong's hand. She is gorgeous. She deserves a concubine status, just like us. Wanyan nodded, reaching out to pat Jiangdong's hair. It was my choice, Jiangdong whispered, her voice soft but filled with newfound belonging. Despite the difference in our ranks, she was finally home, surrounded by women who understood her worth. Don't blame her, Jiangdong whispered, her voice trembling. I shrugged, genuinely at a loss. I tried to offer her concubine status, but she refused it herself, I explained. Song, Wanyan tilted Jiangdong's chin up, her gaze softening as she took in the girl's ethereal, fragile beauty. Even the sophisticated Wanyan seemed momentarily struck by Jiangdong's grace. Very well, Wanyan sighed, yielding to Jiangdong's wish. She unclasped her own water-drop diamond necklace and moved to fasten it around Jiangdong's neck, despite the girl's hesitant protests. Tong Yi chimed in. Accept it, Donger. I have one too. Consider it a sisterly gift. With their gentle insistence, Jiangdong finally allowed the necklace to rest against her skin. The diamond added a new layer of brilliance to her modest appearance. Wanyan nodded, clearly pleased. She looks wonderful. Now, husband, we just need to update her wardrobe, don't you think? I chuckled, playing along. If you say so, Sister Song, then I trust your judgment completely. Tong Yi pouted, nudging my arm. What about me? Don't I look good too? You're both beautiful, I answered, skillfully avoiding the trap. I retreated toward the living room to avoid further interrogation, playfully shouting that in my house, my word was the final law. We spent the evening unpacking the mountain of gear they had bought for my military training. Wanyan fussed over the sunscreen and hats, insisting I protect my skin from the sun. It's just one training session, I argued, but they ganged up on me. Tong Yi even thumped my chest, declaring I no longer belonged to myself, I belonged to them and our family. I surrendered to their combined willpower. As we prepared for bed, the question of arrangements arose. Jiangdong was sent to a guest room, while Wanyan and Tong Yi stayed in mine. The massive master bed easily accommodated the three of us. Wanyan tucked us in, her movements graceful and domestic, while I lay in the center, flanked by two devoted, beautiful women. Tong Yi didn't waste time, curling into my neck with her legs draped over my waist. In the dark, I heard Wanyan's soft, mischievous voice. Husband, you don't really want to sleep yet, do you? Her hands traced my chest with purpose. I realized the night was far from over. My system-enhanced endurance was truly a blessing, allowing me to hold my own against both of them simultaneously. By dawn, the room was empty. I awoke to the soft, golden light of the sun reflecting off the Ming Lake, filtering through the curtains to warm the luxury of my bedroom. I dressed in the new loungewear they had bought me and toured the quiet house. I checked Jiangdong's room, but found it already pristine, the bed made with military-grade precision. Descending the stairs, I caught the scent of fresh coffee and toasted bread. The kitchen was alive with the sound of hushed, melodic chatter. My three companions were already hard at work. Wanyan was the first to spot me, her face lighting up with a radiant, morning smile. Husband, you're finally awake, she chirped, while Tong Yi stood nearby, her hair pinned up in a clip. Jiangdong, now radiant in a white dress and lipstick, looked breathtaking. I knew she couldn't afford such quality. Tong Yi boasted it was her own wardrobe. Does it look good? Tong Yi asked, her eyes sparkling. I nodded, mesmerized. Song Wanyan brought out 3 sandwiches, challenging me to identify which of them had prepared each one. I took a bite of the first. The balance of crispy bread, egg, and bacon was absolute perfection. This has to be Sister Song's, I declared, and she smiled, confirming my guess. I tried the second sandwich and immediately spat it out. The bacon was burnt to a charcoal crisp. This must be yours, Tong Yi, I said, suppressing a mischievous, teasing grin. Jiang Dong whispered an apology, admitting it was her attempt. I laughed, brushing off her embarrassment. Then I tasted the third, which was surprisingly good, nearly rivaling Wanian's culinary skill. I kept teasing Tong Yi, pretending it was mediocre until she began to pout. Once I admitted I was joking, she leapt up and kissed me, her joy returning instantly. After breakfast, Wanian left for work and Jiang Dong headed to class. Tong Yi, in her captain's uniform, stayed by my side, ready to escort me to the military training grounds. As we stepped outside, Su Lingyun arrived on her scooter. She stopped dead, staring at Jiang Dong. Donger, you were here all night? She looked as if her worldview had shattered. I explained that Jiang Dong had stayed over, and Su Lingyun stood paralyzed. I didn't care much, instead turning to Jiang Dong. Don't you have a goodbye kiss for me? I asked pointedly. To Lingyun's horror, the shy Jiang Dong stood on her tiptoes and kissed my cheek without hesitation. Tong Yi immediately followed suit, claiming her own side, her touch familiar and possessive. Lingyun stood frozen, her jaw dropping. Jiang Dong, Tong Yi. They are my concubines now, I explained casually, feeling no need to hide the rapid progression of our intimate domestic life. You're not joking? Lingyun stammered, but I simply checked my watch. No time for games, senior. I have a drill to attend. You handle the villa logistics as planned. I walked away with Tong Yi, leaving Lingyun behind to process the chaos. She watched us vanish around the corner, clearly struggling to accept how quickly my household had expanded overnight. Lingyun stood rooted to the spot, her lips trembling with a mix of jealousy and longing. She watched them leave, wondering what it would feel like to be officially bonded to Lin Wang. I will make you mine, Lin Wang, she vowed silently. She wouldn't let the others hold all the ground. She was the club president, and she refused to lose this race. We walked for 20 minutes to the west playground, the path buzzing with activity. Inside, thousands of freshmen sat in groups. The sight was surreal, a sea of vibrant young women. In a crowd of 3,000, there were only 32 boys. My arrival was like a spark hitting dry powder. The entire field turned toward me, their eyes wide with disbelief. They whispered about my legendary lineage and my status as the prince of the city. I tried to remain nonchalant, but the sheer gravity of their collective attention felt like a spectacle. Tong Yi, looking sharp in her enforcement uniform, stepped in front of me. She acted as a human shield, her hand poised near her tactical gear, warning the students to maintain distance. Is this military training or a private concert? I muttered. I felt overwhelmed, but then my own class stepped forward, linking arms to form a protective wall around me, shielding me. Si Yinhei, a tall and striking student, took charge of the formation. She led the girls in guarding my perimeter, effectively preventing the boldest fans from sneaking in an unwanted touch. The grade director's voice finally boomed over the loudspeakers, restoring order. As the students drifted into formation, I felt a genuine warmth for the girls who had instinctively shielded me. Thank you, everyone, I called out from the ranks. They responded in a unified, melodic chorus of "You're welcome," their loyalty already solidified by the prestigious nature of our elite class. Wei Qin, our counselor, approached with a graceful, measured stride. She carried her bag with elegance and pulled out my shirt, meticulously mended and freshly washed. I fixed it for you. She then produced a bottle of sunscreen, pressing it into my hands with a gaze so intense, it felt like liquid silk. Don't let the sun touch your skin, she murmured, lingering. I accepted the gift, caught in her mature, seductive gravity. Tong Yi immediately confiscated the bottle, taking charge of my regimen, while the instructors began their descent from the grandstand. Our assigned instructor was a sharp-featured woman named Gao Meng. Her short hair and camouflage fatigue screamed discipline. She scanned the ranks, her voice raspy and demanding. I expect perfection. She eyed me, fully aware of my high-profile background. Her superiors had warned her to treat me with extreme care, but Gao Meng despised coddling. She lived for discipline and collective effort. Lin Wang, front and center, she roared. I stepped out, jogging to her side. She looked at me with an appraising, competitive glint. I studied her back, noting her fierce, commanding energy. She possessed a rugged, athletic beauty with a complexion like bronzed wheat. I need an assistant for this training block, she declared, her eyes narrowing. Since you're the only male, you're up. Assistant instructor, I nodded, accepting the role. Gao Meng warned me not to get cocky. My movements had to be perfect to earn the respect of the recruits I was meant to guide. They say you have powerful backers who want you pampered, she said, her voice sharp. But I don't care. You can quit now, or you can train like everyone else. What's your choice? I am ready to train, instructor, I replied, standing tall. Gao Meng's expression softened. She had expected a spoiled brat, but I was proving to be everything she wasn't. She placed me at the front. We began with standard military posture. After I demonstrated the form, she adjusted my stance, her hands firm against my waist and shoulders to demonstrate perfection. Everyone, take your positions, she barked. The girls snapped into formation, but their posture was shaky. Gao Meng signaled me to join her in correcting them. As I walked down the line, I found myself physically adjusting their shoulders and posture. The girls blushed, visibly ecstatic to be touched, and began deliberately slouching just to get my attention. Gao Meng realized their ploy immediately. Any girl who requires correction now gets 50 squats. The ranks stiffened instantly. their posture becoming flawless. Discipline had been restored in seconds. To boost morale further, Gao Meng proposed a radical idea. For the sake of our class honor, are you willing to make a sacrifice? She asked, leaning close to my ear. If anyone masters the form on their first try, she announced to the class, they earn a hug from Lin Wang. The girls erupted in cheers, their motivation suddenly skyrocketing. Tong Yi, standing nearby, bristled. She bit her lip and stomped her foot, but since this was my own choice, she had no authority as an officer to interfere. She was furious. All morning, the students trained with ruthless efficiency. By lunch, half the class had hugged me, allowing me to assess their figures. Two names, Su Qingxue and Zhang Xiyun, stuck in my mind. After dismissal, I rejected the flood of lunch invitations and headed back toward the villa with Tong Yi. She walked several paces ahead, arms crossed, refusing to meet my gaze. I caught up and draped an arm over her shoulder, but she shirked it off aggressively. What is wrong? I asked, fully aware of her jealousy regarding the morning's mandatory hugs. Nothing, she snapped, though her tone screamed otherwise. I knew her pride wouldn't allow her to admit she was burning with rage, so I decided to end this charade now. If you're going to act like this, I said, my voice dropping, then let's just dissolve the bond. I didn't wait for her reply, walking ahead with a cold, brisk pace. The word dissolve hit her like a physical blow. She froze, her entire world tilting on its axis. She had only meant to tease me, not lose me forever. Panic seized her. She instantly shifted her approach, clutching my arm with a desperate, practiced tenderness. Brother, please. I'm just feeling insecure. You know I only act this way because I love you. I knew she was terrified, but if I didn't break her ego now, she'd continue acting out. I pulled away, my expression remaining ice cold. I'm not interested. Talk to the commission, get a new guard. She froze. Seeing my face, her eyes welled up with genuine, panicked tears. She lunged forward to embrace me, but I stepped back. One more touch and I'll initiate the dissolution. She stopped dead, terrified of the threat. She stood there like a scolded child, shivering as she followed me in silence back to the villa. She didn't dare speak for the rest of the walk. Inside, the villa was bustling. Jiang Dong was setting the table, Su Lingyun was cleaning, and Chumlin, in a cute pink dress, rushed down from the second floor to hug me tightly. You're back, she exclaimed. She reached for my wrist, her face falling. Where's the bracelet I made you? I sighed. I didn't want it to get damaged during military training. She looked devastated. I'll make you a wind chime instead. I smiled at her, but my mind was elsewhere. Tong Yi, eyes still red, rushed to Jiang Dong to beg for advice on how to fix things. Jiang Dong wiped Tong Yi's tears with quiet grace. He's only testing you, Tong Yi. If he truly wanted to dissolve the bond, he wouldn't have bothered telling you at all. You think so? Tong Yi asked, hope flickering in her eyes. Jiang Dong nodded calmly. But you need to show real sincerity. How you do that is up to you, but be patient. Outside, the Kai twins were still tending to the yard. Kai Jingshuan immediately latched onto my arm, pouting. Tomorrow, our credits run out. I don't want to leave you, Lin Wang. I was distracted, my thoughts on the girls inside, so I didn't respond. Impatient, Jingshuan reached down and gave me a brazen, physical squeeze. I glared at her. What are you doing? You weren't listening, she retorted, unbothered. I threatened her with Tong Yi's arrest, but she just rubbed her chest against me, giggling. You wouldn't be that mean, would you? Jiang Dong appeared in the doorway, calling us to eat. I walked to her and kissed her deeply, right in front of the twins. The bold move shocked everyone. Jiang Dong was the most timid of them all. So, you've already taken her. Jingshuan gasped, eyes widening. I didn't answer, just kept my arm wrapped firmly around Jiang Dong's waist. The twins looked at me with a mix of jealousy and intense desire. Take me too. Make me a concubine, Jingshuan demanded, bouncing on her toes. I pushed her away firmly. Eat first. We'll see about the rest later. She was still too immature for my liking. Inside, I invited the cleaning staff to join us at the table. Su Lingyun hesitated. Lin Wang, it's not proper. I shook my head. You all work hard for me. You deserve a seat. To them, it was a massive honor, but I saw it differently. These women were loyal, and for once, I wanted them to feel like part of my growing home rather than just hired help. The girls admired Lin Wang's rare, genuine character. Unlike the arrogant, entitled men they usually encountered, he treated everyone with respect. They felt honored to work in his home. Lin Wang invited them to the table, dismissing the class barriers. Su Lingyun and Chum Lin sat by his side, while the twins hovered, eyes glued to him, eager for his attention. Tong Yi, however, remained standing. Jiang Dong tugged at Lin Wang's sleeve, silently pointing at the officer. Sit down and eat, Lin Wang commanded, his voice firm but not unkind. Tong Yi refused, shaking her head. I messed up, brother. I deserve to stand. Lin Wang sighed, placed a piece of braised pork into her bowl, and signaled her to sit. Do you really want to dissolve our bond? He asked quietly. Tong Yi's resolve crumbled. She sat down, eyes wet with tears, clutching his hand under the table in relief. The meal was heavy with quiet tension. Once finished, Tong Yi headed to the kitchen to simmer pear and rock sugar for the afternoon, with Jiang Dong assisting her closely. Su Lingyun approached Lin Wang before leaving, mentioning the surge of new applicants for the club. We have plenty of funding now, too. We should plan a major social event. Lin Wang's mind raced with ideas, a warrior party or something equally bold. He promised to give it thought. Chumlin waved goodbye, her smile sweet, promising to bring over her wind chime. The afternoon sun was brutal. I arrived at the field fully shielded by a hat, sunglasses, and high-quality sunscreen, all applied with meticulous care by my protective and doting companions. Tong Yi carried a chilled water bottle filled with our homemade pear drink. The cool air against the sweltering heat made the gear they insisted I wear feel like a luxury. We reached the field 10 minutes before training. My classmates swarmed us, ushering me into the shade of the few trees. They were desperate to secure their place in my life. "You have to give us a chance," Zhang Ziyi pleaded. They complained that my WeChat was always overflowing with messages, making it impossible to truly stand out or catch my eye. Zhang Xiyun had a better idea. "Why don't we take turns performing? A talent show for our judge, Lin Wang." The crowd cheered. I shrugged, content to watch the show. Diao Jinjin, quick-witted and connected, messaged our counselor, Wei Qin. Within minutes, a notification pinged on everyone's phone. Due to the extreme heat, military training was delayed by 1 hour. The training delay felt like a divine gift. With an hour of unexpected freedom, the tension on the field evaporated, replaced by an eager, electric buzz of anticipation. Zhang Xiyun, the architect of this impromptu talent show, stepped forward to host. She turned to me with a glint in her eyes. "Lin Wang, this needs a proper incentive." I agreed, proposing a meal with the top 3 performers. But Xiyun countered with something bolder. "How about the winner gets to be your girlfriend for a single day?" The term girlfriend in this world was a fleeting, low-stakes label, yet it sparked a frenzy. The girls cheered, seeing it as the ultimate prize for their competitive spirit. I accepted, finding the stakes harmless. As I settled onto the grass beside Tong Yi, she handed me her water bottle. Her earlier fire had cooled into a gentle, attentive grace. Xiyun claimed the first spot. She untied her high ponytail, letting her dark hair cascade like silk, and knotted her uniform jacket to reveal a sharp, athletic waistline. She began to dance. Her movements were fluid, rhythmic, and hypnotic, echoing a precise pulse. She bent backward, her fingertips brushing the grass, tracing a curve that demanded attention. With a sudden burst of energy, she pivoted, spinning until her hair fanned out in a perfect ring. Her eyes locked onto mine, daring, teasing, and filled with a calculated, playful intensity. She finished by swaying rhythmically, the curve of her hips highlighted by her loose-fit trousers. She moved toward me, resting a hand on my shoulder, lingering in a bold, final pose. "Are you satisfied, Lin Wang?" she whispered, her breath brushing my brow before she pulled away with a polished bow. The applause that erupted from the class was instantaneous and deafening. Her performance had drawn a crowd. Even students from other departments gathered to watch, their eyes widening at the caliber of beauty displayed within our elite class. Among the onlookers were Zhao Xiaozhen and Gu Shuo, 2 students from the law department. They were the rare males of their own class, currently being pampered by their female peers. "Why are their girls so much better looking?" Xiaozhen muttered. Gu Shuo leaned in, whispering, "You fool. That's the prince of our nation. He has a private villa, while we have flats." Xiao Chen's eyes widened at the revelation. He had been so buried in his studies he had missed the rumors, but seeing my setup, he couldn't help but feel a deep, humbling envy. "Forget it," Gu Shuo sighed, his gaze fixed on the field. "Just watch. The next performance is already starting." The atmosphere was shifting. The competition had truly begun. The playground transformed into a theater of desire. Kui Duo Duo unveiled her midriff, performing a daring dance that drew gasps. The atmosphere grew thick with a fierce, competitive heat. Students crowded around to witness the spectacle. Even passing instructors were drawn to the fray, until Gao Meng arrived to restore order, her gaze locking onto Su Qingshu's classical dance. Qingshu moved with effortless, hypnotic grace, her every gesture exuding feminine charm. When she finished, Gao Meng stepped into the center, her sharp eyes scanning the crowd with intense focus. "I see my assistant is quite popular," Gao Meng remarked. She removed her hat, her expression hardening. "Since you are all performing, I suppose I should join the show as well." She began a display of military combat drills. Her movements were explosive, precise, and intimidating, showcasing the raw power of a soldier. The entire class watched in stunned, absolute silence. Gao Meng stood proud, though the girls shuddered at the thought of her rigid discipline. Just as Lin Wang prepared to announce his scores, our counselor, Wei Qin, stepped forward. She arrived with a radiant smile, her presence calming the restless crowd. As our class counselor, she was devoted entirely to our needs, ensuring every aspect of our lives was managed. "I hear you are grading performances," Wei Qin said softly. "Would you allow me to join in and earn a score from Lin Wang as well?" The class murmured in shock. The tension climbed as Wei Qin set her bag aside. She pulled her hair into a ponytail, revealing a graceful neck and collarbone. She was ready to dance for him. She chose a Latin routine, her slim skirt clinging to her every movement. Each step was deliberate, showcasing her figure with mature elegance that felt worlds apart from the students. She executed a sharp hip flick, her skirt flaring to reveal a flash of skin. The students gasped. They had never seen such seamless control over movement and garment combined. Her heels struck the grass with rhythmic precision. With every step, the skirt rose, revealing toned legs while she maintained a fierce, unwavering gaze, as if challenging an invisible partner. She dropped to the grass, arching her back into a perfect bridge. Sunlight caught her frame, highlighting the fusion of raw physical power and a deeply sophisticated, womanly grace. The dance reached its crescendo. She rotated with breathtaking speed, her body a blur of motion. As she began to slow down, the entire playground remained hushed, captivated by her. Her arms traced elegant arcs through the air, culminating in a pose that defined grace. Her black skirt clung to her thighs, accentuating every tight, disciplined line. As she settled into a final, trembling stance, a wave of thunderous applause swept across the playground. Even stripping away her rank, Lin Wang had to admit her performance stood as a peer to Xian and Qing Shui. Wei Qin wiped the sweat from her brow, looking toward him with eager, shimmering eyes. Lin Wang, what score do you give your teacher? Lin Wang carefully entered her score on his phone and handed it to Tong Yi to announce. She glanced at the screen, her pupils dilating as she read the results aloud to the hushed crowd. The top scorers are Zhang Xian, Su Qingshui, and Wei Qin. All three are tied with a perfect 100. A gasp rippled through the field. It was an undeniable result, yet it raised a startling question. Xian whispered the rules into Wei Qin's ear. The teacher's face flushed a deep, crimson red. She was a woman of 30, and the prospect of being a girlfriend for a day was unexpectedly, dizzyingly enticing. The students didn't let her retreat. Teacher, you have to follow the rules. Don't be a sore loser, Xian prodded. Wei Qin looked at Lin Wang, her breath catching as their eyes locked in silent confession. If Lin Wang is willing, she murmured, her voice barely audible, then I am willing, too. The class erupted in cheers. Even the strict instructor Gao Meng, feeling ignored, seized the phone and scowled. Gao Meng didn't find her own name on the list. Her face turned stony, and at 2:57 p.m., she blasted her whistle. Everyone, assemble. Now. The afternoon training was an agonizing, accelerated blur of discipline. Gao Meng pushed the class to their limits, fueled by her own peak. By evening, the students were shattered. Even Lin Wang, despite his system-enhanced body, felt the heavy, draining ache of the grueling day. We returned to the villa, the relief of the sanctuary washing over us. I collapsed onto the sofa, beckoning for Wanyan. She rushed over, and I pulled her into a long, restorative embrace. She stood behind me, kneading my shoulders with practiced ease, while Tong Yi massaged my arms. Then, Jiang Dong arrived with a basin of water, kneeling to remove my shoes and socks. She washed my feet with exquisite, tender care, her eyes checking my expression to ensure the temperature was perfect. The exhaustion melted away under their combined, loving devotion. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was a video call from my father, a rare, urgent interruption. I accepted it immediately, finding both my father and my grandfather, Lin Guochang, staring back at me. My grandfather, Lin Guochang, stood firm despite his 70 years, his gaze as piercing as a blade. Beside him was my father, Lin Jiming. Seeing my companions on screen, the air in the villa grew heavy. Lin Wang, grandfather spoke slowly. Have you taken more than one woman? I introduced Wanyan, Tong Yi, and Jiang Dong. Grandfather nodded, his expression shifting from stern to satisfied. You are more thorough than your father, he said. With the gender imbalance worsening, as a son of the Lin family, you must contribute to the nation and set an example for others. Father added his counsel, no matter how many you have, treat them with care, protect them. I accepted their words with humility, and after a few more instructions, the screen went dark. The tension broke. Jiang Dong, unfazed by the politics of my bloodline, tenderly dried my feet and slipped on my slippers. Wanyan soon announced dinner, introducing our new housekeeper, Zhao Ma. Exhaustion clawed at me after the grueling training. I stood in the hall, too tired to even shower. I'm drained, I admitted to my wives. Who will help me wash? Tong Yi's eyes ignited with desire, but I steered toward Wanyan and Jiang Dong. Their gentleness was what I needed. Tong Yi, I feared, would only turn the bath into a battleground. Tong Yi, I said, sidestepping her pout, I have a vital mission for you. She perked up, expecting something grand. I need you to warm my bed, I teased, feigning adoration. She was skeptical, but my flattery about her scent pacified her. She scurried upstairs, while Wanyan and Jiang Dong prepared the bath. As they stripped me, Jiang Dong's cheeks burned crimson. I teased her, placing her hand against my abs. Are you too shy to look at your husband? She bit her lip, her hand trembling as she touched the muscle, her face a bright flame. Wanyan laughed softly, guiding me into the tub. The heat was a balm, and their hands were like silk. I drifted into a half sleep, feeling their devotion wash away the day's aches. I woke 30 minutes later to their soft voices. As I stepped out, damp and invigorated, I looked at their flushed faces. Why not join me? Don't waste the water. They gasped, shocked by the suggestion. Wanyan shed her clothes with effortless grace, while Jiang Dong hesitated, still clutching her modesty. Come now, I urged. You're sleeping in my room tonight. Jiang Dong looked up, confused. But isn't Tong Yi warming the bed? She seemed to think my space was limited, completely unaware of the long, decadent night I had planned for us all. Warming the bed is exhausting, so let them sleep in their own rooms, I urged, though Jiang Dong wasn't fooled. She knew warming the bed was hardly a strenuous labor. I unzipped her dress, the fabric dampened from the bathroom steam. When I offered to have the housekeeper wash it, she refused, opting to handle her own laundry with quiet pride. Is it really just a bath? She whispered, her eyes searching mine. I didn't catch the nuance, my mind already wandering to the steam rising from the hot, cascading showerhead. The bath became a marathon of indulgence. By the time we emerged at 10:30 p.m., the villa was silent. Tong Yi, left waiting for hours, had finally fallen asleep in my bed. I returned to the bedroom with Wanian and Jiang Dong, their faces glowing. Seeing Tong Yi asleep, I signaled for the others to return to their own rooms for the night. I shed my robe and slid into bed, but Tong Yi stirred, her eyes snapping open. "Back so soon," she teased, her voice sharp with the scent of her own feigned bitterness. She climbed onto my chest, shedding her top. I heard everything from the hallway. She whispered, her hands roaming with newfound confidence. "It's time to balance the scales, brother." Exhaustion pulled at me, but Tong Yi was relentless. We wrestled through the night until my senses dulled, and I finally surrendered to a deep, dreamless sleep until the next morning. The next day, training was a brutal test of endurance. Instructor Gao Meng seemed obsessed with our progress, pushing us harder than any other class, driven by her own inner competition. Wei Qin joined us at the field, handing out homemade cakes. Her gift to me was lavish, dripping with cream and fresh fruit, a clear sign of her growing, undeniable devotion. After training, the class decided to play games to bond. Zhang Xian, ever the strategist, proposed a treasure hunt. The prize? A piece of my personal property and a massive reward. "The rules are simple," Siyun announced. "I hide a personal item on me. Everyone is blindfolded. The first person to find and retrieve it wins the item and a kiss from Lin Wang." The class erupted. Being blindfolded and searching for an item on my body meant intimate, prolonged contact. I felt the heat of 30 pairs of eyes and sighed, finally giving in. "Fine," I agreed, pulled out a Pikachu keychain. I gripped it tightly in my palm, moving to a secluded spot in the field while the girls donned their thick, light-blocking blindfolds. The thick blindfolds rendered the playground a chaotic void. Students stumbled like lost souls, occasionally colliding with Wei Qin or Tong Yi, their laughter echoing against the silent, dark sky. I stood dead center, hoping to remain elusive, but my voice betrayed me. "I'm right here." The collective swarm surged toward me instantly, turning the field into a sea of searching hands. Gao Meng, trained to pinpoint threats, locked onto my location by sound alone. She tackled me with hungry, predatory precision, her arms wrapping around my frame with a desperate, crushing grip. "Found you," she whispered, her eyes still blindfolded. She held me tight, reveling in the feeling of a man's body. She seemed entirely unwilling to let go, mesmerized by the sudden intimacy. "Instructor, please, start searching." I stammered, squirming. Nearby, a student named Pang Yu caught my hand. To break Gao Meng's suffocating hold, I slipped the Pikachu keychain into Pang Yu's palm. Pang Yu gasped, ripping off her blindfold. She shrieked in delight, clutching the prize like a golden trophy. She was soft-spoken but possessed a magnetic, milky scent that lingered in the air. Gao Meng shrieked in frustration, yanking off her blindfold. "How did you get that?" Pang Yu just flashed a pair of dimpled smiles, safely retreating to the sidelines as the winner. For the second round, I offered my fountain pen. A girl with a ponytail snatched it, leaving us for the final round. I had no more small items, only my jacket remained. "That jacket is too big," Zhang Xian countered, leaning close. "Everyone will find it immediately." She whispered a series of scandalous, hidden spots where one could conceal a smaller token. I blinked, stunned by her tactical, daring creativity. "You really want to play like that?" I asked, laughing. Xian blushed but handed me her hair tie as a temporary substitute. I compromised, wedging the hair tie tightly into my waistband. I stood motionless, holding my breath, as the final swarm of blindfolded girls closed in like a closing, inescapable net. Wei Qin found my chest first, her breath hitching as she verified it was truly me. She didn't call out, she simply lingered, her fingers tracing my muscles with a rhythmic, calculated care. Siyun and Su Qingxue joined the hunt, surrounding me on three sides. I felt their hot, erratic breathing against my skin, a suffocating yet exhilarating trap of feminine intent and desire. Wei Qin's hand slid toward my waist, but she inadvertently drifted lower. I couldn't help but gasp. She froze, biting her finger in total mortification, her ears glowing a deep, burning crimson. Gao Meng, fueled by the memory of her previous defeat, tore through the circle. She cared nothing for grace or subtle touches. She fought to win, tearing across my clothes with frantic speed. In the frantic scramble of the final round, Zhang Xian's hand darted out like a snake, seizing the hair tie from my belt. "Got it," she shrieked, and the girls peeled back their blindfolds. The tension in the air was palpable. Wei Qin and Su Qingshou looked at me with flushed, hungry eyes, their gazes lingering in a way that made my skin prickle with heat. Gao Meng, having failed 3 times, looked ready to snap. She was obsessed with the victory, but the prizes were already claimed. As Siyun draped my jacket over her shoulders, she beamed with triumph. "Now," Siyun announced, "it's time to pay the debt." The promise of a kiss for everyone served as a sweet consolation, and the line formed quickly, the mood turning playful and bold. Wei Qin hesitated, struggling to reconcile her professional role with her inner desire. When Siyun teased her, the counselor stepped forward and pressed a soft, tentative kiss to my cheek. Then came Gao Meng. She abandoned her stoic demeanor entirely, kissing me with startling intensity before gripping my neck in a crushing, unyielding embrace. "Lin Wang, I want to pursue you." I was stunned. "Are you joking?" She shook her head with fierce, military gravity. I gently disentangled myself, offering a polite but firm, "Maybe next time," to shield myself from her intensity. Tong Yi, ever the guardian, stepped in immediately. She planted her own kiss, then cast a sharp, icy glare at Gao Meng. citing legal boundaries regarding the harassment of a male citizen. High-ranking officials from the Male Welfare Commission weren't to be trifled with, and Gao Meng, for all her toughness, knew she couldn't challenge Tong Yi's authority. She retreated, scowling. The rest of the class followed suit, a long line of kisses that left me dizzy. The final 3 days of training passed in a blur of favoritism, with Gao Meng pampering me relentlessly. Friday evening marked the end of the drill. As the instructors prepared to depart, my doorbell rang. I found Gao Meng standing on my porch, transformed. She was wearing a vibrant red dress, heels, and delicate makeup, holding a single rose. She looked like a different person, though her raspy, commanding voice remained unchanged. "Training's over," she said, thrusting the rose toward me. "Do you like it?" The contrast between her elegant dress and her rigid, aggressive posture gave me literal goosebumps. I took the flower, exhaling slowly. "Is that all, instructor?" I asked, looking at her with a mix of confusion and mounting dread as the night grew increasingly unpredictable. Lin Wang immediately cut to the chase. Gao Meng cleared her throat, her face flushed as she sank to one knee, producing a leather box. "Lin Wang, I love you. Please, be my husband." It was a direct, military-style proposal. I felt no sparks for her, so I gently took the ring but declined the offer. "I don't think we're compatible just yet, Gao Meng." Tears welled in her fierce eyes. A woman like a soaring eagle, nearly weeping. It was surreal. I softened, promising we could get to know each other through WeChat first. She wiped her tears, satisfied for now. Before she left, I called Wanian out to take a photo of us. She held on to me tightly, her gaze burning with an intense, unwavering resolve. Seeing Gao Meng stumble in her heels as she walked away, Wanian suggested I help her. I caught up, sat her down in a pavilion, and swapped her heels for Wanian's sneakers. For the first time, I saw a genuine, soft smile on her face. She looked beautiful, no longer just a tomboy, but a woman genuinely trying to win my heart. She walked away without looking back. Back at the villa, the girls were already planning our Saturday. We settled on Luobai ancient town. I decided to invite Zhang Xiyun to fulfill my one-day girlfriend promise to her. She replied to my message instantly, her excitement palpable. "Just us?" she asked. When I told her the rest would be coming too, she didn't mind. She was just thrilled for the date. Then, Su Lingyun pinged me about club recruitment. I'd nearly forgotten, but the scale of interest was staggering. 10,000 students had applied to join the Yangwang Club. 10,000? I nearly dropped my phone. Lingyun explained that the club was already popular, but my presence had turned it into a full-blown frenzy. We had to filter them. Lingyun proposed strict criteria: top 20% academic ranking, 3 distinct talents, and physical requirements at least a cup and a waist-to-hip ratio under 0.8. I asked, "Isn't that a bit harsh?" With a 20-to-1 ratio, the standards were indeed necessary. I approved the plan, but had to refuse Su Lingyun's request for a date. My schedule was already packed with my 4 companions. In her dorm, Lingyun stared at her phone, her heart aching. She turned to a life-size body pillow modeled after me, clinging to it with a desperate, unspoken longing that burned within her. That Saturday, I woke to a notification, a new ability: forced sincerity. By focusing my intent, I could compel anyone to speak their absolute truth. I couldn't wait to test it. I found Jiang Dong in the kitchen. "Donger, do you want to kiss me right now?" I asked. She tried to refuse, but her voice betrayed her. "Yes, I want to kiss you now." She gasped, covering her mouth in shock. Wanian and Tong Yi exchanged bewildered glances. Never having heard her speak with such uncharacteristic, bold desire, I just laughed and kissed her. I turned my focus to Wanian. "Sister Song, are you truly not jealous that the others share my affection?" She smiled warmly. "No, you are exceptional. I am proud you are loved." Her sincerity was genuine, her composure unshakable. Tong Yi, feeling left out, demanded I ask her too. "Don't regret it," I warned, locking eyes with her. "Will you try to dominate me?" "Yes," Tong Yi blurted out, her eyes wide with terror at her own admission. "I want to own you completely. I want to be your only woman." She hid her face, trembling. The truth was out, but it only confirmed how deeply she loved me. This power was perfect. It peeled away the masks of the insecure, revealing the raw, beating hearts underneath. Soon, Zhang Xiyun arrived at the door. Tong Yi opened it, introducing her to the wives. Xiyun bowed politely, greeting them with the practiced grace of a seasoned socialite. I emerged from the bathroom to find her dressed in a simple white t-shirt and light blue jeans. Even in casual wear, her striking figure was impossible to ignore. Her natural beauty was effortless, her light makeup only accentuating the striking features that had first caught my eye. She presented a gift, a watercolor portrait of me, rendered in deep brown, wood-framed elegance. "I spent 3 nights on this," she said, her voice dropping. "I hope you like it." I didn't want the polite answer, so I activated my ability. "Do you truly think it's good?" She blinked, her composure cracking. "I hate it," she blurted out, her face twisting in sudden, panicked embarrassment. "I mean, I worked so hard. Why am I saying that? I actually like it." I laughed, patting her shoulder. "I like it too." With the air cleared, we headed to the waiting MPV. Jiang Dong blushed, whispering that she wanted to sit on my lap. She spent the hour-long drive to Luobai ancient town frantically searching her phone, terrified that her inability to speak her mind was a symptom of some strange, incurable mental illness. The town, nestled deep within the western mountains, was a breathtaking blend of stone dwellings and wooden houses clinging to the slopes. It was a place where nature and culture harmonized beautifully. We arrived at 9:20 a.m. The parking lot was teeming with visitors, but compared to the women of our university, the crowd looked dull. We were a class of elites, in every sense. I led the way, with Siyun claiming the spot at my right hand. The air was thick with the gazes of hundreds of women, many of whom were salivating at the sight of me. A heavily made-up woman, reeking of garlic and chives, strutted over to intercept us. She tried to grab my shoulder, but I swatted her hand away with a cold, sharp disgust. "Give me your WeChat, handsome," she grinned, her breath vile. Before I could answer, Tong Yi stepped in, her enforcement uniform gleaming as she physically blocked the woman from encroaching. The woman scoffed at Tong Yi, then shoved her hard. Tong Yi stumbled into my arms. I stared at the woman, focusing my intent. "Why are you actually trying to talk to me?" "Because I want to play with you for a night," she shrieked, her own words betraying her depraved intent. She clapped her hands over her mouth, but it was far too late. Tong Yi didn't hesitate. She cuffed the woman instantly. "Verbal harassment of a male citizen. You're under arrest." Nearby officers materialized, dragging the stunned woman away as the crowd fell silent. The park's loudspeakers blared a warning. "September is Male Care Month. Harassment is a crime. Touch, and you will be arrested." The rest of the crowd quickly lowered their eyes and dispersed. The tour became much smoother. We crossed stone bridges, admired the architecture, and eventually reached a costume shop. Tong Yi, eyes sparkling, pointed toward the racks of exquisite traditional Hanfu. Wanian stepped forward, presenting a black gold VIP card. The staff instantly pivoted, leading us to an exclusive second-floor suite. A craftsman, wearing a white fox mask, stepped out to greet us. "Husband?" A young staff member called out to the old man, Qian Mufeng. I was stunned. The age gap was significant, but Mufeng merely nodded calmly. He turned his attention to Wanian, his face softening. "Welcome, Miss Song," he said, bowing slightly. As a legendary artist who had charmed thousands 20 years ago, Mufeng recognized the gravity of my presence immediately. He understood that a man walking beside the daughter of General Song Guang was no ordinary person. "Uncle Qian, no need for formalities," Wanian said, and Mufeng quickly shifted the topic to business. He ushered us to the third floor, away from the bustling shop, to select from his private collection. Xian whispered to me. He was a celebrity before the gender crisis, back when the ratio was only 1:60. I nodded. He looked like a relic of a more balanced, golden age, now living in quiet seclusion. He returned with exquisite silk garments, gold-threaded skirts, and flowing robes. When we were choosing, everyone deferred to me. I made my picks, pairing each dress with the girl's temperament. Tong Yi struggled with her intricate dress and called me into the fitting room. Once inside, she sat on the chair, revealing her lingerie, and whispered, "I just wanted to see if you'd like me more this way." The truth spilled out before she could stop it. I laughed and helped her dress. The pink silk wrapped around her like a peony, her beauty so sharp it felt like a physical blow to my senses. When we emerged, the others were ready. Wanian looked like an empress, Jiang Dong like a gentle maiden, and Xiyun like a spirited dancer. They were no longer students. They were visions from a forgotten dynasty. I donned a dark, silver-threaded flying fish robe. As I stepped out, I activated forced sincerity. I wanted to hear the raw, unfiltered truth behind their silent, admiring stares. "He's stunning," Wanian whispered. "I want to pounce on him," Tong Yi blurted, her face turning bright red. Jiang Dong and Xiyun added their own fervent desires to be my official wives. The confessions hung in the air, awkward but exhilarating. We spent the day capturing memories with a professional crew. By the time we returned, the sunset had painted the sky in shades of gold. At the gates of the villa, two figures waited. Principal Jiang Miaoying and an older man with silver hair. Wanian rushed forward. "Father!" It was General Song Guang. He approached me with profound, almost uncomfortable humility. He held out a wedding gift, bowing. "I have been too busy to visit Prince. Please, forgive my negligence." "Father," I said, taking his hands. "You are my elder. Call me Xiao Wang." He glanced at Wanian, who nodded, and for the first time he smiled, relieved. The ice between us had shattered. He pulled me toward a dark red Ferrari, a bespoke one-of-a-kind model. "You're young, Xiao Wang," he said, handing me the keys. "Take it." A car like this was an 8-figure masterpiece. "As long as you and Wanian are happy, I ask for nothing else," he insisted, brushing off my hesitation. I went to open the door for him, but he retreated, citing urgent business. He vanished with his secretary in less than 10 minutes. Principal Zhang Miaoying, who had accompanied him, stayed behind. "I'm here on behalf of the board to check on your comfort." She gestured to a truck behind her. Instead of another supercar, it carried 10 electric scooters. I breathed a sigh of relief. Those were far more practical for navigating the sprawling campus grounds. However, she had an ulterior motive. She hinted at hosting the National College Games at our university. I knew the danger of such requests. Interfering in family politics was a sure way to get disowned. I politely declined, making it clear I couldn't influence such decisions. She understood instantly and dropped the subject, leaving us to our evening. Back inside, the photos from our trip arrived. I turned to Xiyun. "Let's go to the cafeteria." Tong Yi started to protest, but one look from me silenced her. The opportunity to fulfill my one-day girlfriend promise was finally here. Xiyun stood, her heart racing as she gripped my hand. We stepped into the cool night air. The campus lights were flickering on, casting long, dancing shadows across the lakefront path. I climbed onto a scooter, and she sat on the back, wrapping her arms around my waist. She picked the furthest cafeteria, eager to prolong the ride for as long as possible. Her mind went blank. She was a master of high EQ conversation, yet here, with the man she craved, she could only feel the frantic, wild beating of her own heart against my back. "Are you happy today?" I asked, steering through the breeze. "Yes," she whispered, leaning her face against my jacket. "Even just standing next to you is worth more than any reward." "You don't have to be so reserved," I teased. "You're my girlfriend for the day. Hold me however you like." Her arms tightened instantly, her face pressing firmly into my back. Time seemed to freeze. We arrived at the cafeteria, but I didn't let go of her hand. We walked toward the entrance, the atmosphere between us shifting from playful to genuinely intimate. She stopped suddenly. "Since I'm your girlfriend, can we kiss?" It was a daring move, the kind that might never happen again. I looked at her flushed, delicate face and didn't hesitate. I leaned in, meeting her lips. She shuddered at the contact, a rush of pure, unadulterated happiness flooding her system. Her body went soft, collapsing into my arms as the world faded away. We broke the kiss after a minute, both breathless. Her eyes were shimmering with a tender, liquid light. "Are you satisfied?" I asked, and she nodded like an eager, love-struck rabbit. The Junyan cafeteria was an oasis of intimacy, designed specifically for couples. Every table was shielded by ornate screens, and private rooms offered absolute discretion. The manager greeted us with fawning reverence, immediately escorting us to an exclusive suite. "What would you like, Siyun?" I asked. She had a craving for luosafen, but hesitated, fearing the pungent scent might seem unrefined. I activated my ability. "Tell me what you really want to eat." "Luosafen," she blurted out, her face flushing. She quickly backpedaled, offering to order anything else, but I laughed and confirmed the spicy noodle soup with crispy eggs and pork knuckles. She was surprised I enjoyed the dish, thinking a man of my status lived on finer fare. "I'm not a god," I teased. "I enjoy the salt of the earth." We dove into our meals with gusto. The spice was aggressive, triggering a glorious, sweat-inducing burn. We ate in a comfortable, frantic silence, two appetites finally satiated. "Are you full?" I asked. She nodded, her eyes bright and satisfied. As we prepared to leave, her mood dipped. "I don't want to go back to the dorm," she whispered. "Leaving you is torture." The silence that followed was heavy with her unspoken longing. She stood abruptly, wrapping her arms around my neck. "Lin Wang, I want to be your concubine. I don't want to leave your side." Her voice was steady, stripped of all social pretense. I felt the heat of her skin and the frantic pulse at her throat. She was a woman of immense pedigree, the daughter of the powerful General Zhang Jiancheng, yet she cared nothing for title. "Have you thought this through?" I asked. "In this world you could be another man's wife, but with me, you are a concubine." She didn't flinch, her resolve as clear as crystal. She was willing to bypass the long, grueling trials of becoming a wife. Her father's influence meant she had options, but she had chosen the path of my companion, regardless of the label. I evaluated the weight of her choice. She was brilliant, high EQ, and refreshingly direct. I agreed to her terms, knowing well that the status of concubine was merely a starting point in my household. She knew that if I grew to love her deeply, the position could change. I took her hand, accepting her devotion. The night was young, and my household was destined to grow even further. The atmosphere in the living room was thick with anticipation. When we entered, Wanian, Tong Yi, and Jiangdong didn't look surprised. They had seen this coming. I formally introduced Siyun as the newest member of the household. Tong Yi, ever the one to stir the pot, straightened her posture. "Brother, since you have four now, shouldn't we rank them?" I pointed to them in turn. "Wanian is first, Siyun second, Jiangdong third, and Tong Yi, you are fourth." Tong Yi's eyes welled up instantly, looking at me with pathetic, heartbroken devotion. I was only teasing her. I enjoyed getting a rise out of her, but she took the ranking to heart. "Don't you love me the most?" she whimpered. I laughed, deciding that titles didn't matter as much as the fun of their reactions. "Call me husband or brother, but Donner, no more formal addresses. I want to hear brother." Jiangdong smiled, her voice shy but sweet. I retreated upstairs with Siyun. She was fascinated by the floor-to-ceiling windows in the master suite, captivated by the city lights. She didn't need to consult her powerful father. She knew where her heart belonged. I pulled out my phone and initiated the binding process. As the system confirmed the bond, Siyun stared at the screen in disbelief. The woman who had spent weeks dreaming of this moment finally held the reality in her hands. "Shall we bathe?" I asked. She swallowed hard, her pulse quickening as she stripped down. She was exquisite, her figure even more stunning than I had imagined. Under the hot spray of the shower, the air grew heavy with desire. Siyun was a novice, and my stamina left her completely overwhelmed. Within 2 hours, she was draped in a robe, collapsing into the bed. "Does it hurt?" I asked, noticing her wince. She tried to play it off, but I used my forced sincerity ability. "It's the intensity," she confessed breathlessly. "But, please, can you rub my stomach?" I warmed my hands and gently massaged her, feeling her tears fall against my palms. She was overwhelmed not just by the pain, but by the unexpected, tender care I showed her. She knew she had made the right choice. Sunday morning broke with a golden hue, and my household was already buzzing with energy. I sat down to breakfast, ready to face the day and the looming challenge of the club recruitment. It was already 8:40 a.m., and Siyun was still resting from our grueling night. I entrusted her care to Wanian and headed toward the Linyu building with Tong Yi and Jiang Dong. The campus was electrified. A massive, winding queue of students snaked toward the building, all hoping to join the Yangwang Club. I couldn't believe the scale of the turnout. Despite our preliminary online screening, thousands had arrived. The forum was ablaze with rumors about me, Tong Yi, and my other companions. We were the undisputed talk of the university. We pushed through the throngs of admirers. I ignored the pleas for autographs and photos, fearing a riot if I engaged. Tong Yi, hand on her cuffs, acted as my iron-willed shield. We reached room 305. Kai Jingman opened the door, and the twins immediately lunged at me. Chunlin, dressed in a pink skirt, handed me a gift, a delicate, handcrafted wind chime. The chime featured a painted persimmon branch with the inscription, "Everything as you wish." I smiled, handing the gift to Jiang Dong for safekeeping, before turning to face the first recruit. Su Lingyun, sharp as ever in her gold-rimmed glasses, sat beside me. "Time to begin," she whispered. The door opened, and the first student, Zhuang Han Yu, stepped inside, vibrating with energy. Before she could reach us, two female members performed a quick, physical check to ensure no padding was used to fake her figure, a necessary precaution given the sheer desperation of the applicants. "Please, excuse the scrutiny," Lingyun explained calmly. "We have to maintain standards." Han Yu nodded, unfazed. Her voice was incredibly soft, feminine, and alluring, sending a pleasant shiver down my spine. "My name is Zhuang Hanyu," she said, her strawberry hair clip bobbing as she spoke. I paused, the name suddenly triggering a memory. It had been on the list my father once sent me. Zhuang Hanyu, a daughter of the nation's elite, was only 18, innocent, sweet, and pure. I recalled her from the list my father had once provided. She was top tier in every conceivable category. I scanned her formal resume. It was unnervingly professional, listing everything from her academic awards to her lineage. One peculiar specialty caught my eye: esports mouthpiece. "Mouthpiece?" I asked, confused. "It means I can be your proxy in competitive games," she chirped. "I'll defend your mother's honor if the team starts losing." Su Lingyun blinked, bewildered by the offer. She asked for a demonstration. Hanyu turned to the wall, her demure demeanor instantly vanishing. A torrent of rapid-fire, creative, and devastating insults erupted from her mouth, so intense, the room went silent. I was holding back," she whispered, turning back to us with a shy pout. I laughed. She had a hidden edge and a versatile skill set. Welcome to the club, I decided. The next applicant was Hua Binan, a short-haired girl with a gaze that seemed entirely indifferent to the world. Her talent? Mechanical repair. "Can you fix a missile?" I joked. "I'll try," she replied flatly. When Lingyan asked why she wanted to join, Binan deadpanned. "Because he's a boy. A boy who is good at everything." The room grew awkward, so I activated my ability. "Tell us the real reason." "I'm obsessed with Lin Wang's muscles," she blurted, her face impassive. "I want to experience the kind of intimate, emotional life everyone else is too afraid to ask for." The room went nuclear. I barely had time to process that when the door swung open, and the next applicant entered. I nearly choked on my water. She was, quite literally, a walking, breathing, anatomical anomaly. Her uniform buttons were fighting a losing war against her figure. Su Lingyun looked at me, whispering, "Should we just skip the formalities and pass her?" I cleared my throat. "Let's see her perform." Her name was Bai Lai Lai, a junior majoring in life sciences. Her specialty was ballet. She untied her jacket to reveal a professional dance leotard, clearly prepared to prove that her form wasn't just for show. She moved with breathtaking grace, her center of gravity shifting in ways that defied physics. Every leap and rotation was sharp, showcasing a disciplined strength hidden beneath her soft, rounded features. She rose to her tiptoes, her movements fluid and ethereal. As she arched her back, the leotard strained against her frame, highlighting a breathtaking, sculptural silhouette that held everyone in the room captive. Bai Lai's final pose was a masterpiece of tension, her leotard straining as she held a swan-like grace. It was a brief, dazzling performance that left no doubt about her talent. Her physique was her greatest asset, making her an immediate addition to our club. Su Lingyun nodded, and I welcomed her aboard. She moved to the side, joining the waiting recruits. To my surprise, Jiang Dong stood up and approached Lai Lei with a warm, familiar smile. They whispered like old friends, their laughter echoing. I pulled Jiang Dong aside to ask why. "She's my roommate," Jiang Dong admitted. I was stunned by this coincidence. My girlfriend and her roommate were both vying for a place in my club. The irony was truly amusing. "Brother," Jiang Dong whispered, "she wants your WeChat. Is that okay?" I nodded, impressed by Lei's bold spirit. Soon, a new friend request flickered on my screen, which I quickly accepted. The day stretched into an endless blur of auditions. Despite Su Lingyun raising the recruitment standards, the line outside the building barely shortened. We needed a better, more efficient system. I decided Lingyun should take full charge, dividing the team into smaller groups for faster interviews. She agreed, and after a late dinner with the staff, I headed home with my girls. Back at the villa, I found Zhang Xiyun organizing a pile of textbooks. She looked radiant, her pain long forgotten. She showed me the new class schedule, a brutal workload starting tomorrow morning. "Where is Wanian?" I asked, noticing her absence. "Still in the lab," Xiyun replied. I felt a pang of concern. Despite Tong Yi's protests about safety, I decided to check on her. I grabbed some food from the canteen and rode my scooter into the night. The campus was quiet, the science building looming large against the dark sky. I found Wanian waiting outside. She was touched by my late-night visit, her eyes softening. I insisted she eat, guiding her into her private office so she could rest, while I kept her company for a while. As she returned to her students, I explored her sanctuary. It was organized and prestigious, reflecting her disciplined mind. My gaze landed on a charcoal sketch resting on her mahogany desk. It was a perfect portrait of me. Below it, a scrawled note read, "I miss my husband so much." I smiled, realizing that even my poised, perfect Wanian had a vulnerable, hidden side. She returned to find me holding the drawing. Her face flushed, and she snatched it away, embarrassed. "It's just a doodle," she murmured with a shy, flower-like smile that stole my heart. "Did you miss me this afternoon?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper in the quiet office. Wanian softened, her gaze steady. "I missed you every single second, my husband." I activated my forced sincerity ability. "I want you to hold me," she blurted out, her face flushing crimson. The vulnerability in her eyes was intoxicating. I pulled her into a long embrace. "I love you," I said, looking into her bright, shimmering eyes. She froze, then laughed, a radiant sound that broke the tension, and kissed me with a hunger I'd never seen before. We shared the egg-fried rice, the simple meal tasting like a feast of intimacy. Afterward, she tucked herself against my back on the scooter, clinging to me through the cool night air. Back home, I chose to spend the night with Wanian. Tong Yi pouted, her eyes tearing up at being sidelined for a second night. "Maybe next time," I teased, heading into my room. Monday morning brought the grind of university life. Military training was over, and the classroom was packed. I sat in the center, surrounded by girls who clamored for my attention and status. Jang Si-yoon handled the social maneuvering effortlessly. Then, our professor walked in, a striking woman with gold-rimmed glasses, sharp features, and a waist-to-hip ratio that commanded total, immediate, and fearful respect. She spotted me whispering and slammed her book down. "Lin Wang, see me in my office after class." The entire room went silent. Tong Yi slumped, feeling responsible, and clung to my arm. The professor's lecture was brilliant, despite her icy demeanor. When class ended, I followed her to a cramped, clinical office. She sat, watching me with a strange, enigmatic smile playing on her lips. "Was my talking in class such a crime?" I asked, unsettled by her gaze. "Not at all," she purred. "I just enjoy the power of catching you in the act." She stood up, and in one fluid, provocative motion, hiked her leg onto the desk. She peeled back her wide-leg trousers to reveal a flawless leg encased in sheer, black silk stockings. "Do you like what you see, Xiao Wang?" she asked, tilting my chin up. She was a professional-grade contrast, the icy lecturer hiding a wild, desperate hunger beneath her rigid exterior. I didn't call for Tong Yi. I wanted to see how far this ice queen would go. "Is this the punishment for my talking?" I asked, keeping my voice cool and perfectly steady. She moved behind me, her hands kneading my shoulders with practiced, seductive pressure. "It's not a punishment," she whispered against my ear. "It's just my way of getting you alone." Cheng Cheng's voice dropped to a sultry whisper as she locked the office door, leaving Tong Yi shouting anxiously from the hallway. "Stay calm, little Tong Yi," she purred. "I'll reassure her." She cast aside her professional attire, revealing a silhouette so perfect it demanded attention. "My only request is simple, Lin Wang," she teased, trailing a finger along my jawline. "I want a child." I stood, stunned by her audacity. She didn't want marriage or commitment, just a seed. I turned to leave, but her smirk followed me. "You'll come around, Lin Wang. I'll make you want me." Outside, I lied to the waiting girls, dismissing the locked door as a mere professional quirk. They seemed satisfied, but I couldn't stop thinking about the icy professor's hidden, wilder side. Back at the villa, I found Bei Lele helping Jiang Dong clean the windows. Her presence was hard to ignore. She was a distraction in motion, her curves pressed against the glass. Su Lingyin stood nearby, having abandoned her usual stiff wardrobe for short, provocative denim shorts. She looked at me, her eyes burning with a newfound, desperate resolve to finally be noticed. "Can you kiss me, Lin Wang?" she asked, her voice trembling. Her red lips were clearly an invitation. Given all she'd done for the club, I complied, brushing a light kiss against her cheek. She beamed, invigorated by the gesture. "We need to finalize the club activity," she chirped. I didn't miss a beat. "A pool party," I declared. The look on her face suggested she'd already begun imagining the view. We finalized the date for Sunday. As dinner was served, I invited Lele to join us. Jiang Dong, ever the selfless peacemaker, pushed Lele into the seat of honor right beside me. Lele was breathless, her hands shaking as she sat so close to me. She was clearly overwhelmed, her cheeks flushed a vibrant pink as I reached over to offer her a piece of cabbage. Bei Lele sat by me, her heart hammering against her ribs so hard she could barely breathe. Each bite of her food was small, cautious, as if she feared making any noise might break the spell. Jiang Dong poked her under the table, gesturing for her to serve me. Bei Lele hesitated, her full figure trembling slightly. With a nervous nod to Donger, she finally mustered the courage to add a piece of stir-fried pork to my bowl. I took a deliberate bite and feigned a cough. "A bit spicy, isn't it?" Her eyes widened in alarm. "Oh no, can't you eat spice?" She scrambled to pour me a glass of milk, her hands moving with such frantic, clumsy haste that she spilled a good amount right onto her chest. soaked and embarrassed. She barely noticed the stain. I caught a glimpse of her soaked white shirt turning translucent. The sight was undeniably provocative, yet I maintained my composure. Donger, take her upstairs and get her changed into something of yours, I said, shielding her from the other's stares. In the bedroom, Donger helped her change, though they soon realized Donger's clothes were too tight. After a few attempts, they found a hoodie that fit perfectly. Layli felt relieved, and the two girls hurried back down to finish their dinner. By the afternoon, the villa was quiet as I headed to class with Tong Yi and Zhang Xiun. We arrived just as our counselor, Wei Qin, entered the room. She looked stunning in a light gray, floral-patterned kippao, its high slit revealing just enough of her graceful legs to command the room's undivided attention. "Students," she announced, "it is time to elect our class committee. We need a monitor, a deputy, and representatives for academics and student life." She turned to the blackboard, signaling for candidates to step forward. The room went deathly silent as all eyes fixed on me. "Lin Wang, won't you run for monitor?" Siyun whispered. I hesitated. I was far too busy managing my villa and my girls to deal with daily administrative tedium. "I have too much on my plate," I said, trying to decline. The class groaned in unison. The sound of dozens of girls pouting and begging was a tactical assault I wasn't prepared for. Wei Qin stepped in with a compromise. "How about this? Lin Wang, you will be the titular monitor, but you are exempt from daily duties. We will appoint 2 deputy monitors to handle the routine work." "Is that how it's going to be?" I thought, sighing as I realized I had no escape from this monitor title. Seeing the expectant eyes of my classmates and Wei Qin, I finally gave in. "Fine, I accept." The room erupted in cheers. "Long live Monitor Lin," they shouted. I scratched my head, laughing at the trap they'd set. The position was settled, and we moved on to the remaining committee seats. The election became a strange, one-sided affair. Whatever candidate I cast my vote for, the entire class followed suit. It was absolute power, played out in raised hands, and even Wei Qin looked surprised by my influence. "Class dismissed," she announced, except for the new committee members. As the others left, calling out farewells and invitations to my villa, I stayed behind. Wei Qin walked over and playfully pinched my ear. "To my office, monitor." In the shared faculty office, she printed a dense, detailed document and handed it to me. It was a comprehensive list of the university's outstanding female students, ranked by appearance, physique, and academic merit. "Why give me this?" I asked, bewildered. Wei Qin leaned in, her voice dropping. "Lin Wang, as a male of the Lin family, you carry a heavy burden. With the birth rate at 1% for natural males, you must work hard." She glanced at Tong Yi. "And you, Tong Yi, you need to be more active in supporting him." Tong Yi blushed furiously, hanging her head as Wei Qin's gaze turned soft and personal. "Lin Wang, about my one-day girlfriend prize," she whispered, her professional mask finally slipping. "I've been dreaming about it every night." She looked at me, not as a teacher, but as a woman desperate for a man. "Choose a day," I said. "Just not this Sunday." Her eyes lit up. "Tomorrow," she replied instantly. "I want to be your girlfriend tomorrow." I agreed, and we parted ways. As we walked out, Tong Yi let out a soft, knowing laugh. She really didn't waste any time, did she, brother? I could only smile. My life as a student was becoming a very complicated game. "Why are you laughing at me?" I asked, watching Tong Yi hide a mischievous grin. "Nothing," she replied, though her eyes betrayed her. "It's just fascinating to see Professor Wei acting just like the rest of us, chasing after you." "She's a human being, not a goddess," I countered. Tong Yi swatted my chest playfully. "It's different. When I confessed, I was honest and direct. I told you I wanted to be your wife. She's just playing games." I teased her about the cold palace, threatening to stop sleeping in the same bed. She panicked, clinging to me instantly. "I'm sorry. Don't say things like that. It's terrifying." I ruffled her hair, calming her down. When we arrived back at the villa, a sleek, black Maybach sat in the driveway. It belonged to Li Yu, my elder sister figure. Ever since my mother passed, she had been obsessively protective. She was waiting in the living room, her expression rigid. "You haven't returned a single message in a week," she scolded. She even tried to demand she move in, citing her vow to look after me. "That's not possible," I said firmly. It hurt her, I knew, but I had to set boundaries regarding her suffocating affection. She left in tears, her entourage trailing behind, leaving me with a heavy heart. "Let's go for barbecue tonight," Jiang Dong suggested, a rare instance of her taking initiative. She mentioned that Lele was a skilled cook, and if I allowed it, she would come over to grill for us. I agreed, opting to take my new Ferrari to fetch the small grill from the girls' dorm. The engine's roar was intoxicating, but I drove carefully through the campus, keeping the speed low. We arrived at the girls' dormitory. As Jiang Dong moved to head inside, I followed, but she stopped me. "Stay here, brother," she said, pulling me back. "It's better if you wait right outside." Lin Wang insisted on carrying the heavy grill, gently pulling Jiang Duo toward the girls' dormitory. He dismissed her concerns, confident that his presence would deter any trouble from the students inside. The dorm matron, a 50-year-old woman, was distracted by a fantasy anime until she spotted Lin Wang. She nearly fell from her chair, stunned to see a man walking into the building. The hallway erupted into chaos as girls in various states of undress caught sight of him. The matron bellowed a warning, threatening immediate expulsion for anyone who dared to harass the boy. Lin Wang remained unfazed, noticing a large, reverent poster of himself hanging on the wall. Jang Duor whispered that the fan club had placed it there, clearly proud of her husband's popularity. They reached the fourth floor, which felt eerily silent compared to the bustling lobby below. Jiang Duor hurried him into her room, locking the door behind them and finally exhaling in relief. The dorm was shared with other students, though it was currently empty. Jiang Duor pointed to her tidy, thin mattress, while Lin Wang took the opportunity to explore the room's unique contents. He was shocked to discover an electronic boyfriend device and a life-size doll on the other beds. He realized the online rumors about these items were actually true and quite brazenly displayed. Jiang Duor returned with the heavy grill box, her face flushing crimson as she caught Lin Wang staring at her roommate's possessions. She quickly shoved the doll under a nearby pillow. Lin Wang teased her, asking if she owned any such items. Despite her frantic denials, he couldn't help but wonder, teasing her about her embarrassment while they moved the heavy cargo. They exited to a swarm of screaming, scantily clad fans outside. After stowing the grill in the car, Lin Wang pressed her for secrets about the girls' private lives back at his villa. Jiang Duor tried to resist, but Lin Wang's persistent questioning eventually forced a confession. She gasped, covering her mouth in shock as the truth about her aunt's secret possession slipped right out. Lin Wang gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles whitening as the truth sank in. He questioned if his affection was insufficient, wondering why his partner would ever need an artificial substitute. Jiang Duor tried to explain, her words betraying her as the truth-telling effect took hold. She confessed that her aunt used such items for entertainment whenever he was not around. A dark smirk spread across Lin Wang's face as he contemplated how to discipline her. Jiang Duor shivered, fearing violence, but he assured her his methods were far more intense. He teased that he would demonstrate his full power tonight. Jiang Duor's eyes widened in terror, recognizing that his unique version of repairing was far more exhausting than any physical beating. They reached the villa, where Tong Yi and Zhang Xian were busy preparing vegetables. Jiang Duor pulled her aunt aside, frantically whispering warnings that she should be careful tonight. Tong Yi remained confused, laughing off the girl's flushed face and cryptic advice. She dismissed the strange behavior, unaware of the daunting challenge awaiting her from the man she loved. Lin Wang gathered them for the assembly of the grill. He flicked Jiang Duor's forehead, teasingly asking if she wanted to interfere further, effectively silencing her with his mocking, flirtatious gaze. Soon, Bei Lei arrived on her electric scooter, loaded with groceries. She radiated confidence, stepping forward to assume her role as the master chef for the evening's anticipated backyard feast. She worked with mesmerizing precision, igniting the coals and seasoning the skewers. Lin Wang watched in silent admiration, jokingly wondering if her mastery of fire came from years of dedicated practice. As the aroma of sizzling lamb filled the air, the group gathered closely. They watched, spellbound, as she explained the delicate art of timing the perfect flip to ensure optimal crispness. Lin Wang took the first bite, praising the succulent tenderness and perfect seasoning. His enthusiastic reaction sparked a chorus of delight among the others, who quickly polished off each batch. The speed of her cooking barely kept pace with their ravenous appetites. From beef to pork tendon, every skewer was a masterpiece, leaving the group thoroughly impressed by her culinary talent. Bei Lei added oval-shaped skewers to the grill, which Lin Wang immediately identified as lamb kidneys. Tong Yi playfully nudged Lin Wang, insisting that he eat them to boost his strength. Lin Wang stared at Tong Yi, noticing her fitted gray tank top that highlighted her curves. Though she was no match for Bei Lei, her figure was undeniably stunning and undeniably attractive. He took a bite of the kidney, marveling at the crispy exterior and tender, aromatic center. Bei Lei's culinary expertise was truly legendary, leaving everyone craving even more of her masterful cooking. As the cool autumn wind swept through the villa's courtyard, the atmosphere felt perfect. They regretted that Song Wannian was missing, so they carefully packed some leftovers for her to enjoy. Bei Lei decided to return to her dorm, and Lin Wang offered to drive her. She hesitated because of her electric scooter, but he cleverly convinced her to leave it behind. He insisted, and Bei Lei climbed onto the back of his scooter, wrapping her arms around his waist. As they sped off, she felt the warmth of his body against hers. The ride was fleeting but blissful, and as they reached the dorms, she planted a quick, affectionate kiss on his cheek before darting inside, leaving Lin Wang stunned and grinning. Lin Wang then rode to the science building, carrying the cooled skewers. He found Song Wannian in her office, just as she was about to settle for a lonely cup of noodles. She looked up in surprise, and Lin Wang gently moved the noodles aside. He revealed the grilled feast, savoring the look of pure joy and gratitude that lit up her face. Song Wannian rushed to embrace him, her tight hold catching him off guard. She confessed how much she had missed him, her voice trembling with a mix of relief and intense longing. She locked the office door, seeking intimacy away from the world. With her professional attire disheveled, they shared a passionate moment on the office sofa, completely forgetting the food on the table. Afterward, as they straightened their clothes, Lin Wang lamented that the skewers were now freezing. Song Wannian smiled softly, contentedly whispering that she was already full, perfectly satisfied by his visit. The grilled skewers remained in the corner of Song Wannian's office, cold and untouched. Lin Wang had returned home, finding Jiang Duor lying face down on the sofa, half draped in a towel. Zhang Xiyun was meticulously massaging Jiang Duor's back, her movements fluid and professional. Lin Wang observed the scene, briefly questioning the situation, but was relieved to learn it was merely therapeutic experimentation. Tong Yi, standing nearby, seemed intrigued by the technique. Lin Wang suggested they head upstairs to discuss it further, though Jiang Duer's muffled protest from the sofa went largely unnoticed. Inside Tong Yi's room, she proudly showcased her wardrobe, modeling various outfits for his approval. Lin Wang, however, was not there to play dress-up. He had a much more urgent discovery to make. He systematically searched her nightstands, his eyes narrowing as he finally lifted her pillow. Hidden underneath was the exact type of device he had confiscated earlier that day at the dorm. Tong Yi let out a startled shriek, lunging forward in a desperate attempt to reclaim her secret possession. Lin Wang caught her easily, his expression turning stern as he demanded an explanation. "It seems you aren't satisfied with me alone," Lin Wang teased, tilting her chin up. He promised to ensure she was thoroughly satisfied, a vow that led to a very long, exhausting night. By morning, Tong Yi was a wreck. Her hair was a tangled mess, and her body was covered in marks from the night before, her legs trembling uncontrollably as she tried to rise. She stumbled, collapsing onto the floor with a soft cry. Lin Wang watched her struggle, his demeanor unnervingly calm, as if he had spent the night sleeping peacefully instead of driving her to madness. After breakfast, Lin Wang departed with Zhang Xiyun for class. Because Tong Yi was too injured to work, a tall, stern replacement named Lan Xiaozhen appeared at the school gate to take over. Xiaozhen was impeccably dressed in a sharp uniform, her long legs drawing attention from everyone nearby. She stood nearly as tall as Lin Wang, her eyes fixed on him with intense, professional focus. She was incredibly rigid, refusing to sit in the classroom, preferring to stand in the aisle like a soldier. When Lin Wang headed to the restroom, she followed him without a second thought. "You don't need to come inside," Lin Wang protested, but Xiaozhen cited safety statistics regarding ambushes in restrooms. She stood guard outside, her gaze fixed away, maintaining a strictly professional and unyielding demeanor. Another student entered the restroom, nearly fleeing in terror at the sight of an officer in uniform. Lin Wang had to reassure the panicked boy that this was merely his personal security detail. The student expressed his nervous gratitude, recognizing Lin Wang as the campus celebrity. Lin Wang patted his shoulder warmly, exiting the restroom with his loyal shadow, Lan Xiaozhen, trailing exactly 3 paces behind. Back in class, the air grew thick with adoration. Female classmates swarmed his desk, showering him with milk, tea, chocolates, and various snacks, hoping to capture his attention before the lecture finally began. The back door opened, and Counselor Wei Qin entered with a purposeful stride. She wore sleek black sportswear and a vibrant shade of lipstick, heading straight toward Lin Wang's seat with documents in hand. Lan Xiaozhen instinctively stepped forward to block her, but Lin Wang waved her off. He introduced the new officer, explaining that his usual bodyguard was unwell, allowing Wei Qin to sit beside him. She leaned in, whispering a gentle reminder about his promise to be her boyfriend for a day. A subtle, high-end floral scent drifted from her, intoxicating and sophisticated, filling the air around him. The professor, a seasoned academic with silver hair, began the lecture. Lin Wang focused intently on his notes, while Wei Qin quietly attended to her administrative work, keeping him company throughout the session. After class, Su Qingshu stood at the podium to announce the upcoming freshman gala. The room buzzed with anticipation. The event was known as a grand stage for romantic confessions and bold pursuits. Panic rippled through the female students. They feared the gala would invite competition for Lin Wang's affection, leading them to beg him to hold a private, exclusive event just for their class instead. Wei Qin firmly intervened, scolding the students for their lack of confidence. She urged them to embrace the challenge, reminding them that their existing bond with Lin Wang gave them an unfair advantage. Empowered by her words, the students' eyes lit up with renewed determination. They thanked her enthusiastically, already mentally planning their grand romantic gestures for the upcoming gala to win his heart. Once the room cleared, leaving only Lin Wang, Zhang Xiyun, Su Qingshui, and the stoic guard, Xiyun and Qingshui slipped away to discuss business, leaving Lin Wang alone with the counselor and his shadow. Wei Qin stood, spinning gracefully to show off her mature, elegant style. She asked for his honest opinion, and when Lin Wang praised her beauty, she reached out, her face glowing with excitement. Lan Xiaozhen cleared her throat, attempting to intervene, but Lin Wang commanded her to stand down. He declared that Wei Qin was his girlfriend for the day, granting her total authority over their afternoon. Wei Qin eagerly took his hand, her heart fluttering at the contact. She had finally achieved her wish, and she pulled him toward the door, ready to begin their romantic, unscripted adventure together. Downstairs, Wei Qin led Lin Wang to a high-performance AMG. Lin Wang was surprised by her choice of vehicle, but she simply smiled, fastening his seatbelt before taking the wheel. Lan Xiaozhen silently took the back seat, ignored by the counselor. Wei Qin drove with purpose, leaving the campus behind. She teased Lin Wang with 3 options for their afternoon: something stimulating, something comfortable, or something unforgettable. He chose unforgettable. The car glided into White Cloud Residence, an ultra-exclusive estate where properties were valued in the hundreds of millions. She parked, and her demeanor shifted. She became more intimate, trailing a finger along his chest. They ascended to the 15th floor, the penthouse level. The apartment was expansive, with sunlight flooding through floor-to-ceiling windows, casting a warm glow over the plush, circular sofas and minimalist, modern decor. Wei Qin donned a delicate pink apron, her silhouette elegant as she moved toward the kitchen. She dismissed the idea of impressing him with luxury, claiming instead that she would conquer him with the taste of home. She began kneading dough, intent on making her signature sauerkraut dumplings. She promised Lin Wang that no one who tasted her cooking ever wanted to eat just once, hinting at more surprises to follow. While Lan Xiaojun stood guard, Lin Wang relaxed on the sofa, scrolling through his flooded messages. He found updates from Jiang Duo, worried texts from Tong Yi, and a friendly inquiry from his high school pal, Sun Sheng. Sun Sheng, a wealthy heir, begged to visit the university to mingle with the campus beauties. Lin Wang, respecting their long-standing friendship, agreed to show him around the following day, despite his busy schedule. Just as the conversation ended, Wei Qin emerged with a steaming plate of homemade dumplings. Though the shapes were inconsistent, the aroma was heavenly, promising a comfort that standard restaurant fare could never replicate. Lin Wang took a bite, the savory pork and tangy sauerkraut blending perfectly. He praised her culinary skill with a thumbs up, feeling genuinely impressed as she served the remaining fresh batch from the boiling pot. Wei Qin separated the dumplings, placing a portion before Lan Xiaozhen. The guard initially refused, but under Lin Wang's playful truth-telling insistence, she finally sat down and ate, clearly relishing the home-cooked meal despite her stoic nature. After the meal, Wei Qin led Lin Wang to the master bedroom for a professional massage. As Lin Wang lay down, he teased her about her motives, but she kept her promise, working his shoulders with practiced, therapeutic skill. The atmosphere was deeply relaxing, and the scent of soothing incense in the room quickly overcame him. Before he could protest, Lin Wang drifted into a deep, dreamless slumber, completely surrendering to the tranquil environment. He awoke at 6 p.m. to the sight of crystal chandeliers shimmering above. He felt remarkably refreshed, his tension vanished, while Wei Qin watched over him with a gentle smile, offering a bowl of sliced melons. She apologized for the sedative effect of the incense, which she used to manage her own insomnia. Lin Wang brushed off the concern, praising the incredible comfort of her home, which had given him the best rest he had in weeks. The evening continued with a candlelit dinner featuring premium A5 Wagyu beef. The flickering candlelight cast a warm, alluring glow over Wei Qin, making her seem even more captivating and refined in the soft, intimate setting. Lin Wang realized her unforgettable plan was meticulously crafted through these small, thoughtful details. As he finished his meal, he wondered if she intended for him to stay the night, his curiosity piqued by her mysterious next move. "What's next?" he asked. Wei Qin smiled, leading him toward the balcony. She flipped a switch, illuminating a massive, 100-square-meter swimming pool integrated seamlessly into the high-rise terrace, defying all his expectations. Standing in the night breeze, Lin Wang was stunned to see Wei Qin had already changed. She wore a sleek white two-piece swimsuit that highlighted her toned abs and elegant curves, her hair pinned up for the swim. Lin Wang hesitated, lacking proper swimwear, but Wei Qin produced a new pair of trunks. She claimed to have measured his waist while he slept, a gesture he accepted with a smile. Lan Xiaozhen lingered, but Lin Wang dismissed her after a brief call with Tong Yi. Once alone, he donned the trunks, his powerful, sculpted physique standing out as a testament to his strength. Wei Qin had already entered the pool, her graceful movements captivating him. As she emerged, she stared in awe at his athletic frame, her pulse racing as she reached out to touch him. She struggled to maintain her composure, fighting the urge to surrender to her desires. To break the tension, Lin Wang challenged her to a swimming race, winner taking whatever request they desired. Lin Wang proved victorious under the moonlight, his athleticism shining through. When Wei Qin asked for his request, he chose a dance, sensing that the night offered a perfect, intimate romantic atmosphere. They moved across the balcony, swaying in harmony with the night breeze. Wei Qin's heart fluttered as she pressed closer to him, her professional exterior melting away into pure, unadulterated female longing. As the dance ended, she refused to let him go, her gaze locking with his. She whispered an invitation to stay the night, signaling that she was ready to drop all formal pretenses. Lin Wang carried her into the bedroom, closing the door on the world. The room plunged into darkness as they embraced, their private connection deepening amidst the quiet of the late-night hours. Sunlight trickled into the room, waking Lin Wang from a peaceful rest. He found Wei Qin watching him, her face flushed with contentment as she gently nudged him to start the day. Lin Wang rose from the bed, his movements tender yet firm. As he dressed, he suggested a formal bond, but Wei Qin gently pressed a finger to his lips, shaking her head. She was an idealist, valuing the pure love they shared far more than the constraints of a title. At 30, she felt no need for the validation of a formal, domestic arrangement. She pressed his hand against her heart, letting him feel its steady rhythm. She was satisfied simply to be the first man who had ever truly stirred her long-dormant romantic spirit. Lin Wang embraced her, moved by her sincerity. He called her Xiao Qin, a name that felt intimate and right, sealing their unspoken promise of affection before he finally departed for home. Back at the villa, Song Wannian and Tong Yi greeted him with open adoration. He shared affectionate moments with each of them, his presence acting as the gravity around which their lives orbited. When Jiang Duo hesitated, shy and nervous, Lin Wang gently guided her to step forward. He encouraged her with a playful command, and after she kissed his cheek, he returned the favor. Her face flushed crimson, but a smile touched her lips as she urged him toward his classes. He left with Zhang Xian and Tong Yi, ready to face the day's academic challenges. By the second period, Sun Sheng had arrived on campus. He easily gained entry by mentioning Lin Wang's name, navigating his flashy yellow supercar through the university grounds with absolute, effortless confidence. Sun Sheng's handsome face and wealthy stature drew constant attention. As he drove, he was instantly struck by the stunning beauty of the female students, noting their superior quality compared to outsiders. He spotted a girl with an extraordinary figure and piercing eyes. He pulled over, charmed, and approached her to ask for her contact info, only to be rejected with polite, cold indifference. She claimed to have a husband, leaving Sun Sheng both shocked and intrigued. He didn't push the matter, but his excitement only grew. The caliber of women at this university was truly unmatched. He quickly hopped back into his car, eager to meet his friend. He didn't want to keep Lin Wang waiting, speeding toward the science building with a grin plastered across his face. Sun Sheng raced up the stairs, panting heavily from the climb. Lin Wang teased his lack of fitness, noticing how much more athletic he had become, while Sun Sheng marveled at the stunning beauty of Lin Wang's companions, Tong Yi and Zhang Xian. As they exited, a crowd of female students swarmed the doorway, all vying for Lin Wang's attention. Sun Sheng was floored. The quality of women at this university was far beyond anything he had encountered in his professional circles. Sun Sheng pulled Lin Wang aside, discreetly handing him a box of high-end supplements with a conspiratorial wink. He insisted it was a gift that would help with his vigorous lifestyle, a gesture of their enduring friendship. When Lin Wang suggested heading home, Sun Sheng hesitated, fearing the weight of Lin Wang's household. He was relieved to learn that Lin Wang wasn't referring to his family estate, but his private residence right here on campus. They arrived at the villa just as Jiang Duor was walking home from class. Sun Sheng's jaw dropped when he recognized her as the same beauty who had rejected his advances earlier that day. He was stunned to learn she was another one of Lin Wang's partners. The realization hit him hard. He bitterly regretted passing up university life, realizing he had missed out on a literal paradise of romance. Inside the villa, Sun Sheng watched in awe as Su Lingyun and her fan club members diligently handled the housekeeping. He had assumed they were hired help, only to learn they did this voluntarily. After a luxurious lunch, Sun Sheng was eager to explore. Tong Yi attempted to follow them to maintain her protection detail, but Lin Wang firmly instructed her to stay back, promising he would be safe. She reluctantly conceded, though she insisted he call immediately if any danger arose. Lin Wang tossed Sun Sheng the keys to a second scooter, and the two men headed out into the afternoon sunlight. Lin Wang led the way toward the famous lake, with Sun Sheng trailing close behind. The campus was vibrant, and Sun Sheng couldn't wait to see what other wonders this prestigious university had in store. Sun Sheng trailed behind as they rode for a kilometer before veering onto a secluded path lined with ancient, weeping willows, leading them to the university's legendary Heart Island. The island was shaped like a perfect heart from above. They parked their scooters at the Seven Clouds Bridge, continuing on foot as the path ahead was strictly pedestrian only. They had barely stepped onto the bridge when a throng of students surrounded them. A variety of girls clamored for Lin Wang's attention, desperate to exchange contact information with him. Lin Wang politely declined every offer, remaining unmoved. Sensing an opening, Sun Sheng eagerly stepped forward, handing out his QR code until he had collected over 30 new contacts. They continued across the bridge to the island, where they encountered the mutual admiration wall, plastered with photos and notes from students seeking partners, though the quality appeared lackluster. Sun Sheng realized that in this world, those with beauty and background had their pick of partners. Those lacking both, however, were left to hang their dreams on a wall. They bypassed the wall and entered a grove of maple trees, where the lush, soft lawn was filled with students enjoying afternoon picnics in the university's most scenic spot. Lin Wang's arrival immediately sparked whispers. A girl with charming braids and thick eyebrows, sitting on a picnic blanket, waved him over, her eyes sparkling with visible, hopeful delight. Sun Sheng's pulse spiked. She was exactly his type. As Lin Wang excused himself to visit the nearby restroom, Sun Sheng eagerly accepted the invitation to join their small group. As Sun Sheng happily exchanged contacts with the girls, Lin Wang found himself cornered at the restroom sink by a familiar, sultry voice. It was Cheng, the provocative teacher. She leaned in, her denim-clad frame pressing close to his as she teased him about their fated encounter. She playfully demanded to know if he had finally decided to visit her home. Lin Wang tried to sidestep her advances, citing his waiting friend outside. Unfazed, Cheng followed him, persistently inviting him to her office to see something truly interesting and private. Sun Sheng's sudden outburst shattered the moment. He clashed with Wu Chen, a notorious campus playboy known for harassing women, who had been aggressively cornering the same girls Sun Sheng favored. Lin Wang stepped in to separate the two. Wu Chen, recognizing the university's favorite student, tried to bolt, only for Cheng to expertly trip him, pinning him to the ground. Dean Liu, summoned by Cheng, arrived to handle the scene. He whisked Wu Chen away for disciplinary action, carefully ignoring Sun Sheng to ensure Lin Wang's experience remained entirely undisturbed. Still agitated by the encounter, Sun Sheng vented his frustration. Lin Wang merely chuckled, noting that universities often coddled male students, which fueled the arrogance of people like the disgraced Wu Chen. As they prepared to leave, Sang Yi approached, shyly inviting them to dinner as a thank you. Sun Sheng was thrilled, hoping to use the meal to deepen his connection with her. However, Cheng Cheng intervened, demanding Lin Wang's help with urgent documents at her office. She used his position as class monitor to guilt him, suggesting his absence would ruin class preparations. Lin Wang knew it was a ruse, but he played along. He handed Sun Sheng a black gold card for a prestigious private restaurant, telling him to treat the girls to a fine meal. Sun Sheng was stunned by the card's exclusivity, thanking Lin Wang profusely before heading off with the students. Lin Wang turned to Cheng Cheng, who watched him with a teasing, triumphant smile. They began walking toward the academic building, the campus awash in the colors of late summer. The sycamore trees along the avenue were already beginning to turn a brittle, autumnal gold. Cheng Cheng stopped to tie her hair back, removing a black hairband from her wrist and holding it between her teeth. She moved with a deliberate, haunting grace that demanded his attention. Sun Sheng's departure left Lin Wang alone with Cheng Cheng. She moved with deliberate grace, yet Lin Wang's gaze remained fixed on the sycamore trees, frustrating her desire for his full attention. She undid her ponytail, retying it with a calculated, provocative motion. She asked if he was truly disinterested, her voice dropping to a low, challenging hum that hung in the air. In her office, the files she claimed to need printing were revealed as a slideshow of her own sultry photos. Lin Wang saw through the ruse, his skepticism growing instantly. "I just wanted you to see my portraits," she confessed, the truth slipping out before she could stop it. Her vanity was exposed, yet she refused to let him leave so easily. She blocked the door, admitting her obsession with securing his superior genetic lineage. She even offered a bizarre, clinical alternative, which Lin Wang dismissed as a sign of her twisted obsession. He forced the door open, leaving her trapped inside. He ignored her frantic calls, feeling the absurdity of a world where male scarcity produced such extreme, boundary-crossing behavior from professional women. Walking back toward the lake, he spotted a familiar figure in the grass. It was Bei Lei, the master chef, gently feeding a stray cat named Tigerhead with a soft, affectionate smile. Her modest jacket couldn't conceal her striking, hourglass figure. She greeted him warmly, and they began walking together through the shedding sycamores, the landscape mirroring the changing season. She shyly invited him to dinner, and Lin Wang accepted, preferring her genuine company over the manipulative antics of his teacher. She was visibly nervous, her hands twisting in sweet hesitation. She apologized profusely for the impulsive kiss she had given him previously. She insisted she wasn't a casual girl, her face burning with a bashful, earnest sincerity that mirrored Zhang Duer's own. Bei Lei was agonizing over the impulsive kiss she had given Lin Wang days ago. She had been dreaming of him nightly, convinced her behavior was unrefined and desperate. "If you regret it so much, why not take it back?" Lin Wang teased, pointing to his left cheek. Bei Lei, eyes wide as a deer's, stood on tiptoe to comply. "Consider it returned," he stated calmly, though the implication left her heart racing. She felt a strange mix of relief and longing, hoping this physical interaction would finally settle things. She retreated to her dorm to change, leaving Lin Wang on a bench. He used the time to check his messages, learning his sisters would be visiting the family estate. When Bei Lei returned, she was draped in a deep blue velvet gown, its daring deep V neckline highlighting her curves. It was a custom piece she had saved for a special occasion. Lin Wang's silent appreciation boosted her confidence. She handed him the keys to her scooter, watching him navigate the rack with effortless grace, his movements radiating a quiet, grounded power. They sped toward a high-end restaurant, the evening sun casting long shadows. Bei Lei had initially considered casual eateries, but her formal attire dictated a more sophisticated, private dining experience. They arrived at an anonymous, opulent establishment where the parking lot was crowded with luxury cars. A valet immediately recognized Lin Wang, treating him with the deference due to royalty. Lin Wang requested privacy, but the valet alerted the owner, Li Changling, who rushed downstairs. His shirt barely buttoned, desperate to personally facilitate the needs of such an elite, influential guest. Li led them toward the second floor, his gaze lingering on Bei Lei with a mixture of curiosity and professional appraisal, prompting a sharp, protective look from Lin Wang. The truth emerged swiftly. Bei Lei was the daughter of Bei Jun, the titan of the National Restaurant Association. Lin Wang realized her culinary brilliance was an innate family legacy. Li Changling, her uncle and the restaurant owner, was ecstatic. Seeing his niece with such a prestigious guest, he spared no expense, ordering his top chef to serve their finest ingredients. They enjoyed a masterpiece of a meal, tuna sashimi, fresh urchin, and a 5 wagyu, each course prepared with surgical precision. The atmosphere was intimate, shielded from the chaos of the outside world. Afterward, Li Changling refused payment, insisted on gifting them luxury souvenirs, and personally escorted them to the door. He dared not disturb the budding connection, knowing patience was his best strategy. As they rode back into the night, Bei Lei suggested they continue their evening. She felt the night was too beautiful to end, longing for more time alone with him. She proposed a drink and some singing, guiding Lin Wang to the Imperial City, an exclusive KTV lounge owned by her family. It was a private sanctuary, far from prying eyes. The VIP suite was cavernous, draped in luxury with a massive screen and plush leather sofas. Service was discreet, leaving them alone with their drinks and the pulsing, rhythmic city lights. Bei Lei handed him a martini, her face flushed from the alcohol and the vibrant, multicolored mood lighting of the room. She looked radiant, her velvet dress catching the shimmering glow. They chose their songs, and when the music began, Beilele took a steadying breath. She poured her heart into the lyrics, her voice carrying an intensity she usually kept hidden away. The melody lingered in the air, its haunting lyrics capturing a yearning for moments lost to time. Beilele's voice was remarkably steady, her technique polished by countless private performances. Lin Wang's vocals were a perfect match, grounding the duet in a raw, emotional intensity. Beilele watched him with glistening eyes, completely mesmerized by his commanding presence and grace. She finished her drink in one go, the alcohol quickly taking its toll. Her balance wavered as she leaned against him, giggling softly while whispering that she found him incredibly handsome. Despite her insistence that she was perfectly sober, her legs betrayed her, sending her tumbling onto the plush carpet. Lin Wang chuckled, gently pulling her back up and steadying her frame. Flushed with heat and intoxication, she playfully tugged at her gown, demanding to shed her jacket. She swayed before him, a dangerous, intoxicating vision of softness and suppressed romantic desire. Her eyes searched his, glassy and bold, as she pressed herself into his space. She demanded to know if he liked her, her voice turning soft and needy as she lunged. Lin Wang's resolve fractured under her persistent, wine-scented advances. In the dim, flickering light, he finally broke his internal barriers, meeting her passion with the same intensity she had sought. By 11, he had dressed her, cradling her sleeping form in his arms. The staff and bodyguards watched with profound respect, quickly directing them to the private suite on the top floor. He laid her gently on the sprawling bed, admiring her softness. She murmured his name in her sleep, a confession of love that made the exhaustion of the night feel utterly worth it. Morning light revealed the aftermath of the night. Beilele awoke first, her mind fractured by hazy memories of singing, drinking, and a bold, irreversible confession of her deepest feelings. She felt the fabric of her gown piled neatly beside her and realized she was stripped of her clothing. Panic mixed with a quiet, lingering joy as she watched Lin Wang sleep. She struggled with the heavy burden of her lost memory. While she regretted the reckless consumption of alcohol, she also understood that without it, they might never have crossed this line. Beilele turned toward him, her gaze lingering on his sharp, defined features. She reached out, a soft touch grazing his skin, just as the morning alarm shattered the silence. Startled, she dived back under the covers, feigning sleep with wide, darting eyes. Lin Wang chuckled, rising to freshen up, while she struggled to zip her dress with trembling, nervous fingers. When she timidly asked for his help, he complied, his hands brushing against her form as he secured the zipper. The air in the room grew heavy with an unspoken, desperate anticipation. "Do you want to be my wife?" he finally asked. Beilele gasped, tears welling up as she realized her dreams were materializing, even if her background remained a hurdle to formal status. She cared only for his side, gladly accepting the unofficial bond. As they opened the door to leave, they were met by Bei Jun, her father, waiting with a crowd of attendants. Recognition dawned on Bei Jun the moment he saw Lin Wang's face. He knew the legacy of the Lin family and, in a moment of pure, calculated elation, bowed to his future son-in-law. He showered Lin Wang with offers of gifts and fortune, desperate to cement this connection. Beilele quickly pulled her father aside, frantic and blushing as he lectured her on the need for heirs. Her father's ambition was overwhelming, but she silenced him, insisting that their relationship remain private and strictly under her control. They turned away, leaving the patriarch to his silent joy. Outside, the skies had opened up, drenching the campus in a torrential downpour. They abandoned their scooters, taking refuge in the luxurious Maybach that waited to shepherd them through the storm. Bodyguards shielded them with umbrellas, moving in a tight formation against the gray rain. They arrived back at the villa in a flurry of wet pavement and hushed, respectful footsteps. Lin Wang led her through the door, the warmth of the home, a stark contrast to the cold rain. He realized the world outside was changing, but within these walls, his life remained his own. Tong Yi paced the villa, her anxiety palpable. When the door finally opened, revealing Lin Wang with Beilele, the tension vanished. The women rushed forward, embracing him in a flurry of relief. Lin Wang introduced Lele as the newest addition to their circle. Zhang Xiyun laughed, teasing that they now had free access to the most incredible grilled skewers in the city. The next morning, Cheng Cheng arrived for her lecture. She wore a daring, deep V emerald dress that left nothing to the imagination, her every step marked by the rhythmic, sharp click of her heels. She leaned over the podium, effectively putting on a show, before announcing that she needed a student assistant. Despite the teaching assistant's protest, Cheng Cheng fixed her gaze solely on Lin Wang. Lin Wang felt an immediate sense of dread. Forced to comply, he took his place by her side. Under the concealment of the desk, Cheng Cheng began provocatively teasing him with her feet. Lin Wang swatted her away, but she persisted. He eventually gripped her ankle, nearly sending her tumbling. She steadied herself with a forced smile, masking her genuine, predatory frustration toward him. He was handed a stack of handouts to distribute. He glanced down and froze. The papers contained an AI-generated image of himself and Cheng Cheng in a compromising position. Realizing her mistake, Cheng Cheng snatched the papers back, her face flushing. She handed him a USB drive, ordering him to her office to print the correct documents from a specific folder. In her office, Lin Wang couldn't resist. He bypassed the class files and opened a folder labeled How to Conquer Lin Wang, revealing an organized, obsessive archive of his life. There were directories for seductive outfits, a manual for psychological domination, and even a collection of illicit herbal supplements meant to heighten his desire. He felt a chill of fascination. He opened one final, encrypted folder titled Nights with Lin Wang. A stream of explicit, intimate videos played on the screen, capturing their private moments with jarring clarity. Tong Yi, who had been waiting by the door, moved closer to see what had silenced him. She caught sight of the footage on the monitor and gasped, her breath hitching in pure shock. Lin Wang snapped the screen shut before Tong Yi could process the explicit footage. She blushed a deep crimson, even though she was generally bold, while Lin Wang calmly insisted the files were AI fabrications. After a quick inspection, Tong Yi agreed the proportions were all wrong. Lin Wang permanently deleted the entire archive, though Tong Yi reminded him that digital forensics could have salvaged them as legal evidence. If third parties saw these, you could have her arrested for defamation, Tong Yi noted, her hand resting on her enforcement badge. They devised a plan. Use the USB as leverage to neutralize Cheng Cheng. They returned to the classroom, acting as if nothing had happened. Lin Wang handed out the printed materials, and Cheng Cheng, unaware that her dark secrets were now in their hands, lectured with professional poise. Once class ended, they headed straight for her office. Tong Yi adopted the cold, intimidating demeanor she used in the field, while Lin Wang followed close behind, ready to spring their trap. Inside her office, Cheng Cheng was frantically tearing apart her drawers, searching for the missing USB drive. When the door opened, she turned to see Tong Yi, face etched with stern, official authority. Cheng Cheng, we have evidence of your attempt to ruin Lin Wang's reputation, Tong Yi declared, brandishing her handcuffs. The teacher's bravado crumbled instantly as she realized the depth of her exposure. She pressed herself against the desk, her eyes wide with panic. Don't arrest me, she pleaded, her voice losing its edge. I'll do anything you want, just keep this quiet. Lin Wang stepped forward, his expression impassive. He offered her a deal, silence and total compliance in exchange for their discretion. She agreed instantly, terrified of losing her prestigious position at the university. He kept the USB, effectively holding her professional life in his palm. As they left, Cheng Cheng sank to the floor, her manipulation backfiring in the most catastrophic way imaginable. Back on the campus road, they crossed paths with Bei Lei on her scooter. She blushed deeply, calling him husband for the first time, her face radiating a newfound, shy confidence. Bei Lei revealed a package in her basket, prompting Lin Wang to ask what occasion it was for. She expressed disbelief that he had forgotten Jiang Duor's birthday. Tong Yi, caught off guard, admitted she had no idea either. They realized Jiang Duor's humble nature meant she would never announce her own special day to avoid inconveniencing anyone. Lei insisted they couldn't let it pass, suggesting they buy gifts immediately. Lin Wang agreed, arranging for a bespoke cake before heading to the mall with Tong Yi and Zhang Xian. Back at the villa, Jiang Duor was busy hand-washing clothes. Despite the household staff and machines, she insisted on doing it herself, finding a quiet comfort in the labor. Lei arrived and presented her with an elegant, leather-cased lipstick. Jiang Duor instinctively tried to decline, feeling it was far too luxurious, but Lei refused to take no for an answer. Their friendship had been forged over years of exchanging gifts. Jiang Duor often crafted handmade items for Lei, teaching her that true value in a gift came from the giver's heart. Lei gently pushed Jiang Duor onto the sofa, sensing her deep-seated fear of being a burden. She urged her to open up and let the others celebrate her existence. Lin Wang already knows, Lei whispered, convincing her that hiding her birthday actually created distance between her and the others. Reluctantly, Jiang Duor finally agreed to let them celebrate. Lei led her upstairs to dress her up. She meticulously applied the rose-pink lipstick, the subtle scent of flowers enhancing Jiang Duor's naturally delicate, melancholic beauty. As she stepped back to admire her handiwork, Lei was struck by her friend's transformation. Yet, Jiang Duor looked at the mirror with uncertainty, questioning if the color was too bold. Lei turned to the closet, expecting an array of choices, but was shocked by the sparse collection. Even with the others helping, Jiang Duor's wardrobe remained hauntingly minimal and plain. Jiang Duor stood with her hands folded, feeling overwhelmed. Despite the luxury of the clothes, she still felt far more comfortable in her usual, modest attire. Bei Lei was relentless, pairing a warm white sheer blouse with a pure white camisole. She completed the look with a high-waisted skirt featuring delicate, ink-wash butterfly embroidery. You look absolutely stunning, Lei insisted, dismissing Jiang Duor's protests. She helped her adjust the blouse, highlighting the contrast between the sheer fabric and the camisole's snug fit. Jiang Duor nervously caught a glimpse of herself in the mirror. With the new lipstick and the form-fitting skirt, she looked vibrant and unmistakably sexy, unlike her usual, quiet self. Later, the group returned from the mall, their arms full of bags. A bodyguard followed with a massive, life-size teddy bear, while a professional baker arrived with a custom cake. The cake was a masterpiece of dark chocolate ganache, topped with gold leaf and white truffle shavings. At its peak sat a crystal sphere, encasing a delicate, sugar-spun dancer. When the group gathered, Jiang Duor slowly descended the stairs. Lin Wang looked up, captivated by the woman who now stood before him with newfound grace and subtle confidence. He dismissed the others, leaving the room quiet for them. He gently hooked a finger under her chin, meeting her gaze while she blushed, her eyes soft and shyly averted. "Is it your birthday?" he asked, When she nodded, he scolded her playfully for keeping it a secret, telling her that letting him celebrate her was an act of love. To punish her for the secrecy, he demanded a kiss. Jiang Duor complied, though he teased her, claiming he hadn't reacted in time, forcing her to kiss him again. Zhang Xiyun then stepped forward, presenting a brand new top-tier smartphone and athletic shoes. Jiang Duor looked at the expensive gifts, her hands trembling as she reflexively tried to decline. The group cut off Jiang Duor's protests immediately. They insisted the gifts were a token of their affection, and Lin Wang gently brushed her hair aside, urging her not to reject such heartfelt generosity. He explained that rejecting a gift only denied the giver the joy of sharing, a logic that finally softened her resolve. With a shy smile, she accepted the smartphone and the stylish athletic shoes. Living in the villa had transformed Jiang Duor's life. She no longer had to scrimp on cheap cafeteria meals, and she was surrounded by a warmth she had once thought unattainable. She accepted the gifts with deep gratitude, but her breath hitched when Lin Wang opened a small box to reveal a massive heavy gold bracelet and a jade pendant. He didn't wait for her to decline, gently sliding the gold bangle onto her wrist. Tong Yi cheered, asking if she might get one too, to which Lin Wang teased her about her existing collection. The dinner table was a vibrant spread, anchored by the magnificent chocolate cake. Though Song Wannian was absent, the group vowed to save her a slice, celebrating the occasion with joyful energy. Jiang Duor stood to make a speech, her voice trembling with genuine emotion. She had never been the center of attention, but looking at them, she felt a profound sense of belonging. Lin Wang opened a bottle of vintage Petrus. Despite his warning, Bei Lei insisted on a glass, promising that since they were home, a little indulgence was perfectly safe and acceptable. The wine flowed freely, but the group's tolerance was dangerously low. Soon, their cheeks were flushed, their eyes growing glassy and distant as the festive atmosphere turned into a sleepy, happy haze. Bei Lei, Tong Yi, and Jiang Duor were all visibly intoxicated, leaning against Lin Wang and slurring their sweet, nonsensical requests. He realized he was surrounded by a sea of light-headed, affectionate women. With the cake still uncut, he decided to postpone the celebration for Song Wannian's return. He stood up, gathering his companions to lead them upstairs toward the sanctuary of their beds. He pulled Jiang Duor close, her body soft and pliant against him. He took her weight onto his shoulder, guiding her toward the stairs, ready to tuck them all in for the night. Lin Wang carefully guided Jiang Duor up the stairs, while Zhang Xiyun and the housekeeper, Zhao Ma, followed with the others. They tucked the intoxicated trio into bed to sleep off the vintage wine. Lin Wang checked his schedule and decided to head back to class with Zhang Xiyun, leaving the girls to recover in the quiet sanctuary of the villa until late in the afternoon. The three women stirred around 5, their memories fractured by the previous night's indulgence. Tong Yi quickly gathered her gear, her duty to protect Lin Wang, overriding her lingering headache. In the classroom, Zhang Xiyun stood before the restless group to explain the upcoming freshman gala. She outlined the rules: 3 colored signals for the men to indicate their romantic interest. A red signal meant a flat rejection, yellow offered a chance to connect, and green meant an immediate, public commitment. The gala was a stage for daring, life-altering romantic confessions. The class murmured anxiously. Lin Wang calmly reassured them, explaining that he already had their contact information, making public displays at the gala unnecessary for anyone who truly had a bond with him. The students pushed for more personal time with him, craving opportunities to move beyond classroom interactions. Lin Wang promised to coordinate a class outing soon, aiming to satisfy their request for bonding. As the meeting wound down, they discussed the gala's reputation for drama. Some students confessed they only planned to attend to witness the potential scandals and social chaos that usually ensued. Lin Wang and Zhang Xiyun returned to the villa, greeted by Tong Yi, who had already regained her composure. She was ready to resume her post, her intoxication completely forgotten in the line of duty. Just as they reached the entrance, a familiar figure appeared at the gate, halting their movement. The evening air felt charged with the weight of the coming day's inevitable, high-stakes romantic showdown. Sun Sheng stood at the gate, grinning as he greeted Lin Wang. After a night of partying, he had returned, eager to keep the momentum of his university adventure going. Lin Wang declined his offer to host, inviting him to stay at the villa instead. He mentioned the upcoming gala, promising to take Sun Sheng to the campus grounds later. Inside, they were greeted by Bei Lei and Jiang Duor. Sun Sheng's eyes widened in disbelief. He instantly recognized Lei as the elusive and influential heiress of the Bei food empire. He marveled at his friend's incredible fortune. While he had his own success, Lin Wang's ability to attract such high-caliber women was truly on another level, leaving Sun Sheng deeply impressed. They learned it was Jiang Duor's birthday. Sun Sheng, ever the professional heir, immediately summoned his staff to deliver an extravagant gift, refusing to let the occasion pass unacknowledged. Song Wannian arrived shortly after, completing the gathering. Sun Sheng recognized her immediately. His own family business owed its very existence to the protection of her powerful clan. Song Wannian presented Jiang Duor with an official employment offer for her mother at a prestigious branch. The salary was 20 times her current wage, a gesture of profound, life-changing generosity. Jiang Duor was overwhelmed, fearing the weight of such an offer. However, Song Wannian gently insisted, explaining that her mother had already passed the interview and deserved the security. With the formalities concluded, they turned to the cake. Sun Sheng eagerly took charge, lighting the candle as the lights dimmed, casting a warm, golden glow across the room. Jiang Duor closed her eyes, her hands clasped in silent prayer. She wished only for the warmth of this moment to last, her heart overflowing with a peace she had never known. She blew out the candle to a chorus of applause. As they shared the decadent chocolate ganache and toasted to her health, the villa felt less like a dorm and more like home. The evening feast was a triumph, and after dinner, Lin Wang took Sun Sheng to the campus grounds. The gala stage was prepped, humming with an energy that thrilled Sun Sheng. He decided to return home to present his new love, Sang Yi, to his father. He was determined to make her his wife, captivated by her intelligence and prestigious campus pedigree. Back at the villa, the atmosphere shifted instantly. Song Wannian sat on the sofa, pale and nauseated, clutching her stomach while the other girls fluttered around her in panic. Lin Wang knelt before her, desperate for answers. Song Wannian smiled weakly and pulled a test strip from her bag, revealing 2 clear, life-changing pink lines. "I'm going to be a father," Lin Wang whispered, his heart hammering against his ribs. The realization was surreal, a weight of joy that made the entire world feel suddenly, vibrantly new. The group was ecstatic. Beilei speculated about a baby girl, while the others immediately began planning, already dreaming of baby clothes, handmade shoes, and gold talismans. Song Wannian tried to calm their fervor, reminding them that nothing was confirmed until a medical checkup, but the villa was already vibrating with the anticipation of a new life. Lin Wang spent the night in a restless daze, dreaming of a daughter who called him Papa. Every time he reached out to hold her, the sound died in his throat. Morning broke, and he found Song Wannian sitting at her vanity. He took the brush from her hand, tending to her hair with a delicate, rhythmic care that soothed them both. They made plans to visit the hospital. He messaged Wei Qin to request leave, citing a personal appointment, and though she was worried, she granted his request without hesitation. Upon their arrival, the head of obstetrics, Xia Qiongju, who had been specifically summoned, waited for them in the parking lot. She understood the gravity of the visit and remained poised. The world outside the hospital seemed to fade away. In a time where the birth of a boy was an anomaly, this visit carried the weight of 1,000 unspoken hopes. The chief of obstetrics, Xia Qiongju, greeted them warmly at the parking lot, guiding them to a quiet, sequestered VIP wing. Every detail had been prepped to ensure their absolute privacy. Lin Wang's hands trembled as he gripped Song Wannian's. Despite the high probability of the results, he felt a nervous intensity that rivaled his most stressful academic examinations. The results arrived after a tense half-hour. Xia Qiongju returned with a report showing an HCG level of 37.83, confirming a pregnancy of 3 weeks and 3 days. The room erupted into a quiet, profound joy. Song Wannian remained poised, her hand resting instinctively on her abdomen, while Lin Wang let out a long, heavy breath of relief. Xia Qiongju provided a comprehensive care plan, mandating 8 hours of sleep, a nutrient-rich diet, and absolute emotional stability for the mother-to-be during these crucial first weeks. Lin Wang's protective instinct shifted into overdrive. On the way back, he insisted on stopping at every shop, obsessively buying supplements, loose-fitting clothes, and even premature outfits for the infant. When they reached the villa, the group rushed them before they could even finish entering. Tong Yi grabbed the report, her eyes scanning the data with desperate, fervent curiosity. "I'm going to be a mother," Tong Yi shrieked, though Lin Wang gently corrected the hierarchy. The women began a spirited, chaotic debate over who would hold the second position. Song Wannian eventually steered them toward the dining table. The food had grown cold while they waited, but the warmth of their collective excitement made the atmosphere feel vibrant. Over lunch, Tong Yi couldn't stop speculating about names, her face flushing as she realized her own deep desire for a future with Lin Wang, causing the room to erupt in laughter. Song Wannian insisted on returning to work. Despite Lin Wang's protest, she felt well enough to continue her research, though he hovered, ensuring she was hydrated and perfectly comfortable. Once she finally departed, Lin Wang prepared for his afternoon lecture. He walked with a lighter step, the reality of the coming child grounding him in a newfound, steady purpose. The public lecture concluded quickly, yet Lin Wang had barely gathered his belongings before Wei Qin summoned him to the corridor, her eyes scanning him for signs of physical distress. "I'm fine," Lin Wang insisted, puzzled. Wei Qin confessed that his absence had left her anxious, so he decided to be honest about the hospital trip and Song Wannian's pregnancy. Wei Qin visibly relaxed, though she hinted that the university had set rigorous quotas for his family life. Lin Wang was stunned to learn that his academic tenure came with biological expectations. Despite her professional status, Wei Qin felt a pull toward him that transcended their instructor-student boundary. She invited him to her office, eager for his company as the gala loomed near. Lin Wang grew restless in her sterile office, eventually wandering out to the hallway for water. He was cornered almost immediately by Cheng Cheng, who greeted him with her signature, predatory smile. "I came because I saw you," she whispered, leaning in too close. Lin Wang casually reminded her of the USB evidence, but she responded with a sudden, alarming display of tears. He was momentarily off balance, yet unmoved. She demanded he accept her public confession at the gala that evening. He offered a vague excuse and retreated before her tactics could shift further. Returning to Wei Qin's office, he slammed the door shut, his nerves frayed. Wei Qin immediately guessed the encounter involved Cheng Cheng, acknowledging that their rivalry was an open secret. If you truly loathed her, she would be gone by now, Wei Qin pointed out with a knowing smile. Lin Wang froze, realizing she was right. He held the ultimate authority. He realized he had been playing along with Cheng Cheng's games rather than ending them. With his perspective shifted, he bid Wei Qin a hurried farewell, ready to take control of his environment. Lin Wang escaped Wei Qin's suffocating office, eager to see Song Wanyan. With the gala approaching, he felt a frantic, protective urge to ensure his pregnant partner was properly cared for. He found her office deserted. Noticing her water and fruit remained untouched, he began documenting a mental list of necessary safety upgrades, obsessed with transforming her space into a secure sanctuary. When Song Wanyan finally returned, she found him deep in his mission. He hovered over her, brushing her forehead with a kiss, his newfound devotion clearly transcending simple, casual romantic interest. He insisted on replacing her furniture, installing plush carpeting, and childproofing the sharp corners. Though she argued the space was perfectly functional, his unwavering, protective gaze left her no room to resist. Leaving her with a final, stern reminder to hydrate, Lin Wang descended to the campus gates. Sun Sheng awaited him there, accompanied by a wealthy, wide-eyed associate named Liu Xinlei. Liu was stunned to witness the normally arrogant Sun Sheng bowing in deference. He struggled to comprehend Lin Wang's true status, yet he recognized the aura of immense, quiet power surrounding him. Lin Wang offered a cold, precise warning. Behave, stay out of trouble, and avoid the house's private areas. Liu nodded frantically, sensing that crossing this man would be a catastrophic mistake. They drove to the Lakeview Villa, the luxurious fleet of cars drawing eyes across campus. Lin Wang led his guests inside, carefully monitoring his territory with the precision of a silent, focused hunter. Cross him, and you'll regret it, Sun Sheng muttered. Liu Xinlei, breathless, asked for a hint about Lin Wang's true background. Was he part of the legendary Southern Lin clan? Sun Sheng shook his head with a smirk. Think bigger. As they entered the Lakeview Villa, Liu's awe deepened. Living in such a prime location was impossible for an ordinary student. Inside, the sight of Tong Yi and Zhang Xiyun stunned him. Their presence was regal, their beauty striking. He dared a glance, but a sharp look from Sun Sheng kept him disciplined. Liu offered a rare, imported coffee blend as a gesture of goodwill. Lin Wang accepted it with a nod, inviting the pair to wash up and join them for the evening meal. Waiting for the others, the atmosphere remained formal. Soon, the front door opened, and Bai Leilei and Jiang Duer arrived. Liu was floored. The arrivals were even more radiant than those inside. Bai Leilei's elegance and Jiang Duer's delicate, ethereal charm left Liu speechless. He quickly averted his eyes, remembering Sun Sheng's warning. Some women are simply beyond any man's reach. By 6:30 p.m., they reached the campus stadium. The gala was already alive with music. Thousands of students had gathered, many dressed in elaborate formal wear, clutching hope and love letters. The air was thick with desperation and ambition. For many women, this was a final, critical chance to secure a partner before entering the harsh realities of the professional world outside campus. Volunteers organized the crowd as the entrance queue snaked down the avenue. Everyone scanned QR codes for exclusive entry numbers. Men received signal wands, while women wore pink identification bracelets. Lin Wang's group bypassed the grueling wait through a volunteer's courtesy. As they settled into front row seats near the stage, the surrounding crowd erupted in a frenzy of recognition and longing. Lin Wang, I'm a junior in logistics, I want to confess, came a cry. Another student stood up, I'm in dance. Lin Wang, I'm confessing too. The clamor for his attention grew intense. The crowd surged forward, an ocean of hopeful faces pressing toward Lin Wang. Tong Yi, recognizing the mounting threat to his peace, rose with a stern, authoritative glare. She brandished her badge, the golden seal of the Male Favorability Committee, shimmering under the stadium floodlights. The crowd's fervor cooled instantly. They knew better than to challenge an enforcement officer. Volunteers swarmed the area, creating a protective cordon around Lin Wang's group. Sun Sheng and Liu Xinlei watched the spectacle, unmoved, as this was their daily reality. Yet, even they acknowledged that the sheer quality of candidates here far surpassed anything they encountered in the outside world. At 6:50 p.m., the lights intensified. A shadow fell over Lin Wang, Wei Qin. She handed him a bottle of water, her eyes lingering with professional concern, before darting away to manage the chaos at the gates. Sun Sheng watched her go, a sly smirk forming. Your counselor, he teased. She has quite a bit of charisma, doesn't she? Lin Wang smiled but remained silent, his gaze fixed on the stage. Two juniors in deep blue gowns stood before the sea of thousands, their voices echoing through the arena. The gender disparity was stark. Thousands of women sat in wait, while the rare, coveted men were scattered like precious pearls across the vast, dark field. The gala is officially open, the host declared. No long speeches, let's get straight to the confessions. Phones illuminated the stadium like a sea of stars. Thousands of hopeful hearts tapped the take the stage button simultaneously, hoping to be chosen by the system's algorithm to stand under the spotlight. The system cycled rapidly, displaying 10 numbers on the giant screens. Cheers erupted as the lucky few scrambled toward the stage. The energy was electric, desperate, and fierce. Behind the scenes, the numbers didn't lie. Over 2,000 students were fighting for a chance to stand in the light. Do you think they're all here for him? Tong Yi whispered, her eyes tracking the 10 women standing nervously on stage. The girls around them nodded in solemn agreement. In a world where men were the prize, Lin Wang was the undisputed crown jewel. The first confession began, and the stadium fell into a breathless, expectant hush. Candidate 111, Kang Xiangshang, stepped into the golden spotlight. She wore dainty cream Mary Janes and a shimmering champagne gown adorned with pearls. Her elegance was undeniable, yet her heart raced visibly. Her delicate, oval face glowed with soft brows and a gentle, peach-tinted smile. Despite her graceful presence and slender frame, her trembling breath betrayed her nerves as she stood before the audience. "Hello, I am Kang Xiangshang from the literature department," she announced, her voice sweet yet shaky. She confessed her feelings for Lin Wang, a freshman, as the crowd buzzed with predictable excitement. The cameras swiveled toward Lin Wang. He remained composed, unfazed by the sudden attention. He understood his own worth and family background. He knew many would seek his attention this evening. He studied Kang Xiangshang briefly. She was undeniably pretty and sweet, but she did not stir his heart. He silently compared her to Jiang Duo, finding her lacking in that special spark. Her heartfelt confession echoed through the venue as she recited a 2-page letter. She pleaded for a chance, her eyes filled with earnest hope while the host waited for the verdict. Lin Wang stood with quiet humility, holding a vibrant red glow stick. He raised it firmly, signaling a clear rejection. He chose to be decisive, sparing the girl any lingering, false hope. Tears welled in Shang's eyes as she saw the red light. She bit her lip, stifling a sob, and handed the microphone to the next girl before hurrying off the stage, heartbroken. The host gently offered comfort, noting that unrequited love is simply part of life's growth. He then beckoned the next student, Su Manqing, to step forward into the bright, expectant stage lights. Gasps rippled through the crowd as Su Manqing appeared in a striking red conque opera costume. Her layers of silk sleeves and exquisite headpiece transformed her into a vision of classic beauty. Her features were perfectly painted, her lips a vivid crimson that matched her outfit. Her curvaceous figure was captivating, holding the gaze of every student, including the whispering boys below her. Sun Shang and Liu Xin lay huddled, debating who among them might win her favor. They joked about their chances, though both secretly feared the shadow of Lin Wang's overwhelming, undeniable campus popularity. Su Manqing spoke with a soft, melodic grace. She admitted that seeing Lin Wang's photos online had sparked an immediate affection, a feeling that only deepened whenever she saw him on campus. "I am certain of my heart," she declared, her eyes locked on his distant figure. She promised him her full devotion, offering him everything if he would only grant her one chance. Lin Wang paused, then slowly raised a yellow glow stick. The crowd erupted. He had accepted. Su Manqing beamed, tears of joy forming, knowing she had successfully captured his rare attention. She bowed deeply, overflowing with gratitude for the yellow light, then gracefully exited the stage. The cycle continued, but the remaining candidates faced the same cold reality of Lin Wang's firm refusals. While most girls on the outside are average, the women at Daijing University are stunningly beautiful, consistently scoring above 6. Even then, such beauty is not a rare sight here. Jiang Duo is nearly flawless, while Su Manqing, despite her heavy stage makeup, possesses an 8-point foundation. Coupled with her curvaceous figure, she effortlessly overshadows almost every other girl present. The first group's confessions lasted 10 minutes, yet the male audience grew restless. Lin Wang's blinding presence monopolized the attention of the high-quality women, sparking envy among his frustrated peers. "Do not fixate on one idol," the host urged, trying to restore balance. "Every young man here is a treasure waiting to be discovered. Let us commence the second round of confessions." Over 1,000 students surged forward, desperate for a turn. Among the next 10 selected, a familiar face appeared. Chunling stood in the third position, radiating a fresh, campus-sweet aesthetic. She wore a crisp white blouse with a blue bow and a pleated skirt that ended just above her knees. Her round face, puppy dog eyes, and natural sweetness made her truly captivating. She was not just pretty, she was athletic and genuine. Having previously visited Lin Wang's home to help, she had already earned his favor. He ignored the others, granting her a yellow light. 6 groups took the stage over the next hour. Of the 60 girls, 44 confessed to Lin Wang. He carefully selected only 6, including Su Manqing, Chunling, and others. Among his choices were the sharp, short-haired programmer Fang Ziyi, the aloof Shen Jixia, the radiant Lin Wangxin, and the petite Fang Qingyao. He had picked the very best from his list. Time was fading, so the organizers shifted the format. Instead of slow stage confessions, they assigned each man a desk, turning the field into a bustling, high-stakes recruitment fair. "It feels like a job interview," a student muttered, noticing how the girls clutched their personal portfolios. Instead of seeking employment, they were interviewing to secure a husband. Volunteers swarmed the field to manage the chaos. Lin Wang was led to the edge of the playground, where his designated area was overflowing with assistants and giant, empty boxes. His table was reinforced, and the dean herself stood nearby to oversee the process. "We assigned extra staff because of your popularity," she whispered, winking at him as the crowd gathered. Once the signal was given, thousands of students bolted toward the desks. A serpentine line formed specifically for Lin Wang, stretching across the entire field like a massive, undulating river of hope. The sheer volume of love letters and gifts was overwhelming. His 10 large boxes filled instantly, and he barely had a moment to breathe, let alone read the heartfelt messages flooding in. Volunteers worked frantically to clear the gifts, piling up around his chair. In stark contrast, other men sat idly, finally having the time to read their letters one by one, feeling entirely ignored. Those men with sour temperaments and reputations for playing with women's hearts found their tables completely barren. They could only watch, seething with envy, as a massive queue snaked around Lin Wang's desk. The marathon event stretched until late into the night. By 10 p.m., while the other men had long since retreated, Lin Wang was only 3/4 of the way through his endless stream of admirers. It was 10:30 p.m. when the final letters were collected. Over 20 boxes were stuffed with confessions, while hundreds of gifts piled up around him, forming a literal fortress of romantic offerings. The volume was so immense that school officials had to quickly authorize a warehouse to store the unopened gifts. By the time they reached the villa, the clock had struck 11 p.m. Inside, Song Wannian sat on a hanging chair by the floor-to-ceiling window, engrossed in a thick book. She set it aside and stood as they entered, her eyes soft with concern. "You're home," she greeted. "I imagine you were overwhelmed by confessions today." Lin Wang frowned gently, worried about her health. "It's far too late, Song. You should have been resting for the baby." He turned to Jiang Duo, asking her to help Song Wannian upstairs. As they climbed, Song looked back, her heart filled with curiosity about the night's chaotic events, wishing she could stay. Downstairs, Lin Wang turned to Sun Sheng and Liu Xinlei. "It's too late to commute. Stay here. There are plenty of guest rooms." The pair exchanged looks, clearly harboring a request. "We saw many girls today whom we admire," Sun Sheng confessed tentatively. "We know we cannot touch those you have selected, but might we have access to the information of the others?" Lin Wang understood. The letters contained resumes, contact details, and personal profiles. He remained silent for a moment before nodding. "I will review them. If the girls consent, I will share." The two friends beamed with gratitude. After Su Lingyun guided them to their rooms, Lin Wang finally sighed, his body heavy with exhaustion. He wanted rest, but Tong Yi suddenly grabbed his arm. "Brother," she whispered, her face flushing crimson. "Will you sleep with me tonight?" Her bold approach surprised him, yet under the influence of his gaze, she confessed the truth of her insecurity. "So many girls love you," she murmured, glancing at Bei Lei Li. "It puts so much pressure on me." She wanted to be close to him, to secure her place in his heart tonight. Saturday morning arrived with overcast skies. As Lin Wang woke, a mechanical chime echoed in his mind. "System update. You have unlocked the ability, Female Anatomy Perspective." This power allowed him to see through heavy makeup and fashion tricks to witness a girl's true face and physique. He smirked. It was a potent tool for cutting through superficial deceptions. He felt a weight on his chest and looked down to see Tong Yi curled up, using him as a pillow. He nudged her awake, then focused his gaze on her, testing his newfound ability. Her face remained unchanged, a testament to her natural beauty. He scanned further, seeing the delicate lace beneath her pajamas and the perfect lines of her figure. She was genuinely, naturally stunning. Tong Yi, unaware of the power he now wielded, knelt on the bed in her soft pink pajamas, watching him with a shy, expectant smile, waiting for his attention to fully turn toward her. Tong Yi glanced down at her own reflection, then suddenly pushed Lin Wang down. The soft curves of her body pressed against him, her warm breath caressing his skin. Lin Wang, still deep in thought, was startled. "Tong, what are you doing?" "Brother, stop pretending," she whispered, her voice laced with intimacy. "I know exactly what you want." She kissed him with practiced confidence. Outside, the sun climbed higher, and the muffled sounds of the others waking up drifted through the villa. 40 minutes later, Tong Yi hid beneath the covers, giggling at him. "Why are you laughing, silly girl?" he asked. "We're going to my family's estate today." She smiled. "Let me rest a moment. You go shower first, brother." Lin Wang sighed and headed to the bathroom. After refreshing himself and changing, he stepped out and glanced down from the second-floor railing. Jiang Duo was just serving Song Wannian a glass of warm water. Once breakfast concluded, Sun Sheng and Liu Xinlei departed. They had plans to go racing with a group of friends. The others, however, joined Lin Wang as they prepared for the trip to the family estate. Except for Song Wannian, the girls were nervous. Visiting Lin Wang's family was a significant step. After stopping at a shopping center to gather gifts, they returned to the villa to find 3 unmarked vehicles waiting. Sun Xiao, his assistant, was already inside one. As the cars merged into the city traffic, she turned from the passenger seat. "Master, it has been 2 weeks. I have truly missed you and your wife." Song Wannian offered a polite, graceful smile. Lin Wang asked coolly, "Have the others arrived yet?" "Not yet, but soon," Xiao replied. "Has anything happened at home lately?" Xiao hesitated before nodding. "Miss Wu has been in a foul mood and has even argued with your grandfather." She referred to Wu Liu, who had been furious since Lin Wang rejected her messages. "I see. Anything else?" Lin Wang held Song Wannian's hand as he asked. "The patriarch will be attending the family banquet today," Xiao added. Even his grandfather, a high-ranking official, was making an appearance. Lin Wang's family lived in a sprawling, secluded landscape garden where work and rest blended. His father was just as busy as his grandfather, making such family gatherings a rarity. Lin Wang turned his focus to his phone. He began accepting the WeChat requests from the girls he had favored with yellow glow sticks the previous night: Su Manqing, Fang Zi, Shen Jixia, and others. He pinned these contacts to the top of his list. A message from Teacher Wei popped up. containing a massive spreadsheet. I've updated it overnight, Lin Wang. The red highlighted rows are the girls you accepted. He opened the file, which included detailed profiles and photos for thousands of students. He sent Teacher Wei a thumb-up emoji. Though he usually ignored such lists, the detail here was impressive. He began scrolling, zooming in on the photos. As he focused, his female anatomy perspective activated. To his shock, the filters and makeup on the photos melted away, revealing the women's true, unadorned faces. It was an incredible, albeit slightly invasive, power. He saw through no makeup looks and subtle editing, discarding the phonies as he sped through the list. Suddenly, a girl appeared on the screen who stopped him cold. She possessed standard, exquisite features, deep brown eyes, a straight nose, and perfect M-shaped lips. Her hair was long, black, and natural. She was stunning. Her physical perfection was so potent that, as he stared, a drop of crimson landed on his screen. Lin Wang froze, a nosebleed. "Husband, you're bleeding," Song Wannian exclaimed, quickly grabbing tissues to wipe his nose. Lin Wang cursed silently. The system hadn't been joking about the side effects of viewing someone with such raw, undeniable beauty. He snapped his phone shut, deciding he had seen enough. He already had the name, Su Man Qing. Comparing the heavy, dramatic stage makeup from last night to the raw, unfiltered truth he just witnessed, he reached a firm conclusion. Her physique rivaled that of Bai Lei Li, and while her face was slightly less perfect than Jiang Duo's, her sheer presence was staggering. Leaning back, he rested his head in Song Wannian's lap, lost in thought. The convoy soon entered a secluded, lush landscape estate hidden by dense woods. Guards saluted sharply as they passed, and men in long black coats opened the doors, chanting, "Welcome back, young master." Lin Wang led the way through the classical courtyard, Song Wannian at his side. Behind them, Tang Yi gripped Zhang Xiyun's hand. "I'm so nervous, Xiyun," she whispered. Xiyun, the daughter of a general, remained poised. "Just be steady and speak little," she reassured her. Lin Wang pushed open the ornate wooden doors, stepping into the grand living room. His mothers were waiting. Xiang Rongrong and the others stood up, beaming. "Xiao Wang is back," they cheered, ushering them inside. Their gaze soon drifted to the beautiful women accompanying him. "These are your wives?" Xiang Rongrong asked. Lin Wang nodded, introducing them one by one. When she spotted Xiyun, her eyes brightened. "Is that you, Xiyun? I remember you visiting with the general." Xiyun smiled elegantly. "My husband is so excellent, it's hard not to fall for him." The mothers laughed, charmed by her grace. Lin Wang asked about his father, then sought out his sister, Wu Liyue. He stood before Liyu's door, activating his perspective power. Through the wood, he saw Liyu crouching behind the door, eavesdropping. He knocked, and she scrambled away, pretending to be busy at her vanity. "Who is it?" she called out, her voice tight with lingering annoyance. "It's me, Liyue," he replied. "Don't come in. I'm changing," she protested. Lin Wang could see through the walls that she was fully dressed. He played along, walking away to trick her. Through his vision, he watched her creep toward the door, peeking out to see if he was gone. He instantly turned back, catching her in the act. "Finished changing, sister?" he teased. She flushed, a mix of excitement and indignation, and tried to slam the door. Lin Wang stepped in, easily pushing the heavy door aside with a playful, firm touch. She sat on the edge of the bed, turning her back to him. "Why are you here? You made your position clear enough the other day," she said, her voice trembling slightly with hurt. Lin Wang scratched his head. "I came because I miss my sister." Despite her stubborn posture, he saw the faint, pleased smile tugging at the corner of her lips. "I don't believe you," she muttered. He sighed. "Fine. I brought you a gift, but since you're still angry, I suppose I'll just go return it." He turned, walking toward the door with deliberate slowness. "Stop." Lin Wang turned around. Liyue was already standing, sweeping past him with a curt, "You've already bought it, no point in returning it." She walked toward the stairs, Lin Wang following her down to the living room. Below, the coffee table was laden with gifts. The girls had prepared a necessary gesture for their first visit to the Lin estate. Liyue stood expressionless, eyeing the array of luxury boxes until she asked, "Which one is mine?" Zhang Xiyun immediately stepped forward, handing Liyue a deep red leather bag. "Sister, this is a gift our husband bought specifically for you." Liyue shot Xiyun a sharp look, a twinge of jealousy coloring her expression, but she remained silent. Inside the bag was a sleek, matte black box, stamped with a gold leaf swan. It was a high-end skincare set. The gold-stamped swan was a trademark of absolute luxury. Seeing the premium serums and eye creams, Liyue's mood softened instantly. Just as she was about to speak, a bright, cheerful voice rang out from the entrance. "Xiao Wang is home. Let big sister see if your taste has improved." The crowd knew instantly it was Lin Jianmei, Lin Wang's paternal older sister. At 30, she was a poised, stunning woman married to the famous novelist Tang Tianyu. She strode in, wearing chic sunglasses and a rare ruby ring. "Big sister," Lin Wang greeted, stepping forward. Jianmei hugged his neck warmly. "Little brother, these are all your wives?" Lin Wang introduced them one by one. Jianmei took off her sunglasses, her foxy eyes glinting with a mix of allure and approval. "Good taste," she mused. "These girls are nearly as beautiful as your sister." She gestured to her assistant, who brought forward a massive box filled with 5 large, high-purity rubies set in heavy gold rings. One for each of you, Jian Mei declared with a grand wave. Tong Yi's eyes lit up, while Jiang Duo hesitated, eyeing the immense value of the gift. A quiet word from Sion encouraged her, and she gracefully accepted. Seeing everyone equipped, Jian Mei smiled, satisfied, and turned to hug her mother, Lu Mengrong. You'll bankrupt your in-laws at this rate, her mother teased gently. Jian Mei laughed. Mother, you worry too much. My husband's father has endless mines across the globe. This is a drop in the ocean. Before she could finish, the third and fourth sisters, Lin Jianzhu and Lin Jianju, arrived together. Both were students, one a graduate, one a senior, and shared a studious, elegant aura. Little brother, they chimed. They were only 2 years apart, growing up like twins. As the wives joined in the greetings, the sisters patted Lin Wang's shoulder. Not bad, little brother. You've always had a way with people. Who has a way with people? The study door opened, and Lin Jingming walked out, hands behind his back. The room fell into a flurry of activity. Lin Jingming looked the wives over with a sharp, discerning gaze. He paused at Song Wanian and Zhang Xiun, patting their heads. Old Zhang said he wanted you to find your own happiness, Xiun. It seems his meddling was entirely unnecessary. Father, Xiun replied softly. You mean my father tried to block me? Lin Jingming shifted the subject with a knowing smile. Your father only wanted the best for you, child. He just didn't expect you to end up as Xiao Wang's wife. Lin Wang stepped forward, his expression beaming. Father, I have a piece of good news. Song is 3 weeks pregnant. The room erupted. The sisters crowded around Song Wanian, touching her stomach and asking about her health. Lin Jingming patted Lin Wang's shoulder, his eyes proud. Good. Work hard on your studies, but ensure the family line continues. The patriarch will be very pleased when he arrives later. As the family settled onto the sofas, Lin Jingming asked about Jian Mei's daughter, Xiaohua. With the conversation turning to the younger generation and the sisters' husbands, the house buzzed with the warmth of a rare, full family gathering. The conversation shifted to the rest of the family's careers, the fourth sister's husband, Zhuo Yifeng, and the others. Lin Jingming turned his gaze to Li Yue, his voice casual yet firm. Li Yue, you're 20. It's time you considered your future and opened your heart to a suitor. Li Yue remained silent, knowing that arguing would only irritate him. As the family chatted, the third and fourth mothers arrived, having personally overseen the selection of ingredients for the banquet. The air grew warm as they waited for the patriarch, Lin Guochang. Before long, an unmarked car pulled into the estate. A young aide rushed to open the door, revealing a man with graying hair, a lean but powerful frame, and piercing eyes. It was Lin Guochang. He walked with a vigorous, youthful stride that belied his age. Father, grandfather. The family stood in unison. Lin Guochang nodded, dismissing his aide. He approached Lin Wang, his rough hands patting the young man's shoulders. You look healthy. Stay focused on your studies. The nation's future depends on your generation. Tong Yi watched in awe. This was a man she had only ever seen on television. Lin Wang introduced his wives, and the old man's eyes softened as he looked at them. Treat them well, Xiao Wang. Women are the backbone of our workforce today. They deserve our utmost care and respect. After a joyous lunch where Lin Wang shared the news of Song Wanian's pregnancy, the estate grew quiet. Lin Guochang had to leave for an urgent field investigation, and Lin Jingming departed for an overseas trip. By evening, Lin Wang returned to the university alone. He found Su Lingyun waiting at his doorstep, clad in a sleek black windbreaker and her signature gold-rimmed glasses. Did you forget about the pool party tomorrow? She asked, a slight frown on her face. Lin Wang chuckled sheepishly. My apologies, senior. With everything happening, it slipped my mind, but I trust your planning completely. She brightened, producing a detailed document. I finalized everything. All 6 girls you accepted at the gala will be there. She pointed to the names: Su Manqing, Fang Ziyi, Shen Jixia, Lin Wanxin, and Fang Qingyao. I've rented the entire UU swimming center for the day, she explained, her voice professional and confident. No outsiders, no interruptions. She had meticulously planned everything, from the catering to water volleyball and aquatic games. Lin Wang scanned the list, impressed by her thoroughness. Everything looks perfect, senior. I'll be there. Su Lingyun tucked the papers into her bag, a mischievous glint in her eyes. One more thing, I've prepared a surprise for you at the party. As Lin Wang moved to ask, she pressed a finger to his lips, her crimson lipstick catching the fading light. It's a secret. I'm heading home now. See you tomorrow. She rode away on her electric scooter, leaving Lin Wang to watch her go. Inside the villa, Jiang Duo was already tending to Song Wanian, ensuring she was comfortable. Tong Yi snuggled up to Lin Wang. Brother, I'm definitely attending that party, she insisted. Lin Wang smiled, stroking her hair. Go ahead. You're a member of the society anyway. I'd never dream of stopping you. The society president has already posted the notice for our first team building event in the group chat, Tong Yi chirped. I'm going, of course. Oh, and Duo, you're coming too, right? Me? Jiang Duo looked up, her expression uncertain. Bei Lei grabbed her arm, pleading, I really want you to come with us. Jiang Duo bit her lip, hesitating. I don't know how to swim. Bei Lei was stunned. You never learned? Jiang Duo shook her head. Growing up, her time was consumed by her studies and her hometown lacked a swimming pool. It's fine. We'll just teach you tomorrow, Bei Lei promised. The main point is to have fun, not to swim laps. Jiang Duo relented, nodding slowly. Lin Wang then turned to Zhang Xian. What about you? I think I'll pass, Xian said. I need to head home tomorrow. I still haven't told my parents about our bond. Lin Wang considered this. If you're going home, stay a little longer. I'll go with you. Xiyun's heart leaped. She had wanted him to come but feared burdening his schedule. Now, she simply smiled, relieved. All right, Lin Wang concluded. That's settled. Everyone except Song goes. He had no intention of letting Song Wannian attend. A wet pool deck was far too dangerous for someone in her condition. Just then, Jiang Duo's phone rang. She slipped away to the study to answer it. Zhao Ma approached Lin Wang. Master, what shall I prepare for dinner? Anything light will do, Zhao Ma. You decide. As Lin Wang relaxed, he noticed the other girls huddled together, examining their ruby rings and discussing jewelry appraisal. Shaking his head at their excitement, he wandered toward the study and heard Jiang Duo's voice through the door. Mom, there's something I need to tell you. You don't need to worry about my love life anymore. I've already bonded with someone. The silence on the other end was heavy before a flurry of frantic questions followed. Who is he? Is he a classmate? Did he ask for a dowry? Lin Wang pulled the door open, startling Jiang Duo. She stood up instantly. Brother, why did you come in? Who are you talking to? He asked, stepping toward her. When he heard her mother's voice on the line, he leaned in, offered a polite, hello mom. Jiang Yu, on the other end, was speechless for a long moment, staring at the screen. When she finally saw Lin Wang, she noted the striking resemblance between him and her daughter, especially the eyes. This is my husband, Jiang Duo said softly. Lin Wang took the phone gently. Mom, Duo has been looking for the right time to tell you. We'd love to come visit you soon. Jiang Yu was impressed by his polite demeanor, but her motherly anxiety quickly surfaced. Tell me, young man, what is the dowry requirement in your family? She wanted to ensure her daughter would be treated with dignity. Lin Wang waved a hand, dismissing the concern. There's no need for that, Mom. Our family doesn't focus on such things. Jiang Yu frowned. In an age of exorbitant demands, a man refusing a dowry felt wrong. Lin Wang walked around the study, aiming his camera at the luxurious surroundings to reassure her. We are in business, we aren't lacking for money. Seeing the opulence, Jiang Yue's relief transformed into a different kind of worry. A man so handsome and wealthy, would he truly cherish her simple, humble duo? Xiao Wang, she finally asked, with so much wealth, why her? What are you after? Lin Wang looked at Jiang Duo, who sat trembling with nerves, and replied with absolute sincerity, there's no secret motive, I just love her. Jiang Yu softened, finally convinced. All right. Pass the phone back to Duo. Lin Wang handed the phone to Jiang Duo, whispering, call me if you need me. Before exiting the room, he walked out to the courtyard, sinking into a hanging chair. The sun was setting, casting long, golden shadows, and his eyelids began to grow heavy. He let out a long breath and drifted into a quiet, peaceful sleep. In the living room, the other girls continued their debate over gems, assuming the pair were still occupied in the study. Half an hour later, Jiang Duo emerged alone. Where is your brother? Song Wannian asked, glancing toward the study. Jiang Duo looked surprised. He didn't come out just now? The group exchanged confused glances. Zhang Xian pulled out her phone to call him, only to realize his phone was resting on the sofa. His phone is here, Xiyun noted, her brow furrowing. But where is he? The girls stood up, the house suddenly feeling empty. The girls scoured every corner of the villa, from the living quarters to the restrooms. Finding nothing, they finally stepped into the courtyard, where Zhang Xiun spotted Lin Wang's resting shoes. Beneath the hanging chair, Lin Wang lay in a peaceful slumber. The sight was surprisingly endearing. His mouth was slightly agape, and his hands were folded calmly across his weary abdomen. He looks so cute, Bei Lei whispered, her eyes softening. Tong Yi agreed, immediately handing her phone to Jiang Duo and crouching down to pose for a playful, secret photograph. One by one, the girls joined in, taking individual photos before deciding on a group shot. They placed the phone on a table, set a timer, and squeezed in together. The camera shutter clicked, capturing their joy. The noise stirred Lin Wang, who opened his eyes to see the girls huddled together, giggling uncontrollably at the screen of their phone. He rose silently, stalking toward them like a predator. As he neared, he heard them critiquing his sleeping face, laughing at the candid images they had managed to successfully capture. Amusing, is it? Lin Wang's voice cut through the air. The girls shrieked, scattering in every direction, but he was faster, catching Jiang Duo before she could even turn around. He chased them across the yard, laughing as he snatched them one by one. Eventually, he caught Tong Yi, Zhang Xiun, and Bei Lei, lining them up for his family discipline. Song Wannian was pulled from the doorway to join the row. She wiped his brow, her expression pleading. Husband, we only wanted to keep a memory of your peaceful rest. Lin Wang feigned a stern demeanor, his arms crossed. It is not anger, but such a prank requires discipline. The girls looked at each other, unsure of what to expect. A punishment must be agreed upon, he declared, sitting back. Tong Yi and the others proposed trivial things, like eating less rice, which Lin Wang dismissed with a knowing grin. 50 squats for everyone, except Song, he commanded. The girls groaned, instantly swarming him, clinging to his arms and waist while pleading for mercy with soft, desperate, endearing cries. Next time, wake me if you want photos, he warned, his voice softening. Or else, the discipline will be much stricter. He looked at their earnest faces and decided to relent. Fine, he sighed. One kiss each, plus a foot wash and a 30-minute full-body massage tonight, and we can call this settled. The girls happily agreed to his new terms. They swarmed his face, leaving soft lipstick marks on his cheeks. Lin Wang felt his resistance melt away, though he still maintained a playful, warning look to keep them humble. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the lake shimmered like scattered diamonds. Zhao Ma's voice broke the mood, calling them for dinner, and they moved together toward the warm house. Over dinner, Lin Wang praised the exceptional meal, noting the improvement in Zhao Ma's skills. She smiled warmly, revealing that Song Wannian had personally enrolled her in a professional course. Double the salary for taking the class. Zhao Ma laughed, clearly proud of her new investment. Lin Wang glanced at Song Wannian, who beamed back at him with quiet, affectionate pride. Feeling satiated from the hearty meal, Lin Wang stretched lazily. I'm going for a walk by Ming Lake. Who wants to join me? Tong Yi was the first to volunteer, eager to stay close. Soon, Bei Lei, Zhang Xian, and Jiang Duo also joined in. Even Duo, Lin Wang noted, pleasantly surprised. He turned to Song Wannian. Song, are you coming? She nodded, happy to enjoy the breeze. The five of them took electric scooters to the Qin Bridge. Walking onto the island, they watched wild ducks drifting across the lake, their silhouettes shimmering under the bright, artificial streetlights. They arrived at the Wall of Affection, a structure ringed with vibrant neon lights. The wall was covered in colorful notes left by students, each one telling a secret story of youthful hope. Suddenly, Bei Lei stepped forward and pulled a note from the top corner. Lei, why are you tearing that down? Zhang Xian asked, surprised. Bei Lei clutched the note to her chest, blushing. I wrote this back in my freshman year, she confessed, her voice dropping. Lin Wang's curiosity piqued. He reached out his hand, and after a moment of hesitation, she let him take it. The note was pink and remarkably preserved, as if the wall was meticulously maintained. Lin Wang read the elegant handwriting, which spoke of a girl's dream to become a perfect, loving wife. It described a future of cooking, raising children, and weathering life's storms together. Beneath the heartfelt words was a bright red, heart-shaped mark, shaded in with a thick ballpoint pen. Lin Wang smiled and tucked the note into his pocket. A promise is a promise. You must start fulfilling your commitments tonight. Bei Lei flushed, curling her fingers into her hem. What does it say? Tong Yi pouted, trying to peek. It's a secret between us, Lin Wang teased, shielding the note. As they walked on, the cool lake air began to bite into them. He draped his jacket over Song Wannian, sparking playful jealousy. I want your coat too, the girls chorused. Suddenly, Jiang Duo silently slipped off her own white athletic jacket and handed it over. You should learn from Duo, Lin Wang said, pulling the jacket on. Jiang Duo, standing in a simple tank top, didn't understand the teasing. She only cared that her husband stayed warm. After walking for 30 minutes, they circled the island and returned home. It was 9 p.m. when they reached the villa, the evening air settling into a quiet, comfortable stillness. Lin Wang sat on the sofa, gesturing to the four girls standing before him. It's time for the massage. Who shall start? He deliberated, eventually pointing toward Bei Lei. Tong Yi pouted, but she knew her turn would come. Lin Wang stood up, heading toward the master bedroom. Get ready, Lei. I'll be waiting for you inside, he said firmly. Bei Lei went to prepare, changing into a black silk lace slip that accentuated her elegant figure. She added a touch of perfume before entering the bedroom with a wooden basin. Husband, she whispered, curtsying playfully as she set the basin down. Your service for the evening has arrived. She moved toward the bed, ready to fulfill the terms of their playful wager. Lin Wang lay sprawled across the bed, his gaze lingering on Bei Lei. Her proportions were perfection itself. Even Su Manking, with her captivating beauty, could barely claim a draw against such grace. Dressing like this to serve a customer, he teased, feigning a frown. Do you have ulterior motives? Bei Lei smiled softly, lowering herself to his feet with a voice like honey. How could I, husband? She murmured, checking the water temperature before beginning. She massaged his soles with practiced care, working the pressure points until he felt the tension melt away. After she dried his feet, Lin Wang pulled her up, letting her climb onto his waist to massage his back. Her technique was amateur but earnest, turning the act into a playful dance. Eventually, Lin Wang pulled her down to face him. Is this what your boss has taught you? He asked. She pressed her forehead against his, whispering, the massage is over. What comes next? He kissed her, and the flickering lamp light mingled with the moonlight streaming from the lake. The night deepened, keeping their secrets tucked away within the quiet shadows of the villa. Sunday morning dawned bright and clear. Lin Wang woke to find his left arm completely numb, trapped beneath Bei Lei's sleeping head. He carefully slid his limb free, fighting the tingling pain. Beside him, Bei Lei stirred, her snowy skin glowing in the morning light. She rubbed her eyes and beamed at him. Husband, you're awake. Remember, you have to help me pick a swimsuit today. Lin Wang chuckled, shaking his head. Get ready, then call me after breakfast. He slipped into his slippers, but as he opened his bedroom door, he was immediately ambushed by Tong Yi. He was dragged into her room, where the bed was a chaotic ocean of vibrant swimwear. Zhang Xian stood by the vanity, holding a sheer, water-blue piece against her pale, graceful neck. We need a judge, Xian said softly. Lin Wang sighed, feigning annoyance at the delay. Hurry then, I haven't eaten, and I still have to help Lei. He sat down to watch the show. Tong Yi disappeared and returned in a cherry-red bikini. It was bold, highlighting her slender waist and long legs. She spun around, nervous. Is it too bright, brother? Too vibrant? It suits your energy perfectly, Lin Wang replied thoughtfully. Before she could process the praise, Si-yoon stepped out in a deep violet one-piece. It was elegant, featuring a delicate, flowing fishtail hem. Si-yoon moved gracefully, the fabric swaying with every step. And this one? She asked, blushing. Lin Wang was momentarily breathless. The violet is sophisticated. The design is unique and utterly breathtaking. Tong Yi pouted. You weren't that detailed with me. She stomped off, returning moments later in a black, lace-trimmed bikini. The contrast against her porcelain skin was striking, moody, and undeniably daring. Lin Wang nodded, observing how the black fabric contrasted beautifully against her skin. This piece is perfect, he noted. It's bold, daring, and captures a unique, edgy personality that fits you well. Zhang Xian and Tong Yi continued their relentless parade of fashion, trading outfits back and forth. What was meant to be a quick breakfast turned into an hour-long styling session. Stop, Lin Wang groaned, clutching his empty stomach. I'm starving. Bring Lele and Duo into the mix, consult amongst yourselves, and I'll help you all finalize everything once I've actually eaten. The girls giggled and retreated, leaving him to escape downstairs. Song Wanian and Jiang Duo were waiting at the table. Lin Wang sighed, sinking into the head of the table. Still not done? Song Wanian asked with a playful smile. Lin Wang grabbed his phone, seeing a message from Su Lingyun asking for an ETA. He typed back, arriving around 10:30. Once finished with his meal, Lin Wang returned upstairs. Since Jiang Duo hadn't planned on attending, she borrowed a piece from Bei Lele, whose figure was the only one that matched her own. To save time, they operated like a design studio. The girls swapped outfits and paraded before Lin Wang and Song Wanian, who offered final verdicts on fit, color, and overall aesthetic. Tong Yi eventually settled on a fluorescent orange two-piece. The asymmetric, wavy-edged shorts and the oversized bow at her waist gave her a vibrant, youthful, and energetic look that radiated sunshine. Zhang Xiun chose a mist blue one-piece. The elegant square neckline and delicate pearl buttons led into a sheer, gradient mesh that clung to her waist, highlighting her slender, graceful silhouette. The final two were more dramatic. Bei Lele donned a wine-red bikini with dark rose embroidery along the straps and tiny crystals accentuating her hips, turning her natural curves into a masterpiece. Jiang Duo kept it simple and classic. Her choice was a cream-colored one-piece with a subtle V-neck, edged in delicate lace. It was understated yet highlighted her figure with effortless, quiet sophistication. Just as they prepped to leave, the girls insisted on picking Lin Wang's trunks too. After a brief debate, Song Wanian settled the matter. He would wear a simple, sleek, light gray pair. They wrapped themselves in oversized coats to hide their swimwear and piled into the MPV. The driver navigated through the city, pulling up to the UU Swimming Center exactly at 10:20 a.m. Inside, the venue was a private paradise. Floating circular trays drifted across the water, laden with gourmet cakes and chilled drinks, while white draped tables lined the pool side, prepared for the feast. The hum of chatter died the moment the doors opened. The girls in the pool froze, their eyes darting to the entrance where Lin Wang stood, flanked by his four companions. Su Lingyun, looking stunning in a pure white bikini, was the first to react. She hurried toward them, navigating the slick pool deck with careful, quick steps, her breath catching as she approached. She stopped before Lin Wang, a light flush on her cheeks from the exertion. She braced a hand on her hip, her gaze bright, offering him a welcoming, graceful, and expectant smile. Lin Wang, you finally arrived. Everyone here has been eagerly awaiting you. Lin Wang scanned the expansive pool area. Hundreds of students were present, yet the facility was so vast it still felt remarkably airy. I'm in your hands today, senior, Lin Wang replied with a calm smile. Su Lingyun nodded, her gaze lingering on him. Warm up for a moment. Once everyone arrives, the party officially begins. Lin Wang shed his coat, revealing the light gray trunks Song Wanian had chosen. The moment his physique was unveiled, a wave of stunned silence followed by ecstatic screaming swept through the massive center. Most of these students had never seen such a flawlessly sculpted male physique in person. The sheer intensity of his presence drove the girls into a frenzy. Some frantically climbed from the water. He's so handsome, I can't take it, one girl squealed. They swarmed toward him, eager for a photo, until Lin Wang politely but firmly gestured no. Even just watching him was enough for them. Even Su Lingyun found herself breathless. She knew he was fit, but seeing him this close felt different. Her heart hammered against her ribs, and her hands trembled as she stood nearby. She found herself swaying slightly, unable to look away from his defined abdominal muscles. Lin Wang noticed her flushed face and narrowed his eyes. Senior, are you feeling all right? Your physique is incredible. I really want to touch your abs, she blurted out, before catching herself in horror. She tried to backtrack, but Lin Wang simply laughed, touched by her dedication. If you want to, senior, go ahead, he said generously. Su Lingyun's eyes widened. She reached out with a trembling hand, her fingers tracing the hard, sculpted lines of his abdomen with reverence. The excitement was too much. Her pulse raced, her blood pressure spiked, and before she could even process the sensation, a trickle of crimson blood began to flow from her nose. Senior, Lin Wang stepped back, concerned. Su Lingyun, however, was determined to stay in the moment. She wiped the blood away with a frantic hand, desperately trying to continue her touch. Seeing she was nearing a state of obsession, Lin Wang sighed and gestured for Jiang Duo and Bei Lei to guide her to the restroom to cool down, despite her loud protests. As Su Lingyun was led away, a new voice called out. Lin Wang turned to see Su Manqing. Her swimsuit was exquisite, adorned with a single pale blue flower on the bodice. "Do you still recognize me?" she asked with a soft melodic smile. Lin Wang nodded immediately. "Of course, Miss Su." She beamed. "Just call me Manqing. Would you like to play frisbee?" "I'd be delighted," he agreed. He turned to Tong Yi and Zhang Xiun, who were waiting nearby. "You two go ahead and swim for now. I'll be back after a quick game." Tong Yi's brow furrowed into a sharp line. "Why can't we join? The four of us can play together." Lin Wang shook his head. "It's a game for two, Yi. Don't be redundant." "Redundant?" Tong Yi's eyes sparked with indignation. As he walked off with Manqing, she muttered a famous line under her breath. "When you wanted my affection, you called me your sweet treasure. Now that there's someone new, you call me your burden." Zhang Xian patted her shoulder, trying to console her. "He only meant that you would be the extra person for this specific frisbee game, not that you are unwanted." Tong Yi sighed, still feeling the sting of the word. "Let's go find Duo and Lei," she grumbled, turning toward the restroom, where the others were still tending to Su Lingyun. Inside the restroom, Su Lingyun splashed cold water on her face, her eyes still glazed with longing. "I've known him since the start," she whispered. "Is my physique truly so inferior to theirs?" Jiang Duo and Bei Lei exchanged uneasy glances, watching their society president spiral. Just as they opened their mouths to offer comfort, Su Lingyun suddenly lifted her head, her eyes flashing with a new, intense light. "From now on, whatever I do, you must cooperate," Su Lingyun stated with chilling intensity. "I am desperate to be as close to him as you are." Before the others could question her true intent, Tong Yi, Jiang Duo, and Bei Lei arrived, their voices cutting through the humid air of the restroom. Back in the pool, Lin Wang and Su Manqing were locked in a frisbee match. Lin Wang's explosive strength was overwhelming, sending the disc flying with such speed that Manqing struggled to keep up. In truth, Manqing wasn't failing because of the disc's speed. Her focus was entirely shattered by the way Lin Wang's sculpted muscles rippled under the water. Her distraction was his easy victory. Breathless, Manqing finally waved a hand, conceding. "No more," she laughed, retreating to the deck. They wrapped themselves in towels and reclined on the loungers, letting the sun warm their damp skin. "You play well," she murmured, her dark hair still dripping onto the pavement. Lin Wang smiled, dismissing the praise. His superbrain and physical conditioning made every challenge feel like child's play. Manqing shifted, her eyes locked onto his. "You're exactly who I imagined you would be." Lin Wang remained silent, accustomed to such flirting. She leaned in closer, dropping her voice. "I have a dramatic performance this Wednesday at the University Theater. Would you come? I could treat you to dinner at that Chinese restaurant I love afterward." She looked genuinely hopeful. Lin Wang hesitated. He had no love for theater, but seeing her expectant gaze, he offered a non-committal, "I'll see if I have the time." Her face fell, the light dimming from her eyes. She lowered her head, staring at her own reflection. "If you're busy, would you let me perform just for you? Alone? Somewhere private?" The shift in her tactic caught him off guard. "I think I'm most charming when I'm performing," she insisted, her voice soft yet firm. Lin Wang couldn't help but laugh. The girl was a master at playing the long game. "Fine," he agreed. "You pick the time and place. If the performance is good, I'll take you to dinner." Manqing beamed, her mind already racing toward intimate nights at a hotel. Lin Wang blinked. "Wait, a hotel? I never agreed to that." He shook his head at her audacity. Just then, Su Lingyun clapped her hands, her voice amplified across the massive aquatic center. "Listen up. It's time for the underwater horse racing tournament, pairs only. The top 10 teams earn prizes, while the losers forfeit a drink. Form your teams now." "Lin Wang is with me," Lingyun declared, claiming him before anyone else could speak. The crowd erupted in protest, demanding a lottery, but Lingyun shut them down with her authority as president. "I've worked for months to organize this," she defended. "Giving myself the advantage is my reward." Nobody dared argue further. She assigned Tong Yi and the others as judges for the contest. Bei Lei was furious, clinging to Lin Wang's trunks. "Why can't I participate? I wanted to drag my husband underwater," she wailed, refusing to let go. Lin Wang pulled her off firmly. "First, let go of my trunks. Second, you know you can't drink. You'd pass out in the deep end, and I won't have you drowning on my watch." His genuine concern silenced her, replacing her pout with a smirk. "So you are worried about me? Fine, I'll sit out." She kissed his cheek, a clear reward for his protectiveness. As the teams paired off, Lingyun pulled Lin Wang to the water's edge. "Are you going to be the rider, or am I?" she asked, already bracing herself for the weight. "Obviously you're riding, unless you plan to carry me," he joked. Lingyun straightened, flexing her slender arms with pride. "Don't underestimate me. I've been training. Get on and see." Lin Wang shrugged and jumped onto her back. He had barely settled into the water when he felt the sudden, surprising strength in her frame, ready to charge into the fray. As Su Lingyun jumped onto Lin Wang's back, she felt an instant, overwhelming pressure. "I'm slipping," she yelped, and Lin Wang quickly set her down. His dense, muscular frame was simply too heavy for her. She rubbed her shoulder, offering a faint, apologetic smile. "I suppose you'll have to carry me. Am I too heavy?" He dropped into a squat, signaling her to climb aboard without a word. "I'm very light," she promised, her heart hammering wildly against his back as their wet skin touched. She closed her eyes, savoring the intimacy. "I wish time would just stand still." "What was that?" Lin Wang asked, feeling her racing pulse. She blushed furiously, shaking her head. "Nothing. I just said we are clearly going to win this." Around them, pairs finalized their strategies. Su Mangqing teamed with Shen Jixia, while Chunling partnered with Kai Jingshuan. Everyone was determined to challenge Lin Wang, ready for a fierce, aquatic battle. After an hour of chaotic preparation, the judges finalized the roster through an app. The whistle blew for the first match, Lin Wang and Su Lingyun against two other female society members. Instead of a fierce battle, the match turned absurd. While Lingyun grappled with her opponent above, the girl carrying her began frantically groping Lin Wang's chest, completely abandoning the competition. "Your muscles are incredible," the girl swooned. "How do you train? Teach me," her partner shrieked in terror above her. "Xiao Qin, what are you doing? I'm falling." Lin Wang pinched the girl's wrist firmly. "We are in a match, and the judges are watching. Stop this, or the game is over." She ignored him, demanding a kiss in exchange for victory. With a heavy sigh, Lin Wang reached up, grabbed the girl's partner by the arm, and effortlessly yanked her down. She splashed into the water, utterly defeated. The other three froze in shock. "You didn't even need me," Lingyun marveled as the humiliated opponents scrambled ashore. Lin Wang smirked. "You have a purpose, senior. You confuse the enemy." They breezed through the next 3 rounds, Lin Wang effortlessly pulling opponents down. But the 5th round brought a challenge. A pair of massive, formidable sisters, Daxin and Daxia, each weighing over 200 pounds. "Should I use my veto power?" Lingyun whispered, intimidated by their size. Lin Wang shook his head, his eyes burning with competitive fire. "Where's the fun in changing opponents? Let's fight." Tong Yi blew the whistle, watching the massive sisters approach like slow-moving mountains. "We don't want to fight you, President," Daxin called out, offering to forfeit out of respect for Lingyun. "Don't hold back," Lingyun replied, tightening her grip on Lin Wang's neck. Lin Wang braced himself. "Hold on tight," he warned. "They're going to hit us hard." Daxin charged, her massive frame cutting through the water like a torpedo. Lin Wang twisted his waist, dodging the brunt of the impact while grabbing Daxin's wrist, surprised by her iron-like strength. The force staggered him. Water splashed over Lingyun's face as Daxin lunged again, locking her arms around Lin Wang's waist to utilize her massive weight advantage and drag him down. Lin Wang fought back, but the weight was immense. Seizing the chaos, Daxia shoved Lingyun hard, sending her toppling backward into the churning, chlorinated depths of the pool. Lingyun surfaced quickly, paddling toward the edge where Beilele was waiting with a dry towel. She scrambled up the ladder, coughing lightly, her face pale as she watched Lin Wang continue the fight alone. Qin Sheng reassured everyone she was fine, despite the minor struggle with the water. Lin Wang walked toward the pool's edge, his expression calm as he stepped onto the wet, shimmering concrete. Tong Yi rushed forward, clutching a fresh towel tightly. She draped it over his shoulders, her voice trembling with genuine worry as she fussed over him, checking for any hidden injuries. Lin Wang wiped the water from his face and chuckled softly. He told Tong Yi he was merely tired, noting that their massive opponents possessed raw power but lacked any real malice. He then turned his gaze towards Su Lingyun, who looked visibly pale. He stepped closer, his voice laced with genuine concern, asking if she was feeling all right after the rough struggle. Su Lingyun offered a faint, tired smile as she looked up. She brushed off his concerns, explaining that she had simply inhaled a bit of water and just needed a moment. Zhang Xiyun approached them, carrying 2 bottles of warm water. She handed them over, urging her husband and Lingyun to drink up to stay warm after their chilly, intense aquatic battle. Lin Wang and Su Lingyun accepted the drinks and took a few gulps. Zhang Xiyun praised their resilience, noting that holding their ground against such formidable opponents was truly impressive today. She reminded them that everyone watching admired their spirit. Tong Yi chimed in, praising her husband's bravery against such heavyweights, calling his performance in the water nothing short of incredibly heroic. Lin Wang playfully tapped Tong Yi's forehead. The competition continued, with the sisters Da Chun and Da Xia dominating the field, their immense strength easily overpowering the other club members. The sisters cruised into the finals with ease. Surprisingly, Su Manqing and Shen Jixia stood against them. Lin Wang watched with interest, genuinely impressed by the duo's unexpected run to glory. A crowd gathered around the pool, clearing a large space for the intense showdown. Lin Wang realized the pair's success was not mere luck. They possessed exceptional flexibility and core stability. Though Su Manqing and Shen Jixia eventually splashed into the water, their performance was remarkable. The sisters Da Chun and Da Xia emerged victorious, claiming the championship of the aquatic contest. Lin Wang regretted facing the sisters so early, as it led to an early exit. Su Lingyun then announced the prize, 1,000 cash for first place and 800 for second. The crowd's excitement dimmed momentarily. They had secretly hoped for a more personal reward involving Lin Wang, perhaps a hug or a kiss rather than mere money, which felt rather mundane by comparison. Su Lingyun quickly shouted, shifting the mood entirely. The aquatic challenge was merely a warm-up. She officially declared the pool party open, inviting everyone to enjoy the music, snacks, and drinks. Lively, upbeat music instantly filled the air. The disappointment vanished as beauties in stunning swimwear dove into the pool, turning the atmosphere into a vibrant, joyful celebration of summer and fun. Lin Wang shook his head, smiling at the scene. Tong Yi, wearing a stylish swimsuit, swayed her body and eagerly suggested they grab some cake and snacks to join the festivities. Lin Wang looked around and spotted Jiang Duo hiding shyly behind Bei Lei. He approached her, holding her hand, and gently asked if she had finally learned how to swim yet. Jiang Duo had not been in the water all year. Meanwhile, Su Manqing, Shen Jixia, and the sisters Chai Jingxuan and Chai Jingmen wandered over, all eager to play with Lin Wang. Despite the many invitations, Lin Wang chose to focus on Jiang Duo. He affectionately ruffled her hair, promising to teach her or stay in the shallow end if she felt nervous. Jiang Duo looked up with wide, watery eyes and nodded softly. Bei Lei immediately seized his other arm, insisting she wanted to join, boasting that the water was her natural element. Tong Yi returned with a tray of exquisite small cakes. Lin Wang laughed at the crowd surrounding him, took the tray, and led Jiang Duo toward the shallow area of the pool. He carefully fitted her with a swim ring, ensuring her safety. Lin Wang supported her as they entered the water, encouraging her to move her arms gently to find her balance. Jiang Duo started off tense, but gradually relaxed under his protection. Bei Lei, Tong Yi, and Zhang Xiun jumped in nearby, splashing playfully as they enjoyed the refreshing, cool water together. Tong Yi held up a decadent chocolate cake, teasingly offering a bite to Lin Wang. He took a taste, enjoying the rich flavor as it melted in his mouth, feeling satisfied. Just then, a loud cheer erupted nearby. Su Manqing and Shen Jixia were locked in a playful water fight. The other club members joined in, turning the pool into a chaotic, joyful arena. Shen Jixia waved at Lin Wang, urging him to stop eating and join the game. Tong Yi, already excited, tugged on Lin Wang's arm, begging him to go over and join the fun. Lin Wang turned to Jiang Duo, asking if she wanted to join the others. Seeing the joy of the crowd, Jiang Duo smiled brightly and nodded, ready to be part of the group. Lin Wang guided Jiang Duo toward the crowd, but a massive splash greeted them. He instinctively shielded Jiang Duo, taking the brunt of the water thrown by a mischievous Cai Jingxuan. Lin Wang laughed, shaking his head at the playful attack. He scooped up a basin of water and retaliated instantly, soaking Cai Jingxuan and sparking an all-out, joyful aquatic battle. The pool became a sea of laughter and cheers. Even the initially shy Jiang Duo eventually loosened up, splashing water back at Tong Yi, clearly enjoying this rare, carefree moment of happiness. Suddenly, the upbeat music faded, replaced by a soft, ethereal melody. Above them, Su Lingyun descended from the ceiling, gracefully suspended on a wire, holding a microphone in her hand. Dressed in a flowing, pale pink gown, she drifted through the air like a dream. Her hair was styled in a low ponytail, leaving the entire venue in stunned, absolute silence. Everyone's gaze fixed on her, spellbound by the romantic spectacle. Lin Wang looked up, eyebrows furrowed in surprise, finally realizing this elaborate, breathtaking performance was the secret surprise she promised. Su Lingyun's eyes locked onto Lin Wang's. Despite her clear nervousness, her gaze overflowed with deep, unspoken affection. She took a steadying breath and began to sing with heartfelt, gentle grace. As she performed, workers above released a shower of pink and red rose petals. They drifted down like snow, coating the water's surface and the hair of those standing nearby. The scene was breathtakingly romantic. Su Lingyun descended further until her feet touched the platform. She gathered her skirt and walked toward Lin Wang, her eyes never leaving his face. She shed her gown to reveal her swimsuit, then leaped into the water without hesitation. Swimming to Lin Wang, she stopped, gripping her microphone tightly, her heart pounding with anticipation. Behind the scenes, the staff watched the screens in awe. One worker marveled at the dedication shown, noting how handsome Lin Wang was and how deep her feelings truly were. Su Lingyun took a final breath, summoning every ounce of her courage. She looked at Lin Wang and shouted clearly, asking if he would finally give her a chance to love. A heavy, expectant silence blanketed the entire venue. The petals continued to rain down around them, creating an intimate bubble of tension as everyone waited for Lin Wang's crucial, life-changing response. Lin Wang felt conflicted. He had always admired her, yet his feelings hadn't reached that passionate tipping point. Still, he could not bear to reject her in front of all these people. He remembered her past letter, which he had missed among so many others. Seeing her trembling with hope, he softened. He nodded slowly, whispering that he would give her a chance. Su Lingyun's eyes welled with tears of joy upon hearing his acceptance. She threw her arms around him, burying her face in his shoulder, murmuring that her dreams had finally come true. The crowd erupted into thunderous cheers, delighted by the match. Someone shouted for a kiss, and the chant quickly grew louder, echoing off the walls of the pool as everyone watched. Su Lingyun blushed, her face turning as bright as an apple. She stood on her tiptoes, pecking his cheek awkwardly, but the crowd demanded more, their cheers growing insistent and wildly enthusiastic. Lin Wang gently leaned down and captured her lips in a brief, soft kiss. Su Lingyun froze, stunned by the sensation, her mind racing as she processed the sudden, sweet, and intimate contact. If it weren't for the crowd, he would have swept her off her feet right there. Su Lingyun floated through the rest of the party, feeling utterly euphoric as the hours slipped by. The event ended at 5 in the evening. Afterward, Su Lingyun joined Jiang Duo and the others for a shower. Steam filled the room as they stood together, voices echoing against the tiles. Su Lingyun leaned toward Jiang Duo, asking if she had any advice now that they were sisters. Jiang Duo, shy in the shared space, simply whispered that they should just treat him well. Su Lingyun nodded, fully aware of how precious her bond with Lin Wang was. When Tong Yi suggested they call him husband or brother, Su Lingyun's face flushed an even deeper shade of crimson. She tested the title husband on her tongue. It felt more intimate than brother, which blurred their dynamic. She decided to adopt the title, eager to use it once they stepped outside. As Jiang Duo struggled to wash her back, Su Lingyun offered her help. Though Jiang Duo hesitated out of embarrassment, she finally turned around, allowing the steam to conceal her nervous, blushing face. Outside, Lin Wang had already finished rinsing. Su Manqing hurried over, asking if he had time to visit her training studio. She insisted that since it was Sunday, they were free. Lin Wang checked his watch. It was only 5:30. He politely declined, explaining he had prior commitments and promised to keep in touch. Su Manqing smiled, squeezed his hand, and left. He continued to turn down similar invitations from Chunling, Shen, Jixia, and others. He had already promised to go home with Zhang Xiyun, so he stood waiting in the lobby. Suddenly, the doors swung open. A tall woman in a dark purple fishtail skirt stepped in, radiating a cold, untouchable aura. Her black heels clicked sharply against the marble floor like a warning. She reached the front desk and, despite the clerk's greeting, dove under the marble counter. She shoved $1,000 toward the attendant, begging to hide there for just a little while. A woman with short hair and a men's suit strode in, a tattoo visible on her neck. She lit a cigarette, grinning at the desk, and demanded that Jingjing stop hiding and emerge. The woman in the skirt, Jingjing, sighed and stepped out. After paying the clerk, she faced her pursuer, Jiang Yumo, asking why she remained so persistent and obsessed with chasing her around. Jiang Yumo laughed, arms wide, begging for a hug. Jingjing recoiled, pointing out they were both women and that such relationships were illegal, but Yumo merely scoffed at the outdated notion. Cornered, Jingjing spotted Lin Wang sitting nearby. She rushed over, wrapped her arms tightly around his limb, and begged him to play along, promising him a generous reward for his help. The thugs outside watched intensely, ready to intervene. Lin Wang remained calm, unfazed by the sudden drama. Jingjing whispered a desperate plea for him to act, her face flushed with anxiety. Jiang Yumo scoffed, refusing to believe they were truly involved. She demanded to know who he was, laughing at the idea that he could stand in her way, but Lin Wang remained unmoved. He told her flatly that Jingjing was his woman. Jiang Yumo sneered, calling him arrogant, until a black-clad subordinate whispered into her ear. Her expression shifted instantly from arrogance to chilling silence. She looked at Jingjing one last time, asking if she was certain. When Jingjing affirmed her choice, Yumo turned and left with her crew, driving away without a single backward glance. Jingjing released Lin Wang's arm, her expression shifting to one of genuine curiosity. She offered 100,000 for his help, but Lin Wang calmly declined, showing no interest in the money. Amused by his composure, Jingjing leaned closer, her tone turning flirtatious. She offered him a 7-figure dowry if he would bind himself to her as a solution to her stalker problems. Lin Wang remained unfazed, stating he had no need for her money or her company. Jingjing, a CEO of the influential Baiyang Group, was stunned that her status failed to impress him. She rose, adjusting her sunglasses, and warned him not to be so arrogant. Just then, Tong Yi and the others emerged from the showers, their beauty making Jingjing feel suddenly insecure. Seeing them gather around Lin Wang, her jaw tightened. She pointed at them, asking if they were all his women. Lin Wang simply ignored her, turning his attention to the girls instead. Jingjing's pride was wounded when Lin Wang dismissed her as a stranger. As they walked away, she fruitlessly demanded his contact information, feeling her ego bruised by his total indifference. Determined, Jingjing used her connections to pressure the front desk for information. She learned the group came from the University of Economics and Finance, specifically linked to Su Lingyun. Armed with this information, she decided to visit the campus under the guise of meeting a designer friend. She grumbled to herself about the young man's attitude, eager to cross paths again. Meanwhile, Lin Wang prepared to head home. Zhang Xiyun explained her parents were leaving for an urgent business trip abroad, meaning the house would be empty for the entire coming week. Lin Wang invited Su Lingyun to stay at his place, offering her one of the 4 vacant rooms upstairs. Overjoyed, she rushed to her dormitory to pack her belongings immediately. Jiang Duo and Bei Lei accompanied her to the room to help. Her roommates, Miao Tingting and Wu Wanrong, were shocked when Su Lingyun began packing her things to move out. When Su Lingyun confessed she was moving in with Lin Wang, after successfully confessing her feelings, her roommates erupted in excitement. They begged for an introduction, eager to meet the legendary man. Su Lingyun pushed them away with a playful smile. She advised them to join the club if they wanted a chance with him, leaving her roommates buzzing with envy and curiosity. Wu Wanrong glanced at the towering Bei Lei and the stunning Jiang Duo, then quietly looked down at herself, feeling a sudden wave of sharp inadequacy compared to Lin Wang's impressive partners. Returning to her seat, she silently resumed watching her drama. Meanwhile, Su Lingyun brought out her suitcase, quickly filling it with clothes as Jiang Duo and Bei Lei efficiently helped her pack. Half an hour later, the three girls finished organizing her belongings. They carried the luggage downstairs, securely tying everything onto Su Lingyun's electric scooter, ready for the big move. Back at the house, Lin Wang and the others entered the courtyard. They found Song Wannian sitting in a hanging chair, knitting a sweater while wearing only a thin, revealing lounge outfit. Seeing them arrive, she stood up to greet them. Lin Wang stepped forward, embracing her warmly. He gently touched her flat stomach, feeling an inexplicable sense of life faintly stirring within. Noticing the evening chill, he took Song Wannian's hand and led her inside. Tong Yi and Zhang Xiyun enthusiastically recounted the day's events, especially Su Lingyun's dramatic, wire-suspended confession. Tong Yi poured herself some water, praising Su Lingyun's dedication and leadership. Song Wannian nodded thoughtfully, agreeing that Lingyun was an excellent, capable woman who genuinely cared deeply for Lin Wang. When asked about her whereabouts, Tong Yi explained Lingyun was packing to move in. Song Wannian suggested they celebrate, proposing they ask Nanny Zhao to prepare a special dinner tonight. Suddenly, Lin Wang received a message from Cheng Cheng. She urgently asked him to meet her at Science Lab 101, but given her deceptive nature, he immediately doubted her true intentions. He hesitated, wary of her tricks, but she sent another message containing a photo. It showed his counselor, Wei Qin, sitting across from her, confirming this was an official, serious meeting. Cautious, Lin Wang messaged Wei Qin to verify the situation. Once Wei Qin confirmed she was indeed with Cheng Cheng and needed him to come, Lin Wang finally felt truly reassured. Trusting Wei Qin, he decided to go. He told the girls to start preparing dinner, explaining he had to meet his counselor briefly and would return as soon as the meeting concluded. Zhang Xiyun asked if she should accompany him, but he declined. He walked to the courtyard, hopped onto an electric scooter, and glanced at his rarely used Ferrari parked beneath the sycamore tree.